coming up a little bit later on today in the show. We'll be joined by Josh Vernier, our Royals insider. Also, around 11:45, Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, expected to address the media. Now that we're in the middle of the week and we get the practices going, maybe get another update on Hollywood Brown. You heard from Nate Taylor yesterday. He thinks he actually will play on Sunday. We'll get more of an update from Andy Reid a little bit later on right here on your home for the Chiefs, 96.5 The Fan. But let's start with the Royals again, because yesterday in New York, they level up this series against the Yankees. And Seth Lugo, if there were any more concerns still out there
Remember
about
that whole wall conversation, that can go to die.
Hitting a wall, need extra days off, all that. Well, he looks like pre-All-Star break Seth Lugo again. He was flat out dominant. And just to do it in that ballpark, which is significant because it's a chance they're right back there in 4 weeks, or 3 weeks. But he was the fourth pitcher ever in that stadium to have 7 innings and no runs and no walks and 10 strikeouts. And obviously he didn't even give up more than 3 hits. So he was just flat out sensational. And it could be the identical series and, of course, the result you're hoping for in 3 weeks if you're the Royals playing right back there.
Yeah, because this very well could be a matchup in the future, which is good to remember. And yeah, Seth Lugo has now started 3 straight games against Houston, Cleveland, the New York Yankees. We would agree that those are 3 pretty good teams. 3 teams that are going to be in this year's AL playoff field, most likely. I don't see any reason why those 3 teams won't make it. Mariners have fallen off enough. Royals are still comfortably in a playoff spot as it sits, and the Yankees, maybe after last night, are not leading their division, but still close. 21 innings pitched, so 7 innings a start, 23 strikeouts, so more than a strikeout per inning, and only two earned runs after that time. That's a sub-1 ERA over his last 3 starts against 3 teams. If they went through the playoff to the World Series, that might be the exact order of teams they would have to run through in order to get there. So, yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. The best part about this is, I meant to say it yesterday. I was thinking about it last night before the game had started. I wish I had said it in the show, but because that Monday game, I was like, they lost, and I was frustrated with MacArthur, but I was like, you know what? This doesn't feel like a playoff game, and here's why. If it were a 3-game series on the road against the Yankees, let me ask you 2 questions. 3-game series on the road against the Yankees. Does Brady Singer start one of the 3 games?
No.
Does James MacArthur pitch in a high-leverage situation in any of the 3 games?
Nope.
So it's not a playoff game. It wasn't a good test for where the Royals are against real tests. Now, let's follow up with the same question. In one of the 3 games against the Yankees, would Seth Lugo start?
Of course.
With Lucas Urseg and Chris Bubich or some of these other guys coming to pitch in a close game? Yeah. So last night was more of a true test. And I know it's like, well, they lost the first one. No, it just was more of what they will line up in a postseason series against the Yankees than the other way around. So tonight and last night and then again tonight kind of give me that feel for where they are against the Yankees.
No, I mean, you're right. We know in a short series they're going to put out their best pitchers. It's all hands on deck kind of thing, and you're going to utilize whether it's your perfect lineup, perfect rotation, perfect everything, it is do or die. It's postseason baseball. Also, let's recognize, and I hope they can replicate it. But that was also the perfect scenario. You're correct that it'll be Seth Lugo, and that they'll only have to use use Urseg just to close out the game. Sure, I mean the Royals would love, whoever they're playing in the playoffs, that if you told them that their starting pitchers giving them 7 innings of shutout baseball and they only have to have 2 relievers, like, well, of course, yeah. I mean, I would like that every single night for the Royals. Where tonight I would love Cole Reagans to go 7 innings and they only have to use 2 pitchers. And you're right. That is the personnel that likely will be utilized. But that also, last night was the perfect scenario of the dream scenario of what you hope happens in the postseason.
Yes, it is. Yeah, that's the perfect result, but also it was a result that they needed in a pressure-packed moment at a time in which they needed the result. And so, I understand the idea that, well, yeah, that's the best-case scenario of how that game would hypothetically go, because it probably is, because Seth Lugo was stunningly dominant in that game, but it was also their guy against our guy. And I guess the argument could make, I don't know the Yankees' rotation quite well enough to know if Marcus Stroman would make a start for them. So maybe it's not putting their best foot forward. He's been pretty consistently one of the guys on the board for them. So I'd kind of think, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the last night, and we'll see how the series wraps up this evening as well when they take on the Yankees again right here on 96.5 The Fan, will be the talking point going into this series and for the last 2 months, which was, all right, that's great that they're beating this team below 500 or non-playoff team or whatever it may be. And how many times do we also hear there are new qualifiers that have been placed?
Yes.
Every single time they accomplish something, it's like, well, I said they need to be a good team, but it needs to be this good team. Like, oh, well,
they got to win the way I want them to win.
They beat the Guardians, but I meant the other good teams. And so it's like, okay, they beat the Yankees last night. If they can win this series, does that calm some of the nerves of some fans that are out there that said, well, they can't beat the upper echelon? There always are new qualifiers. Like if the Royals win this series tonight against the Yankees, well, I want to see what they do when they don't have this happen. Like,
just wait till they face those teams and they don't have Lugo. And you're like, what the hell kind of meaning is that?
So I think
they
it was
kicked their ass. There doesn't need to be some caveat on what happened last night. They kicked their ass.
Yeah, I think hopefully last night, and then if they can replicate it to a certain extent tonight, calm some of the fear of the upper echelon. Oh my gosh, how do they fare against that particular team? The Yankees, because the Yankees, the last go around, the last series prior to this, they beat up on the Royals. We know that. So I think that's a big part for a lot of people when it comes to matching up with them in particular. I don't know if it's just like the historical big bad Yankee thing or if it's just.
Yeah, it is part of that. It's the 70s and the 80s.
Yeah.
It's like, it goes a long way. And earlier this season, this is the other part of it. They go on and win this series tonight with Cole Reagans on the mound. It had been likely that Lugo and Reagans, just as long as they can get their pitching lined up, would be in a 3-game series against those teams. Those would be the guys you'd want in there. The Yankees earlier this season beat them down. They kicked their ass for a huge chunk of that series. Now, the Royals salvaged a game the last time, but in the first game, 4-4 in the 7th or the 8th, right? It's a close game. Your bullpen imploded, theirs didn't. But that game was not out of control. It wasn't a 10-4 final. The Yankees didn't kick the Royals' ass. They had a close game and their bullpen imploded. Last night, they kicked the Yankees' ass. So if they go out and win a close game, beat them up, whatever, lose a close game, at least you've proven what you couldn't prove 3 months ago earlier this season, that you can hang with the New York Yankees. Also, did you see what's happening with Aaron Judge? Aaron Judge has not hit a home run. Do you know what? Not since the home run derby curse. Do you see what cursed Aaron Judge?
No.
Aaron Judge appeared in an episode of Paw Patrol in a home run derby against Chase and the other members of the Paw Patrol. And since that episode aired, Aaron Judge has not hit a home run. Appearing in the Paw Patrol home run derby has ruined Aaron Judge, apparently. I'm dead serious. He has not hit a home run since that episode aired. Specifically since that episode aired.
You said it's ruined him.
Uh-huh.
It's flat out ruined him.
Well, from hitting home runs. Seems like he still gets on base pretty good.
I was going to say.
Seems like he's still a pretty good baseball player.
One other thing with just last night, but broader because it's a season point, that is they are now at 80 wins. Let's also remind ourselves about just where they are 80-66. And I don't really care who you are on this one. I don't know anybody that had them winning 80 games. We know they were going to blow past the 80 number for the last month and a half, but they're now here. But
17, 18 games to play? How many?
They are now here. Yeah, something like 16, 17. They're at 80 wins, and we all know what they did a year ago. And I just there's something about seeing the nice even number of 80. Like when they were at pacing for at times 94, 95 wins, 96 wins, etc. Like, okay, pacing's one thing, but now that it's here and now that you see they're already at 80 and the season doesn't end until the end of the month, and today, of course, is September 11th, and maybe we'll touch on that a little bit later on in the show, and of course the significance of today and our thoughts with those that are impacted still to this day. I think all of us are, right, to some form or fashion. But to think about where we're at in this month, and they're at 80 wins already is pretty remarkable.
I'm assuming you know this just like I do. Part of the reason it feels particularly remarkable with this franchise is in the last 30 years, your entire life, Gold, the Royals have only finished at 80 wins or more 7 times. They do that less than a third of the time that they play a season. And so if that's the way it's lining up, well then, yeah, I feel particularly good about the way that they're playing right now, because it makes a big difference to say, all right, 80, one more win and you had a 500 season. Now, look, my goal for this team has changed dramatically from that exact moment for the obvious reasons. We don't care anymore about finishing above 500 because they are actively in a playoff spot and they're having to fight for it again. Right as the Royals started winning again, they're 5-1 in their last 6 games. Turns out the other teams around them aren't playing as bad of baseball either. Red Sox have started to win some games. Guardians have started to win some games. Twins, Tigers, all those teams have started to win some games again. And as a result of that, good. Because otherwise, had their losing streak or the losing ways continued, or they started playing 500 baseball gold, they might find themselves with a team breathing down their neck, a game back, or anything else in between there. And instead, they are once again comfortably in their wild card spot with the number of games remaining. 2.5 games up on the Minnesota Twins, and the Tigers are 3 games back of that. 5.5 games up with 17 games to play on a wild card spot is a huge lead. The Twins are the team that's actually got to be a little bit worried. Now, and they still got a 3-game lead on the Tigers and 4 on the Red Sox and Mariners.
You're just trying to run out the clock, if you will, if you're the Twins, in terms of just at some point, if you're still 3.5 up, and all of a sudden there's only 7 games left, and you just got to try to run this thing out if you're the Twins. Let me ask you this though: it wouldn't matter in the first round anyway, but if you were the Royals and you were looking much further down the road, like potential matchups, and you thought there was a chance between the Twins or Tigers, who would you rather get in the postseason? The team that's just hot right now, the Tigers, or a team like the Twins who have been fairly consistent start to finish?
Who would I rather? I'd rather the Twins be in. And the reason why is because I still think pitching in the playoffs matters a lot, and I don't want to face Scooble. Like, just straight up,
sure.
That's why. The Tigers starting rotation scares me far more than the Twins starting rotation. It really just boils down to that, probably simply. And then if you factor in the one team is hotter than the other portion of it too, well, then I'm even less interested.
The Royals were 7-3 against the Tigers this year.
Yeah, they were.
They did fare well.
They were worse against the Twins. That's fair.
They did fare well against them, a variety of reasons, right? But they did. They played them earlier in the month of August.
The same thing applies in the entire American League. The Royals still have the second best run differential in the entire sport, second to that of only in the American League, second to that of only the Yankees. You're saying, well, they're at 80 wins and there's 15 games to play. The best team in the league only has 83. The Cleveland Guardians and the New York Yankees are tied for the best record in the American League, and they both only have 83 wins. So it's not like night and day. 3 games separates between you and the best record in the American League. You're just as good as all these teams. Every stat, again, once we come back around to it, supports the fact that the Royals are as good as any other team in the American League field. The problem is they might have to face a 3-game wild card series on the road before things even up for them. And that's hard. That's a big challenge. That 1-game thing used to, I like the 3-game series, but the 1-game thing, at least you could just chalk it up to blind old who's good today luck. You're just having a good day and you get to move on to the next series and throw your normal guys out for 5 days, 7 days.
We'll always be biased here because of 2014 and the wild card game and how special that was for a variety of reasons. And a reminder, coming up at the end of the month, we're going to have the anniversary of the 2014 wild card going on. You can listen to the entire game from 1 a.m. to 6 a.m. on Monday, September 30th. We'll have special content guests throughout that day. Plus, you can listen to the bottom of the 8th through the bottom of the 12th of that 2014 wild card game in the evening of Monday, September 30th as well. So we've got that going on. But that 1 game will be special to us here. But in general, having multiple games, you feel like you're in the playoffs more. If you're in a wild card, even if it's a wild card round, if you've got a best of 3, so you're at least getting 2 games, if not 3, if need be, if the series is split, you feel more a part of the postseason than if it's just 1 game and you lose and that's it. All right, we got to play 1 extra game. I do like the series.
You get a fight.
You're actually in a series.
Yeah.
Despite how it turned out, of course. We'll get back into the Royals here in the 11 o'clock hour, talking about Tommy Pham, who just continues to look like a great acquisition for the Royals, and I think they have locked up the number 1 leadoff spot, that is, for the Royals the rest of the way. How could they not, I think, at this point with what they're getting from Tommy Pham? But let's talk Chiefs a little bit. We know the Bengals are coming to town a little bit later on this week. We had Nate Taylor on the show yesterday, as he joins us every Tuesday. We asked him about Kingsley Suamataia and his performance and how, on the PFF grade scale, they didn't grade him very favorably. Pressure rate and all that kind of stuff. 48.9 PFF grade was the lowest grade by any offensive player. He had 1 pressure and a sack. His run block grade, 37.3. That's just the information that was out there from their grading system. Watching the game, just like the eye test for the casual eye, for a rookie, his performance was not much different than what we saw at times from what they dealt with a year ago.
Donovan Smith, yeah.
Like
inconsistency.
Fine,
Sometimes you give up a sack because your skill set or and not effort in this case, but you're a rookie who kind of beat yourself up. But this is a better test than the one previous week. There wasn't a guy on the Ravens who I think sends fear into my heart at the same level of Trey Higgins. And look, it's not T.J. Watt either.
Nnamdi Madubuike or whatever. I mean, he 13 sacks last year, something like that.
Yeah, I was a big fan of his coming out. But he also plays primarily on the inside, so they can move him over Kingsley. But he is more often than not going to have to go beat Tooney or Trey Smith or Creed Humphrey. That's the difference. This is an edge rusher. This is a guy who will line up over the top of you. And because over the next few weeks you'll get more guys like this, yeah, I'd like to see the difference between it. I also think that is I'll be honest, I did not watch every single second of Kingsley snaps, but I did go through and I watched the YouTube breakdown from Mitchell Schwartz. And I'm going to assume that versus any of the other people on Twitter who probably claim what they know what they're seeing in offensive line play, right. Mitchell Schwartz, former All-Pro right tackle. He plays tackle. All-Pro right tackle has to say about the matter is the same thing that you should feel like. That's too low of a grade. There are some snaps he'd want back. Some run snaps he'd like back. Some pass snaps he'd like back. Where he just straight up got beat. But I guess the question I would have for any left tackle, especially a rookie in this case, is at any point, did you think that the offensive line play was holding them back offensively? Was it stopping them from doing what they wanted to do in the game? No. That's all I care about for offensive line play under Patrick Mahomes.
And let's be honest, we view Kingsley differently right now as well because, as I said, I thought his performance was very similar to what we saw at times from a Donovan Smith or an Orlando Brown Jr. The difference was those guys were, and especially in Orlando Brown Jr.'s case, they were making a lot more money. You also felt like, okay, that was their best. That was their peak. They're kind of a finished product, if you will. Whereas with Kingsley, there's a lot of room to grow. He is a rookie. This was his first NFL start, big stage, Thursday Night Football. Yeah, it's at home. Well, the next test really for him, I agree with you. Yeah, it'll be against the defensive front of Cincy. But the next big test for me, honestly, Cody, will be when he's on the road, and all of a sudden they're dealing with a silent count, and they're, I guess it'll be in Atlanta for that, when they're in a dome and it's pretty damn loud, and how does he handle that?
Atlanta's not really loud, but yes.
Well, it'll be loud on a Monday night game against the Chiefs with Kirk. It'll be loud. They're indoors, right, so that'll be the big test.
Still Atlanta.
that'll be the test. Atlanta has good sports fans, and so we'll see. Hendrickson is one of the better defensive linemen, but I want to see what he does on the road. But you have to feel good about what you saw right out of the gate for Kingsley. That was his debut. Like very easily we could have been sitting here saying, okay, he's a rookie, but that was a disaster or something. No, not at all. He held his own
because of the interior offensive line play. All the Chiefs ask out of their tackles and have asked. We gave that stat before the season. Patrick Mahomes, if he is to go to the Super Bowl again this year, he will have appeared in 5 different Super Bowls with 5 different starting left tackles. I don't have to even do any historical research to tell you that's never happened before. They usually just kind of have their dude there and then maybe have to change it once, but not 5 different times. Now, look, it should have been 4 different times. It should have been Eric Fisher twice, but Rimmers had to come in the last minute. But the other 2 times, it was not like that at all. It was Orlando Brown Jr., and they let his ass walk, and then it was Donovan Smith, and they let his ass walk, and now it's Kingsley Suamataia. And so, they've moved on to the next staple of this. But because this is the opposite. I told you, and they're facing the Bengals this week, so it's relevant. Joe Burrow, and he did it again last week in week 1, he is terrible at creating his own sacks. You didn't have to get sacked there, Joe. What are you doing? Russell Wilson was always really bad at it. I thought, there's boys in a couple of
pocket
quarterbacks.
Awareness is what you're trying to say.
Well, they just step. Sometimes it's about I want to make a play. I want to hold on to whatever it is. They're trying to hold on to the ball to make a play, and sometimes they make spectacular plays as a result of that. But they give their team sacks. They don't do. Mahomes is the exact opposite. Even though he is not the best, even though Lamar Jackson is a better running quarterback than Patrick Mahomes, there is no quarterback in the NFL better at sack avoidance than Patrick Mahomes. So for the couple of times you screw up, so what? He'll cover you a few times anyway. The real question is, can you just not be a liability for the entire game? That's all I ever really ask out of left tackle right now. And then hopefully over the season, better.
Yeah, I think it'll be fun to watch his progression as we get further and further in. But I just think the starting point, we now know the starting point for Kingsley, and that's what's really exciting about where maybe he could be, is that this wasn't a starting point where we were talking about him struggling, okay, he's got to improve No, if this
is the
is
baseline,
actually the baseline,
okay.
you can totally work with that.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting on Sunday because Trey, like a lot of times, like TJ Watt will flip sides, Max Crosby will flip. Trey Hendrickson, for the most part, is in front of that left tackle, like 95% of the time. Kingsley's gonna get every single rep almost that Trey Hendrickson's gonna give him. And I guess the good thing is they don't have an inside rusher like Matabuke, the Bengals. So if Kingsley needs any help in any instance, then which I don't think he would, based on what we've seen, I don't. It's not like the Chiefs won't be able to give it to him because the Bengals don't have that interior pass rusher.
Well, and overall, this is not as good of a defense that the Chiefs are facing as what they just faced last week. I mean, it's not even close. I mean, it's been the case for a while. Baltimore historically under Harbaugh is always, I know he's not a defensive mind. He's special teams coach, et cetera. But that has always been a staple there in Baltimore. We know that. And Nate Taylor alluded to this a little bit yesterday. Like the secondary for Cincy is a big question mark. Is a big question mark. And now we know what weapons the Chiefs have they didn't have a year ago. And so, like, what do you do if you're Cincy? You're trying to balance this out. Like, in a weird way, as we sit on Wednesday, I wonder, we know the Chiefs are always going to pass the football, but this feels like a Pacheco type of assert his dominance type of game.
Yeah, it does.
Because you're gonna, if you're Cincy, I think you should be terrified of what the Chiefs could do down the field against your secondary in this game.
It's the same thing that I said last year when they had Jake Browning. The way that I think this is kind of why the Bengals because everybody has said the Bengals are a matchup problem for the Chiefs because of the way the Chiefs play. They almost get in their own way by how they play. If the Chiefs ran the ball, if they run the ball 40 times.
That's too many times.
No,
Kind of 30.
But no, I'm telling you.
40's a lot.
I'm telling you, every single game.
Did anyone run the ball 40
you said
times
yesterday,
last week?
Cody, every single time that the Bengals have played, forget with Joe Burrow or not, it's been an 8-point game at worst. If they ran the ball 40 times, they would win by 2 touchdowns because that's how bad the Bengals' run defense is.
I do think
sometimes they play into the Bengals have coverage. Their coverage is fine. They can't tackle. The secondary can't tackle. They get no push up front. Defensive line wise, there's nobody that's there to stuff the run. That's why last week, any carry that Ramondre Stevenson had that should have been 1 or 2 yards was 4 or 5 or 6.
Yeah, a lot of yards after contact.
There's no. I think he had 100 and the Bengals allowed last week over 100 yards on the after contact, which is obscenely bad.
In Drew's defense, I looked it up. There were 2 teams last week. I didn't think anybody was going to be on this list. There were 2 teams last week who ran the ball 40 times. They both won. Pittsburgh ran it 41 times against the Falcons, and Houston ran it 40 times. New England, third highest, 39 times. That's how many times they ran it against Cincinnati.
Quarterback's Jacoby Brissett.
Do you want to?
Jacoby didn't even run like that.
No, that's my point.
Ramondre ran all over him.
No, that's my point. Is like their quarterback's Jacoby Brissett. They knew the only way they were beating Cincy was running. We all know the Chiefs, of course, have multiple ways to beat Cincy, so it's a little bit different. But I think the running backs in general will be involved. I mean, later
Pacheco
on we'll
have a big day.
Pacheco. I mean, I think the former Bengal Samaje Perine getting a touchdown in this game. We'll just go ahead and put that bet in right now.
I think, by the way, your team should heed their own advice. The team with the lowest rushing attempts in Week 1.
Yeah, the Bengals.
Cincinnati.
I'm not surprised.
See what Chase Brown and Zach Moss can do.
The way that they do stuff, and it baffles me sometimes because they started running the ball, believe it or not, when Jake Browning was in. And they actually started winning games because the running game was good. It helped out the quarterback a little bit. Imagine what it could do with a guy like Joe Burrow.
All right, coming up next, we're just getting started here on a Wednesday. It's Cody and Gold on 96.5 The Fan. One trend that we wonder, can it actually continue for the Chiefs after Week 1? We'll tell you what that is next.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Calling all Kansas City football fans to downtown Las Vegas. Join us at Circa Resort and Casino this October for the ultimate game day getaway. Huddle up at Overhang Bar with 96.5 The Fan for our pregame tailgates on Fridays with drink specials and giveaways, including a pair of game day tickets. Then catch all the action at the world's largest sportsbook or lounge in the center of it all at America's favorite place to watch football, Stadium Swim, featuring 6 pools and a massive 143-foot screen. To book your Huddle Up experience, visit CircaLasVegas.com today. Hey, it's Bob Fesco, and I'm here with my friend Brian Manning of Manning Roofing. Why is it important to deal with a roofing company that understands the insurance side of the business?
First of all, you want to make sure that you get all of the damage covered at your property. We have a very experienced team that's licensed and insured. We do roofs, windows, siding, and gutters, along with some interior trades, and we can make sure that all of the damage is taken care of.
I've used Manning Roofing at my house, so set up your appointment today at manninggc.com or 816-448-8208. The choice is simple. It's Manning Roofing.
What's up, Kansas City? It's Mitchell Schwartz. You know, there's nothing easier to enjoy than watching the Chiefs with some wings and an ice-cold Bud Light. And Buffalo Wild Wings is serving up both for every game, all season long. Join me at the Buffalo Wild Wings located at 152 Highway and North Flintlock Road in KC Mo on Thursday, September 12th. I'll be there with the crew from 6 to 8 p.m. celebrating the back-to-back Super Bowl champs while eating some wings and drinking $5 Bud Lights. Nothing easier to enjoy than that. For more details, go to 965thefan.com. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
It's Carrington Harrison from The Drive here now on 96.5 The Fan, telling you guys about my friends over at Window World. Window World is the official window of the Kansas City Chiefs. Pick up the phone right now and call Window World today at 816-799-0820 or check out the website, windowskansascity.com. And remember this, when you call Window World, be sure to mention that you heard this on The Drive with me, and you'll be entered into a drawing for 4 Chiefs tickets during the upcoming season. You know they got some big games, and you're going to want to be there. So call my friends over at Window World. They're offering right now 36 months, same as cash financing with approved credit. In over 20 years of business, Window World has improved the look and thermal efficiency of over 54,000 homes right here in the Kansas City metro. Check out the website, windowskansascity.com. Pick up the phone today at 816-799-0820 for a free home estimate. Call to be entered into a drawing for 4 Chiefs tickets. Remember, Window World, simply the best for less. And the official window of your Kansas City Chiefs.
It's Wrangler season out there. Warmer days, cooler nights. Open roads, endless horizons. And you need to be ready in jeans made for the unpredictable. Wrangler, for the ride of life. Shop our newest styles today at Wrangler.com.
Our Labor Day savings start now at Lowe's. Right now, buy one, get one free on Valspar Reserve or HGTV Home by Sherwin-Williams Infinity or Showcase Interior Paint via Lowe's gift card rebate. Whether you're painting one accent wall or want to freshen up a whole room, we've got you covered. Because Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows home improvement. More terms and restrictions apply. See Lowe's.com/rebates for details. Valid through 9/4.
Save on O'Reilly Brake Parts Cleaner. Get 2 cans of O'Reilly Brake Parts Cleaner for just $8. Valid in-store only at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Space may be the final frontier, but it's also what a lot of us lack in our basement or garage. By switching to a Navien tankless water heater, not only will you have all the hot water you need whenever you need it, but you'll gain storage area as well. Maybe a place to display your space collectibles. Highly logical. Learn about Navien's series of high-efficiency tankless water heaters and how they don't just save space, but save dollars on your utility bills too. For more, go to tanklessmadesimple.com.
Jake from State Farm. I'm winning. I finally cleaned my house, so I'm breaking out my new tropical room spray.
Keep winning and create an affordable price just for you by bundling your home and auto with the State Farm Personal Price Plan. It's like your own personal paradise.
Ooh, hey, grab me a coconut water.
Bundling, just another way to save with a personal price plan. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Prices are based on rating plans that vary by state. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability, amount of discounts and savings, and eligibility vary by state.
This is the story of the one. As a warehouse manager, her job is to transform chaos into clarity and to see patterns where others see problems. Luckily, she's got a partner who shares her perspective. Grainger offers over 1 million industrial-grade products, backed by real-person support and in-depth online resources, so she can tackle every task with precision and turn potential setbacks into streamlined success. Call clickgrainger.com or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
I'm at a smoothie bar asking people if they'd switch smoothies with me for $574.
Oh, I'll switch.
So what about $574 if you switch your home insurance to Allstate?
That's a headache.
Nope, it's painless.
Oh, so it's easy money.
Yep, check Allstate first and you could save hundreds on quality home insurance today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Not available in every state. Based on the national average annual savings for new home insurance customers surveyed in 2023 who switched to Allstate and reported savings. Savings vary.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer whenever I want? Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. 94% of Sleep Number smart sleepers report better sleep. And now, during our biggest sale of the year, save 50% on the Sleep Number limited edition smart bed. Plus free home delivery on select smart beds when you add any base. Ends Labor Day. To find a store near you, visit sleepnumber.com.
Your coworkers might annoy you, but we promise we won't. Download the free Odyssey app and you can listen to us at work while you tackle your inbox or get ready for another meeting that probably could have been an email. Tune in late? You can rewind your favorite live shows to catch what you missed. And with Chapters, easily jump to the topics that you care about most, like the latest updates from your team. Your sports talk, your way. The Odyssey app. Download it today.
Arvest Bank, believing in the power of serving others.
Arvest Bank believes in the power of serving others. That's why we're committed to supporting those who serve our communities. We believe that all communities deserve a financial partner who cares. Arvest. We believe.
In about 10 minutes, we'll get to how kickoffs looked in the NFL after 1 week. It's just 1 week, but it was weird. There's a chance the reverse effect could be happening. We'll explain that as well coming up in just a bit. You guys can always join the conversation. 913-586-7965. That's the Jay Southland Tow Service text line. We're also streaming the show on video, Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, X.
Yeah. Matter of fact, Drew, I'll give you a chance to respond. There is a gentleman.
Oh, boy.
Every single, I would say 80% of the days on the YouTube chat, the second it fires up, a gentleman named Paul comes into that message and he says things like this. His first comment today was, "Hey, Drew, did I tell you today that Cincy sucks?" And then his follow-up text was, "Cincy sucks, Drew." And then he said, "Drew, this weekend you will have to say his name because he will be tossing touchdowns when given the name of Mahomes." So every day this guy comes in here just to tell you that Cincinnati sucks. Would you like to respond to Paul?
I'm sorry that you think of me every single day on the show. Like I really am. I wish you didn't think of me every day because I don't deserve your attention.
Jamar, you go first. Who's going to the Super Bowl? An AFC, NFC team?
Anybody but the Chiefs.
That's why they think of you, because he's thinking about the Chiefs constantly.
I did tell you over the break. The more that I look at this matchup, every single second is
not feeling good about it, are you?
I'm not feeling very good.
I mean, there's a whole litany of maybe later in the week we'll play all of them. There must be 5 different cuts of Jamar Chase alone. The Pat Who thing. He won't say his name. Like there's so many.
Burrowhead.
Yeah,
and then we can play you could play the James Palmer one after the game where he's like, "Who cares? They just got their ass kicked." Do you remember what I'm talking about? Give me a Frank Clark after they beat Cincinnati again post game, because there's all the Chiefs audio on the opposite end of it that's satisfying. Yeah. This is what makes a good riverry.
For sure.
Yes, we should think about each other's teams.
I agree.
If it's, if it's that end of it. Is this the one? Oh boy, I don't even know if I can risk playing Frank Clark on this show.
I would assume it's cut. If not, then I've got the dump button ready. and your computer's going to get turned off.
No, I'm not going to risk it.
Okay.
All right. Well, I'm going to play it.
They said they run the damn AFC. They lied. They said we wasn't going to whoop their lied. Cincinnati Bengals, who? Who that? Send their ass home, that's who they is.
Send their ass home, that's who they is.
Miss Frank Clark for sure. Definitely miss Frank Clark.
I miss him
some of his
They need
comments.
someone to take that crown back.
One thing that will be interesting to see if it continues, it's 1 week of the season, so I am very cautious of looking at any certain numbers in particular. But after 1 week, the Chiefs are tied with the most yards per play in the NFL, 7.1. What actually interested me more, though, was the Chiefs in a week where we had so many bad quarterback performances and lackluster offensive performances that that we're seeing across the entire league. The Chiefs were also tied for the most first downs by passing. And for an offense that had issues passing the ball a year ago, for a league,
they ran it the fourth least.
For a league that had issues passing it in week 1, the Chiefs were at the top of both against a very good Ravens defense.
A defense that did really well against the pass last year. Now, look, year to year doesn't necessarily mean anything. Could turn out the Ravens have an average pass defense, which we'll know as the season progresses, but that is not an insignificant stat. I know we try to be careful here on it's week 1. Let's not extrapolate that to that's what the rest of the season will be for 17 weeks, because by that metric, congratulations, MVP Baker Mayfield, with your 65 touchdowns, 0 picks, and 7,000 yards, or whatever the hell he would throw for if you played it out for 17 games. But this is an offense who had gotten more conservative each of the last 3 years, every year consecutively. They were conservative, got even more conservative, got even more conservative. Yards per play had gone down each of the last 3 years. Yards per game had gone at each of the last 3 years. Points per, all of it had been slowly trickling down to, hadn't affected their wins for the most part. Certainly hasn't affected their ability to win a Super Bowl, as we know that. But them actually airing it out a little bit and getting more yards per play than they've gotten in years, even if it's for 1 week, that means something to me.
I'll value this, of course, way more, as I'm sure you will. You're in about 3 or 4 weeks when you've got a 4-game sample size. You would have had
they would have had the Duddy game where
play the Ravens and Cincy. You've already at that point would have played a road game at Atlanta. You will have much more of a sample size. But yes, the early return was pretty impressive. And as someone does point out on the text line, they're right. I mean, it also was on 50 offensive plays. The Chiefs defense was out there for like 80 plays. Just the way the game flow worked out. So to have that on a 50-play basis was pretty impressive. If there is still, as we sit in the middle of the week, heading into Sunday, a question you want answered. Like last week, we said we wanted to see what the number 2 cornerback was going to look like. Jalen Watson, we discussed that on last Friday in his performance. We wanted to see what Kingsley would look like. We already discussed him. The one outstanding question for sure that is still out there will be, will they prove that the red zone offense can still be better? Because it's great to have...
Because otherwise, they would have scored 40 points in that game against the Ravens.
It's great to see that yards per play, 7.1. Like, okay, we know that hopefully they're more explosive. You could tell even in a game where Travis Kelce wasn't as involved in the receiving game, they still look dangerous. And that wasn't something you saw a year ago. But in the red zone, they had the one first and goal at the 1 or whatever, and right away Pacheco gets the touchdown. That was a good sign. But in general, they had the turnover they forced against Baltimore, and they settled for a field goal. There was, 2 penalties, and then the drop pass by Kelce. Those are things last year that were a problem. And so let's see what happens on Sunday. That's like the biggest thing if you're asking to nitpick of what you need to correct off of an impressive win against Baltimore offensively. It's still going to be, all right, you get an opportunity in the red zone. Are we still seeing the drop passes? Are we still seeing the penalties that hold you back?
Because those have continued to be their Achilles heel. And in this case, I don't think it was one of those Andy's getting too cute down here. They just weren't very good at executing. And the penalties, again, got the better of them. And they'll be conservative if it's 4th and 2. They'll just let Butker put it between the uprights, especially if it's a game in which they think they're always going to win. Speaking of Butker, I'm assuming you paid attention. I told you I will not lay judgment on this rule until a month into the season. It better be October, full pumpkin spice latte season before I make
already, man.
my final judgment. I made pumpkin bread with my kid over the weekend.
See, it's here. It's here.
So we're already on board. What can I say? But the Chiefs had 6 chances to kick a ball to the Baltimore Ravens, and what did they do on all 6 times? They put the ball in the end zone. There was a 64% touchback rate in week 1 of the NFL. If you remember, it's about 10% higher than that last year. So the real question is on the early returns, is that getting ready to get even worse? Because the Chiefs, a very smart special teams team, decided we're not going to kick it to them, and instead we'll give it to them at the 30, which is going to lead to the end of the year maybe, resulting in having to penalize these teams further.
Well, that's the thing. We've said, looking at this during training camp, I still think to a certain extent, the rule change is not going to work the way they believe. I understand that after 1 week, 57 kickoff returns.
And there was a touchdown.
We had DJ Dallas with the 1 return. Also had a muffed punt, which led fumble. So, okay, you say, hey, action was happening.
That's 2 plays that didn't happen under the old rules, hypothetically. I'm sure there was a kick return
and that's a good sign. Now, the average starting field position was still the 29.4. And this goes back to the point we were trying to make before the season, which is like, hey, if I'm a coach, I'm sure the coaches are going to take notice of that very soon, if not already. And that is that, hey, wait a second. Why are we even risking this? I can just sail it through the back of the end zone, and they're getting the ball at the 30. And you're telling
That's
me
a half a yard.
The average is basically that anyway. Why would I even worry about it, right? And so that's my first thought. The other one is, Cody, you're right. You mentioned it. See, DJ Dallas of the Cardinals gets a return like, hey, man, we got kickoff returns. Yeah, the more you want the play to be exciting. The problem with that at the same time is if you have all of a sudden, like let's say this week somehow we had 3 kickoff returns. I'd be like, oh my gosh, the rule change works. You know, the problem with also the rule changes
is that now they're not going to kick it.
They're never going to kick it. And so
it's fighting against itself.
It is. And the only way to fix that is something they did not implement, which was a stronger penalty for touchbacks. It needs to be the 35 or the 40, honestly, to have a strong punishment. Because otherwise, yeah, if suddenly we do see more kickoff returns for touchdowns, it's great for that week or so. The next week, teams are just really not going to give you a chance. So I don't think this is going to be, quote unquote, resolved this year. Next year, they got to go to the offseason, I believe, and increase the penalty on the touchbacks if they want this really to work. If they do that, I think this could work.
So here's what I would do. I would let it play out. If I were the NFL, I would let it play out the entire year. I would let this story play itself out. Let's just say it continues as the week 1 trend. We get to 65% return rate or touchback rate instead of 75%. And let's say the touchdowns are equal, but that, we get to see something happen 10% more of the time. Someone gets, getting tackled is more action than I got before. Even if the man gets tackled at the 29-yard line. So someone gets tackled, a ball gets fumbled every once in a while. I get some action 10% more of the time. But if we play out the entire year and it creeps up to 69, 70%, well, then I'd add 5 yards first. I'd give it another year at 35. And if that doesn't change everyone's mind, I'd either consider eliminating kickoffs forever or going to the 40. Because after that, you've punished too great. You've punished too far. If you're giving the ball beyond the 40 is kind of crazy.
I mean, I don't like the rule to begin with. Like, I wasn't a big fan of this to begin with.
Yeah.
In general, I still think like we were sitting there on Thursday night at the Chiefs game, and that game in particular, and I'm like, we're still just wasting our time on these kickoffs. Like, Carson Steele had the one nice return when Baltimore gave him an opportunity. There's a balance of what fans are seeing, and we're like, hey, even if he gets tackled at the 20, it's more exciting. Fine, but if I'm a coach. I deep down on a kickoff play, my worry is not, were the fans entertained on the kickoff? It's like, did it help us win a game or not? That's what I'm getting paid to do.
But the NFL's job is to entertain you, and
sure,
that's a non-action play. Baseball's doing the same thing.
But coaches still can find a way with the rules to benefit their team, and the benefit might be to say, screw it, we're kicking the ball in the end zone. I mean, the Chiefs did that on Thursday night. Like, all the talk about Dave Tobe and Andy Reid in the offseason, like, hey, we think we maybe have something here with the kickoffs. We're excited. At least for 1 week, they said, screw it. We're not going to even risk it. Just Butker, just kick it through the end zone, man.
I think that's probably where it's going, which means we're just going to eliminate the play. If you think the play's too dangerous and you have to change the math up on it, well, then the play doesn't make any sense. And you know where you'll get more action? You get more action by saving everyone's. And by the way, baseball did this and it was smart. You know what getting rid of kickoffs will do? Speed the game up. All that's doing is wasting my time. I have to watch another commercial break or watch a quarterback take a light jog
don't worry.
out
The
from the
commercial
sideline.
break will still happen. They're not going to pass up that money-making opportunity.
You're just wasting my time.
Yeah.
Fine, give me the commercial break and I can hit the bathroom a few minutes sooner. Go grab my food from the kitchen because it is just wasting my time.
I was talking to our friend Scott Parks over at KMBC, of course, with Dana and Parks, and he brought up a fair point. I was trying to explain. I was on the show last week trying to explain the kickoff rule, and we all acknowledge like it's very complicated. But he said, hey, why worry about the penalty thing you and I are talking about with hey, move the touchback penalty to 35 yards? He's like, why not just have the kicker kick it from further back? Like, my answer to that, and see what you think, but my answer to that was, well, they still want teams to have the ability to have a touchback. Like, they don't want every single they want more returns, but they also don't want to make it to where there's no way you could ever have a touchback. I'm guessing that's why, because otherwise, if you just wanted to guarantee a return every single time, wouldn't you just move the kicker back to the 25? And say, screw it. You got everything is a return here.
It's all return now.
Like what?
But they don't want the same kind of return. But by that argument, you could do it. Screw the landing zone. None of it matters. You got a kicker who from the 25 can get that thing to the end
Good
zone.
for him.
And still the landing zone exists in the everyone stands where you can't block until there. So the blocking schemes are all the same. The kicker doesn't matter, right? He's off the field. He doesn't matter. Everyone gets the same number of players blocking down on the other end. Kicker just gets his ass off the field because he's a kicker. Like, there are other ways to attempt it. They want this play in the game. So I do think they'll continue to tinker with it. But yeah, there's no perfect solution.
Why isn't that what Bill Belichick suggested too? Is that they change the position?
Maybe, I don't know.
Where they're kicking from. I think.
Well, they moved it up at one point because they were again at that time more worried about safety than action.
Sure, but because guys are kicking it out of the end zone, so I think 5-yard or 10-yard difference. It's not going to eliminate touchbacks because the guys have the kickers have big enough legs where they can still get it there. It's just it makes it more tempting to have that return where even if the ball is in the end zone by a yard or two. Guy's probably returning it.
Yeah.
I know it's an unpopular opinion, but I still would just
get rid of it.
Let's be done with this, please. And I understand there's guys on the 53-man roster that make the roster because of special teams. I'm sure there's coaches out there that are listening, whether you coach in college or high school or used to, whatever, and you're like, this is crazy. Trust me, if it was my choice, they would go back to what it was in 2009. We know that's not happening because of the safety issues. They're not going back to that. It's either this new kickoff with some tweaks is going to work or they're getting rid of him. So we can decide. Like, I think it's still a giant waste of time because kickoffs are never going to be what they once were.
Speaking of tweaks that could absolutely help a game, did you see Rob Manfred, my new hero? I've never said anything bad about Rob Manfred that I can recall.
He's on a little bit of a heater.
He is, actually. I trashed him for a long time for hating baseball, and I stand by all those previous comments. But he has been doing a much better job improving the sport over the last couple of years. Rob Manfred was speaking on a CNBC boardroom game plan event. And in that event, he seemed to make it very clear that baseball needs a national media rights strategy and to move away from regional sports networks to expand the game. And all I can say is, thank God. I don't know how long this is going to take or if even he can convince the 30 MLB owners to be on board with this. But at the very least, if the commissioner is saying it out loud, this is closer than we ever have been to doing this. There's a couple of reasons why you should care in Kansas City. One, I know you all hate getting on the Bally's app, paying the $20 for the rest of the month just so you can see the Royals play. There are still some of you that are holding out and just have to stick to the national Fox game or the postseason or a million other things, and that stinks. Having a national media rights deal is going to make this stuff more accessible to you. Not necessarily free, but more accessible to you than it has ever been. But also, this would be the first time in Major League Baseball since, I don't know, dudes with made-up names from the 1800s where baseball actually tried to do something to even the revenue playing field. Because a national media rights deal would mean the Yankees don't get $100 million for their TV deal and the Royals get 30. It would mean everybody gets 55. And, oh, my God, what a difference that would make.
Well, so the general idea of getting rid of the regional networks and having a national rights to, whether it's something where we're all watching on Amazon Prime and you just, you add it to your Amazon Prime subscription, I'm all about that, of course. I think that'd be incredible. There was reports about that with the whole Diamond Sports Group thing that's been going on with bankruptcy and everything. So, of course, this is a great thing. I think you're being a little too optimistic on
that they'll actually do it the way I want it.
On the last part there, because if I'm the Yankees and we just kind of know how some of the bigger markets operate, if they had a national package, I don't think all 30 are just splitting it evenly. That would be perfect, and especially as people in Kansas City, of course, that'd be great.
Because imagine drawing the invisible line of how you decide who gets more.
The argument would be if you're the Yankees, the Dodgers, or whatever, they would still argue that they're bringing more to the table in terms of their market. So I think nationally is the way to go, but I'm not convinced that everybody's just splitting it, 30 ways. I just don't believe that.
Can we do it the way these conferences do when they add a new member? So for hey, Yankees, we understand this is going to hurt the old pocketbook for a little bit. So for the first 5 years of our new national media rights deal, you will get a bigger share. You'll get your bigger conference share, let's say, for 5 years while you adjust to what that new number will be. And in that time, in 5 years, no worries. Have you seen what sports rights are going for? We're going to clean up on these. Don't you worry about that. We'll make you whole. It's going to be more money for everyone. Baseball needs it's never going to be even. They're never going to a salary cap, salary floor system in which things are totally even. It's just not happening in baseball, and I accept it. But every small thing, occasional things you can do that even the playing field, even 3%, 5%, I'm all on board for. Because right now, the economics of baseball are so dramatically different on one side versus the other. The Yankees are 3 games better than the Royals this year. The Yankees are spending $310 million on their team. And that's probably before they give $600 million this offseason to Juan Soto. The Royals, meanwhile, are spending $110 million on their team. A third of that on their team. If you even the playing field, you can't convince me. These big-time organizations get away with not being as good of organizations sometimes, but competing more regularly just because of a dollar. Just because, and I'm not saying it doesn't happen in the NFL. Obviously, the Bengals can't compete the same because they refuse to pay people.
We'll get to that later.
But generally speaking, like the economics are screwed up. They're screwed up. You got to get them closer.
So now hearing it from Rob Manfred, I'll go back also to John Sherman's comments. I don't know if we have the individual cut. I know we had the whole interview, but John Sherman was on with Vern 2 months ago. And they sat down, and one of the things John Sherman brought up was kind of the TV package, and he acknowledged like it's still something that's probably not going to happen right away. But now hearing this is clearly what owners are hearing from the commissioner's office, what owners want to do as well. I just don't know if it's necessarily going to still be a level playing field even with that. But if it means for fans, most importantly, that the access to their television package doesn't have blackouts anymore. I mean, that was the one thing that I know John Sherman mentioned when he was talking to Vern was that, like, it's, how crazy it is that if you're in Oklahoma, you can't watch the Royals. What? Like, you know what I mean? Like, stuff like that is insane. It makes no sense. And so
no other sport
fixing the blackouts is a huge part of it. But if they had a national platform, right now, we know with the blackouts, you can go on MLB TV, but you can't watch the Royals if you're in the blackout area. But I still use MLB TV all the time to watch any game. That app and everything, VPN. That app and everything is totally fine.
Yes.
But the blackout's the problem. So whether it's just improving their app and partnering up that way, whether it's getting Amazon on board where they already have the app and platform and the huge viewership base ready to roll.
But if you just agree with FS1 that we're going to air Major League Baseball games, it could still be like how NFL games work. In this region, you're getting Royals most of the time, right? Because in this area, like in Kansas City, when baseball comes on Fox Sports 1, you're getting the Royals. Why are you getting the Royals? For the same reason that if you are watching NFL at noon in LA, you get the Rams. Or if you're watching the NFL on CBS at noon in Kansas City, you get the Chiefs. Or if you're watching, you get the Eagles. You get the teams that are regionally interesting to you. Now, occasionally, you're going to run into a problem. Every once in a while, your team's not going to be on the screen because there's going to be a regional game that matters more depending on if you're in Iowa or whatever. But just as long as you're in Iowa and I have the option to purchase the ticket package that exists for that, and in Kansas City, the Royals game is always on FS1, well, then it shouldn't matter that these regional TV rights deals make the pie a more equitable end. Look, he said one thing in a press conference. I'm like, oh, my God, please, Rob.
It's not happening at the end of the season necessarily.
No, it will take a little while, and I understand this idea still that, people don't want to pay additional money for it. Sadly, that's just where the streaming services and all these things are going.
It's not going to be free.
The NFL's like this Thursday night, Miami versus, I can't remember who they're playing.
Bills.
Oh, wow, good game. The Dolphins versus the Bills on Thursday Night Football. You better have Amazon Prime or you're not watching it. Now, a huge chunk of Americans already have Amazon Prime, so you're not like, well, I don't have to pay it versus the number of people who subscribe to Peacock. But you're just going to, like Netflix, Amazon Prime, Peacock. If you want to watch those standalone games, you're just going to pay the price. That's the thing baseball still needs to do, though, is will they make the local games free? I can always catch the Chiefs if I'm in Kansas City. Making people pay outside the market, we're used to that. In Kansas City, can I watch a Royals game just on TV? That's what I
well, I just don't. I mean,
on Fox,
even with this though, because
FS1,
because there's so many games.
FS1 would be my
the Royals. It's going to be on a. Yeah, but FS1, I mean, it's going to be on a streaming app one way or the other, even with the national deal. Like with the
Amazon or
whether
Apple
it's Amazon, Apple, whatever, the Royals games long term are going to be on something that anybody can just have an app for. The question will be if it's built into something like you're already paying Amazon. Do you have to pay an extra $5 a month for the Royals games, or is that built into your membership because it's Amazon and it is what it is? Or is it like Apple?
They don't charge me right now.
Apple charges you extra if you want to watch MLS games through Apple TV Plus or whatever. It doesn't. You have to pay extra for that. I don't know what the price is.
Yep.
Right? But
So it's like a pay-per-view title. Yeah.
So I don't know if people wouldn't like that still, but that's where things are at. We'll see. This is something that I'm sure in the offseason we'll hear more about. Up next, we get to the 11 o'clock hour. One thing about the quarterbacks that is happening across the NFL and why the Royals have their leadoff man.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for K-State Athletics. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
What's up, Kansas City? It's Mitchell Schwartz. You know, there's nothing easier to enjoy than watching the Chiefs with some wings and an ice-cold Bud Light. And Buffalo Wild Wings is serving up both for every game, all season long. Join me at the Buffalo Wild Wings located at 152 Highway and North Flintlock Road in KZMO on Thursday, September 12th. I'll be there with the crew from 6 to 8 p.m. celebrating the back-to-back Super Bowl champs while eating some wings and drinking $5 Bud Lights. Nothing easier to enjoy than that. For more details, go to 965thefan.com. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Unproductive workouts, decreased energy, brain fog, and more. But many men just attribute these symptoms to aging and don't consider that there are medical treatments that can give them back their vigor and vibrancy. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and if you're feeling like I just described, it's time for you to treat that low T and change your life. At Heartland Men's Health, we're experts in treating low testosterone and other men's sexual health conditions. We've successfully treated many men for low T and seen the amazing difference that those treatments can make in a man's life. If you're like the vast majority of men who are low T, within just a few weeks, you'll feel your energy return, that brain fog will go away, your sleep will improve, as will your workouts, and your sex drive will be significantly enhanced as well. So make an appointment and make a true life change. Your initial visit is only $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. And if you start on testosterone the day of your appointment, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com. We have 3 offices, Overland Park, Independence, and now North Kansas City.
NFL Week 2 is here, and you can start the season with a big return on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. New to FanDuel, you'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. You can build a quick same-game parlay for Thursday Night Football between the Bills and the Dolphins, like a Dalton Kincaid anytime touchdown, Josh Allen over passing yards, and Tyreek Hill over his receiving yards. Just visit FanDuel.com/Alex to make every moment more this season. FanDuel is an official sportsbook partner of the NFL and 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expires 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
I can't wait to watch the Chiefs go up and down the field and score a ton of points this year. And now I have even more reason to cheer on the Chiefs. I just head to Hy-Vee the day after any game and score savings at the pump with my Hy-Vee Perks card. Win or lose, I earn fuel saver discounts equal to the Chiefs score based on the amount I spend. If the Chiefs score 42 points, I save 42 cents a gallon when I spend $42. The more we score, the more I save. Only at Hy-Vee. Offer good in-store and online. Some restrictions apply. See store for details.
Flu season is here. Get your flu shot today at your local Hy-Vee pharmacy. It's easy, convenient, and no appointment is necessary. Plus, when you get your flu shot at Hy-Vee, earn a 20-cent fuel saver. That's right, a 20-cent fuel saver. Get your flu shot when it's convenient for you. Schedule online or just stop by your Hy-Vee pharmacy. No appointment necessary. Help your family stay healthy. Get your flu shot and get a 20-cent fuel saver only at Hy-Vee. See store for details. Some restrictions apply.
Hey, it's Bob Fesco, and I'm here with Ryan Manning of Manning Roofing. We all know when a storm comes through, there may be a knock at your door with somebody trying to repair your roof.
Inexperienced guys will be out and getting homeowners to open up claims. A lot of the times they don't show up for those adjustments. Photo takers might not document everything, and when the file examiner takes a look at it, it ends up in a denied claim or a partial. Give us a call. We'll go from there.
Do what we did and set up your appointment today at manninggc.com or 816-448-8208. The choice is simple. It's Manning Roofing.
What if I told you that there was a single management software that could handle your CRM, accounting, manufacturing, marketing, inventory, sales, and everything in between for a fraction of the cost of the dozens of disconnected platforms most companies rely on to manage their business? Sounds pretty good, right? Well, that's Odoo. Odoo is the end-all, be-all for any business of any size, and it's ready to help your company reach the next level and beyond. Learn more at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
Wake up. Breakfast. And Nature Made vitamins. Whatever your morning sounds like, Nature Made fits right in. Whether you're looking for vitamin C or a multivitamin to get key nutrients, we've got you covered. Now that's a good morning. We take care of you so you can take on your day. Start your day with Nature Made, the #1 pharmacist-recommended vitamin and supplement brand. Based on a survey of pharmacists who recommend branded vitamins and supplements.
Hi, I'm Angie Hicks, co-founder of Angie. And one thing I've learned is that you buy a house, but you make it a home. Because with every fix, update, and renovation, it becomes a little more your own. So you need all your jobs done well. For nearly 30 years, Angie has helped millions of homeowners hire skilled pros for the projects that matter. From plumbing to electrical, roof repair to deck upgrades. So leave it to the pros who will get your jobs done well. Hire high-quality certified pros at Angie.com.
Guess what, people? Wendy's has new saucy nugs. You heard me. Wendy's nugs now come in 7 saucy flavors. Buffalo, honey barbecue, garlic parm, spicy ghost pepper. You can literally hear your taste buds after every bite. I'm serious. Listen to mine. Okay, that's just me playing with sound effects, but you got the idea. For a whole new way to nug, gotta be Wendy's.
At participating U.S. Wendy's.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. Tune into Vern's On Deck Show 1 hour before first pitch on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan, KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
Coming up in 8 minutes, we'll talk a little more about Tommy Pham, who continues to be phenomenal for this Royals team. I was about to give you a Drew pun, but I avoided it. Saw that all over social media yesterday. Pham-tastic, which we know is Drew's thing. But Tommy Pham has been fantastic.
My favorite was Wham Bam, Thank You Pham.
Mm-hmm.
But there's been several.
That one's really good.
Several good ones.
A lot of the stuff from the Cardinals days.
Was that a Cardinals one? I didn't know.
I think Pham Bam was when he was a Cardinals thing.
Wham Bam, Thank You Pham is, I mean, really good.
So we'll get into what
I saw
he's been
Pham
doing.
and Anomenon, so, a Chapel Road recent reference. That one couldn't have come from the Cardinals days.
That's good.
Kudos to everybody and their creativity.
Here in about 15 minutes, we'll also get to the trash of the day. We're about a half hour away from Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes as well, speaking to the media ahead of this game against the Cincinnati Bengals on Sunday, right here on your home for the Chiefs, 96.5 The Fan. Probably get a little update on Hollywood Brown, where things are at with him and anybody
today.
else. Yeah, I mean, if that happens, then he's totally trending towards playing Sunday, and that'll be fun to see. You'll have your full go offense, even if Hollywood Brown's a little bit limited. That would be really interesting to see just how that impacts the snaps for Worthy, and at that point, you probably won't see any snaps from Sky Moore if he's available.
No.
Happy late birthday to
McCall
Sky
Hardman
Moore.
didn't even.
Yesterday, did you sing him a song?
It was his birthday?
Yesterday was.
Oh,
Sky Moore.
I did
Shout out
not.
to Sky Moore.
Happy birthday, Sky Moore. It didn't work. Remember, 4 syllables. My happy birthday song only works if you have 4. If you have 4 syllables.
Okay.
Otherwise, it just sounds like you're dragging it out kind of senselessly, Patrick Mahomes was the first one, of course.
A lot of people texting in real quick. 96.5 The Fam. I mean, that's it right there,
That's pretty strong. Definitely can't argue. I mean, that's pretty strong.
That's good.
That's
good.
That's pretty strong. No argument.
913-586-7965. Keep them coming. We will talk about him, but let's start with some quarterbacks' performances in Week 1. I think we acknowledged yesterday that quarterback play in Week 1 was down overall, and there was a 4-year stretch at one point from 2018 to 2021 in which we saw passer rating across the league was above 90 each season. And it peaked in the 2020 year, believe it or not, 93.6.
Seemed like we were just getting ready to ride a high of great quarterback play forever.
Last year, just QB rating, passer rating, it dipped to 89.1. And before last night's game, or 2 nights ago at this point, I guess, it was 89.3. So it's basically in week one, believe it, I know everybody's talking about it today. It's actually right on par passer rating wise of what we saw all of last season on average.
Sure. So which concerns me in a deep, deep way, where right after the year went where it was Burrow, Mahomes, and Josh Allen, like a 2-year run, I just kind of assumed we were getting ready to hit the resurgence of, oh my God, look how good the quarterback play is going to be in the league moving forward. And the closer I look at it, the more I realize that is the exact opposite of what is actually happening. How many quarterbacks do you actively think can win a Super Bowl is not better than it was 10 years ago? And I would argue the bottom floor of quarterback play is as bad as it's ever been. Deshaun Watson, Bo Nix, Gardner Minshew, Jacoby Brissett, Justin Fields, Will Levis. I can go on and on. The number of just straight up, I would say, bad quarterbacks in the league right now is a third of the starters. And then for the guys that I thought were going to challenge us, where we were going to have, wow, look at 10 quarterbacks playing at an incredibly high level, none of them have ever matched it. Stafford's getting older. Lawrence has never come up to rise to that challenge. Neither has, and like Stroud is just too young, too early. Maybe you thought Kyler was going to be that guy. Quarterback play is far worse than I thought. Derek Carr might still be, 5 years later, like the 11th best starter in the league. And that is not the position the league should be in, considering how many quarterbacks have gone in the first round of the last 5 years.
Right, but here in Kansas City, like,
great
news.
I'm just saying from a watchability standpoint.
Yeah. I mean,
you're right. For Kansas City, fantastic.
Even better news. You already knew you had the best quarterback, but if it's, hey, there's only really 5 or 6 of these guys that are anywhere in the tier 2. And then after that, it's just a bunch of tier 3 and tier 4 guys. I mean, that's even better news, just talking about from the Chiefs' perspective. I also don't disagree on the bottom 5, 6, 7 quarterbacks. Like Kyler Murray, like, you mentioned his performance. Like, that's pretty typical stuff. Like, I don't think we need oh my gosh, there's a massive quarterback problem in the NFL. Everybody sucks now. Like, I think that's a bit much, but there are more.
I'm getting close to that. I'm not all the way there.
There are more than just the bottom 3. Like, the bottom 3 is now, I would say, the bottom 6 or bottom 8.
10,
I'll give you that.
I
think that's true. The bottom is worse than what we've had. But, like, that middle of the road stuff, it's been the middle of the road. I mean, I just mentioned last year, even passer rating-wise, the average is the same as what we just averaged in week 1. Like, if we're just basing it off of yardage, I mean, I mentioned that on Monday, I think. Just off of yardage, yeah. In week 1, only 2 quarterbacks went over 300 yards. So, yeah, based off of that, that's an issue. To me, this is not the same as when we discussed 2 years ago. We're like, oh, my gosh, there's terrible offensive line play in the NFL, and it's a big, big problem and all this, and there's no offensive line talent coming up from college. No, there's plenty of quarterback talent coming out of college. Yeah. Hell, this year, Caleb Williams, we're going to find out about Jaden Daniels as the season goes on. Like, for both of them, like, there's a good chance 2 of these guys, at minimum, end up being top 15 quarterbacks, I think, in the NFL.
Could be, but, like, that's been kind of the story of the last 3 or 4 years, and these guys have all just, like, we haven't had the same emergence I thought we would have. Meanwhile, the 3 best quarterbacks in the league are the same.
C.J. Stroud just had the best rookie starting quarterback season ever.
He's probably the exception, and I do want to find out whether or not year 2 continues to progress that way. Obviously, week 1 looked pretty good. Mm-hmm. But the bottom end is as bad as it's ever been. I just listed all those guys. I mean, think about, and I don't care if it's Justin Fields or Russell Wilson, Justin Wilson, whatever.
But we know both
version,
those guys have stunk for multiple years. That's not a new development in week 1.
But Bryce Young, like Malik Will's not that. And I don't know, maybe Sam Darnold will work out. But Daniel Jones, I mean, there is some really horrid.
Oh, I'm with you, but again, you mentioned Daniel Jones. We've known he's stunk for a couple years. Like, that's not a new, like, Daniel Jones stinking is not a new development.
He was kind of mediocre for that 1 year.
Yeah, we got paid because of it. And the Giants,
I can't
like they needed to do that, and now they're screwed.
We'll see how this year goes, though. But isn't that – it's always been that way where there's not that much NFL-level quarterback talent that
I thought it used to be better, or at least I thought it was heading in a direction where I thought it was going to be that way. And instead,
that way,
it's not.
But there's been one good year in the last 5 years, and that's 2020 when Joe Burrow, Tua, and Justin Herbert were picked. But if you look at the other ones, Trevor Lawrence is the only good one from 2021. Nobody from 2022 other than Brock Purdy, who was picked dead last out of all the quarterbacks.
And we're all still like, how good? Well, we're celebrating the fact that he might be like the 11th best guy.
I know, but I think we need to it's not going to change, but I think the conversation around the quarterback position, it's very important. But if you look at just because Kenny Pickett fakes a slide and Pittsburgh goes 10-2 and he looks great, does not mean that he needs to. It does not mean that he is a first-round talent 1 through 32. I know that it's overvalued because it's the quarterback position, but when you look like this year, does Shedeur look like a number 1 overall draft pick? No. Neither does the offensive line, but Shedeur doesn't. Carson Beck is fine, but he plays at Georgia, so you really can't tell. And Quinn Ewers, he actually might be the guy that's actually looked the best out of all the quarterbacks this year, but
that, I mean, to that point, though, that it's still projecting at the NFL level. I mean, there's plenty of guys that were great college quarterbacks, and nobody considers them a starting NFL quarterback.
Or that were not that great in college and were ridiculous. Jared Goff did. I couldn't tell you anything about Jared Goff in college, and he's maybe a top 10 quarterback in the league. It's just the way that it tends to go. I don't know why that is.
He also played at a D2 school.
Oh, wait, no, he didn't play. No, Goff was at Cal, right?
Cal,
it's still
projecting.
I was getting mixed up with the wins.
But I think sometimes we're all guilty when we talk about, like, hey, top 5 or top 10. Like, we call it a top 5 or a top 10 because there's only 10 of them. Like, we're like, how come there's not more guys that are in the top 10? There can only be 10 in the top 10. Like,
I know that they and they'll get picked in the first round, but you could argue that there is no, in a year like the year where that Bryce Young was picked, or not Bryce Young, but Kenny Pickett. You could argue no quarterback deserved to get picked in the first round, but there's always going to be guys that get picked there. But sometimes there should be a year where you look at a quarterback class and it's like, this is not a good class, and obviously it's not good for the league. But guys, if your team needs a quarterback, you shouldn't just be taking one on a flyer to hope.
Well, in their mind, they're not. Like, in their mind, they're not, right? I mean, like, the Broncos drafted Bo Nix. They had to draft a quarterback this year. In their mind, they think they found someone. Like, they're not. It's not like we all from the outside, including myself with Bo Nix, I don't think he's going to be all that good. But in that organization, during their evaluation process, like, they're not telling themselves, we think he sucks, but we're drafting him anyway. They actually think he's going to be really good.
The other part is that I had actually argued now more. I think that's part of my point, Drew. Now more than ever, I do think you can just take stabs at quarterback. What are you going to do? Guess worse than Jacoby Brissett? Well, you're going to finish worse than that? I don't think so. I'd rather improve my life standing than that. And because the lifespan of being a GM or being a head coach in the league is 5 years. How long can you realistically sit on your hands and keep your job?
Yeah, but if you know you're going to lose, if you know that there's not a good quarterback in the class, why would you not? Yeah, you're kind of throwing a year in the tank, but you're preparing your team better. So I know Caleb Williams is an outlier. The situation that Bryce Young inherited is awful. Why not get the team a little bit more ready? So yeah, you might skip out on Bryce Young. You might skip out on somebody, but you know that when you get a quarterback that's ready, your team is built where you can get a guy like Brock Purdy, and the team's already built good. You just need the quarterback to be fine. You don't have to pay him. You can pay everybody else.
I hear you, but two things. One, Brock Purdy, we all know, is the outlier of all outliers, right? Like, that's not a normal thing.
Mr. Relevant, yeah.
The other thing is, when the Panthers traded with the Bears up to get Bryce Young, in their mind, they clearly
they thought they had the guy.
They thought, I mean, hindsight 2020, they should have drafted C.J. Stroud, but I don't think C.J. Stroud would have had the same success in Carolina. Do I think Stroud is better than Bryce Young?
Yes.
Of course I do. Do I think C.J. Stroud would have broke rookie records in Carolina?
No. Do I think you'd already know he's a better starter? Yes.
I think we have to remember, though, like, in the Panthers' eyes, they were wrong with their evaluation, it looks like, but they truly thought Bryce Young is the franchise long-term option for them, and he's going to be a star.
He
like,
stinks.
So what I was saying, like, they shouldn't have drafted Bryce Young. They should have built the team and then drafted him. Well, then who are they drafting when they're picking 17th and they're mediocre?
He's saying just take the best defensive end.
You're right, but to me, would you rather not take Myles Garrett than take?
Hindsight's a hell of a thing, man.
In hindsight, yes, Drew. But
I think teams talk themselves into take. Look, Denver might say they love Bo Nix. I think that part of them is they felt like they needed a quarterback, and they're like, you know what, we really like Bo Nix, and he's the best one available. I think in a way you talk yourself into taking a quarterback sometimes
They had to
more
take
than you actually believe. They didn't have to take it. They could have
start Jarrett Stidham or Zach Wilson this year.
They could have played Jarrett Stidham and taken Dallas Turner, and the defense would have been great for whenever the defense would have been better for whenever you get somebody. Why would you take a quarterback at 4? I think you talk yourself into, we have to do it now because I have to save my job more than I'm doing what's best for the team.
Sure,
right
part
now.
of it.
But you're missing. Your argument is missing the most key part of all of this which you are only truly using hindsight. And even in the case you mentioned, in where Myles Garrett was selected and said, what has that done for the Browns? Nothing! They still stink! They're still one of the worst franchises in the league. The problem exists is the reason why they take these chances is the cost-benefit analysis is so strong. Because when you get it right, you're off the mat. You matter again. When you're the Bengals and you take Joe Burrow, because that year you think you got the right guy, he's your Bryce Young at the top of the draft. When you get it right, you don't stink as a franchise anymore. You don't just win 3 games. If you get Myles Garrett because it's the year you get Bryce Young, you still stink. Maybe you're 2 wins better, but if you don't have a quarterback, you're lost anyway.
But I think that you building up the roster to be as good as it is better than, hey, Justin, can you come and save us because the rest of the Chargers team stinks.
But quarterback in the NFL is a saving game. That's the job.
But it hasn't been for the Chargers, for instance. It hasn't been for other franchises where the quarterback is great, but the rest of the team stinks. I mean,
yeah, but if they didn't have Herbert, then imagine how bad they'd stink. They'd be better because they had one better defensive player? Probably not.
I said it last year. The Bengals defense was so bad, it didn't matter if Joe Burrow was the best quarterback in the league. They were not going to win anything because the rest of the team, defensively in particular, stunk.
But we saw Cincinnati when they had Andy Dalton. They had some pretty good defenses for him. They won they didn't win a playoff game, right? Is that the story?
Correct.
He was a middle of the road quarterback. Now they have a top 5 quarterback, and even if their defense is mediocre, they've got a chance to go to a Super Bowl. In fact, that's kind of that's kind of what we've seen. Like I totally get what you're saying. Like now that we know the result of some of these things, sure. But if each coach and GM had a guaranteed contract, they were told they would not be fired for 8 years, I think teams would consider more what you're talking about. But the reality is that a general manager maybe has 6, a coach has like 2.5 years to get it turned around. Like Robert Saleh, they went out and tried to hit the fast forward button by trading for Aaron Rodgers. If they don't make it to like an AFC title game this year, there's a decent chance they're blowing that whole thing up there in New York. I mean, you know, if we look at what's another example? Dennis Allen's been in New Orleans for how long? 3-4 years? Has it been longer now? Where's he been at?
I think it's
since Sean Payne got fired, so 3 years.
Yeah, 3 years, something like that.
This year, if they don't make the playoffs, he's getting fired.
Yeah.
Like so, they didn't have an opportunity to sit back and so they tried to take the easier path by getting the established quarterback, which is what you're like. And they traded or they signed Derek Carr because they didn't think he knows in his job if they would have just drafted a quarterback. Maybe he would have lost he wouldn't have had the time that's required. He took the easier fix. They almost won the division last year.
I think, and to your argument, the Colts kind of the Colts did the same thing with Phillip Rivers, and then they did it again with Matt Ryan, and it didn't work either time.
Eventually, Frank Reich was gone. Ballard got to keep his job, though, so that counts for something.
Colts fans want him out, by the way. They do not like Chris Ballard at all. In terms
if he found the quarterback, it looks like he did, then they'll be fine.
Then they won't care anymore. Trash of the day time?
Trash of the day.
All right, we'll get to Tommy Pham at some point. We were going to talk about him. We obviously went a little long there. He obviously is not the trash of the day. He has been fantastic. But
someone said that you should go with the Fast and the Furious. We are family. There's so many good puns available.
So we will talk Tommy Pham a little bit later on. Wanted to go across the pond a little bit over to a football game, as in Welsh football.
Okay.
Where a gentleman got arrested on the field, and you're like, okay, what did this guy run on the field? What an idiot. No. This was after somebody on the field playing in the game scored. All right, he was charged and ultimately released, but there's footage out there. 2 police officers storm onto the pitch and escort one of the players away from the scene who was in the middle of playing. All right, the non-league player initially started on the bench before being introduced in the second half for a team called the Dragons when they were down 3-1 in a match on Saturday. They took the 31-year-old off the pitch after he had just scored and created 2 more goals in the match. The game only had a couple minutes remaining, but that's when law enforcement arrived on the scene. They arrested him on suspicion of theft, and then they released him without charge. They couldn't wait 3 more minutes. They ran onto the field. They arrest this guy in the middle of the match. The video's great. 85th minute, guys. 85th minute.
How are you going to arrest a guy on the pitch? 5 minutes? I mean, stoppage time might be 10.
He was very wanted. I would presume.
Very wanted for theft? I mean, what did he steal? Like 10 Ferraris?
They already released him.
Wasn't one of that bad.
They wanted the storyline for sure. Like, hey, let's go ahead and. I think that they might have just been like, hey, let's go ahead and just try to do it now.
I mean,
it's gonna be a fun little bit.
I do not understand at all the need to do that in that moment, and to feel the pressure to do that in that moment rather than arrest him. Could you imagine if a Chiefs player or Royals player got arrested, or most
that
likely?
Would be insane.
Actually, let's make it more realistic.
Tyreek Hill got arrested right before a game.
Let's make it. Well, he was only detained, technically not arrested.
True,
Let's make it more realistic. A Raiders player got arrested on the field in the middle of the game.
You're saying somebody's trying to run an out route, and all of a sudden they get tackled and handcuffed
and you're like,
on the.
Whoa, what happened there, man? And you're like, oh no, sorry. We got to arrest him. He's one of. You just wait for after the game. You can't be arresting people in the middle of sporting events.
If that happened at an NFL game, that would be insane.
Someone says,
insane.
Detain him for being horrible. Someone said just a couple cops jogging out to get Daniel Jones out of the game because they're fed up. Someone's waiting for Drew to give us what the interaction was like during the Welsh football game.
I don't think I would be able to do that.
Yeah, people are asking for Scottish. This was a Welsh footballer.
Yeah.
Welsh footballer, huh?
Well, the guy the thing here is it turns out maybe they had the wrong guy because he was released. They thought it's suspicion of theft. To me, if it's suspicion of theft, you can't just wait the 5 minutes till the match is over.
Again, with stoppage, maybe 10. But still, I would say there's no way you can't wait. This is getting a little overzealous from this end. I could just that'd be the same though. Do you think that I guess the real question is, if you got in legal trouble or Drew got in legal trouble, let's leave me out of this. I've never been in legal trouble. Yeah. If you were under suspicion of theft, you walk over to Target before the show and they don't think you hit the scanner thing right.
Okay.
Would they wait till the end of the show to come in here and handcuff your ass? Or are they just come if they suspect you at 11:30, are they waiting outside the studio and catch you in a break? Will they let you finish until 2? And I would say under normal circumstances, they're not going to let you just finish your workday just because you're on the air.
Not till the end of the show. They might wait till we're in a commercial break, maybe. I don't know. But also in that crazy hypothetical, what if I stole a bag of chips? You think they're knocking down the door? I mean, I would have had to have committed credit card fraud at Target or something. You know what I mean? For them to actually pursue anything.
I mean, to actually come find you?
Yeah. I mean,
I don't think they're getting anybody for one missed item in the scanner. I didn't scan that
but no,
trash can
I think
4 years
right
ago.
now they would
Walmart's
look in the window and they would say, and then they would probably first try to contact the bosses and they would say, hey, they're going to break in 2 minutes, so you don't have as much of a scene. Would you like to wait 3 minutes?
Imagine him just pointing at you through this window behind us,
and then live on the air.
And then he's like,
live on the air,
this, just the single finger wag, come here, sir, and you're like, oh no, oh no, what did I do? That would be a tense moment in the air. I'd be like, guys, I think I have to go talk to that. And he's like, not you.
Cody always is. There'll be someone that will walk by the window, and Cody's back is turned to it, and so I'll kind of someone will wave, and so I'll wave back, and he's like, sometimes we're like, who was that? Like, oh, it's just the police officers. They want to talk to you. Actually,
he's
after.
Like, you? He's like, me? And you're like, no, him.
True.
This guy.
I mean, again, I think you probably could have waited an extra second.
Someone says,
but that's a new way of getting arrested.
Someone said if there was any athlete that could happen to right now, Deshaun Watson would be the closest to being mid-game and being dragged.
His
off
lawyer
the field.
just released a statement once again, adamantly denying.
Right, there's a new sexual assault lawsuit out there.
Dare I say Browns fans would like to see Jameis play? I don't know if they would mind being able to see Jameis play.
If that's your hope, I mean.
Honest to God, that might be the last Browns hope.
I think
they should be actively hoping. I think yesterday it was announced that they'll let the legal process play out. They're not going to put him on the commissioner's exempt list again, based on an allegation that rivals that of similar allegations he's already served a suspension for in the NFL. I mean, if you're a Browns fan, you should be wishing he ends up on the commissioner's exempt list because then you don't have to pay him.
Somebody said that, and it was a very popular tweet.
Someone says, when the police come for Cody during the show, please, for all of us, keep the mics on.
Yeah, would you keep the mics on? Like, just let everybody, if you go, let everybody hear this interaction, or would you say, oh,
It depends
we
on
need to go
if
to,
I
like,
think
if
I'm
they,
guilty
if
or
they,
not.
If they stormed in right now, would you say, oh, we need to break anyway, but like, we're gonna take an early break. They're here to talk to one of us. Is that how we would approach
I
it?
think
You'd be like, actually, sit down. I'm sure the police officer would gladly do
you
that.
don't mind?
They will gladly, I'm sure, just sit in front of the microphone and listen to you.
They got to give
Cody.
me the anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law speech before they start talking on a microphone. That's for
I
sure.
don't think they're talking on the radio. All right, up next, we'll get to the Chiefs for a half hour. Why the Chiefs might be better a little bit earlier in the season. And we're expected to hear from Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes right here on 96.5 The Fan.
This is Cody and Gold on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Have you or a loved one been diagnosed with cancer? You want the most knowledgeable physicians with the latest technology. That's KCPI, the Kansas City Proton Institute. KCPI has a full suite of the most advanced imaging and treatment technology necessary to localize high-intensity proton beams. That's a critical part of maximizing cure rates while minimizing recovery time and long-term side effects. Proton therapy provides patients with the most advanced form of radiation treatments for cancer. It destroys cancer cells with supreme accuracy, reducing the risk of harmful side effects. KCPI has Kansas City's first and only system that uses pencil beam technology, resulting in precision targeting and less radiation to your surrounding healthy tissue. Proton therapy is now available in the comfort of an office at KCPI, making it more efficient and affordable than a hospital. So contact KCPI for the most knowledgeable physicians with the latest technology. Don't wait. Get precision technology with the highest safety measures with KCPI. Online at kcpi.com.
Procrastination. Easy to do, difficult to spell. Millions of Americans suffer from procrastinitis, especially when it comes to spending money on home improvement projects. Remember the cold breeze flowing through your home last winter? You swore you'd replace those drafty old windows before another snowflake flew. Well, procrastinators, there is a cure, and that cure has a name, and that name is Thermo King. They sell and install super premium triple glass reinforced replacement windows, and the best part? They sell them for the same price as standard double glass windows. That's right. Get Thermo King's wind chill busting triple glass windows with twice the insulating barriers as double glass windows, but for the double glass price. One call to Thermo King, and your home will be sealed up tighter than bark on a tree. And you'll start saving money on your energy bills immediately. Schedule your free, no-obligation window consultation today. 888-KING-WIN, or online at thermokingwindows.com.
What's up, Kansas City? It's Mitchell Schwartz. You know, there's nothing easier to enjoy than watching the Chiefs with some wings and an ice-cold Bud Light. And Buffalo Wild Wings is serving up both for every game, all season long. Join me at the Buffalo Wild Wings located at 152 Highway and North Flintlock Road in KZMO on Thursday, September 12th. I'll be there with the crew from 6 to 8 p.m. celebrating the back-to-back Super Bowl champs while eating some wings and drinking $5 Bud Lights. Nothing easier to enjoy than that. For more details, go to 965thefan.com. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Hey, it's Cody and Gold. Don't sit around waiting until you have to make a decision to finally make the call to Centric. Shift to new opportunities with better advancement.
Look, we're all looking for those parts of our career where we can have that better pay, those career advancements in cybersecurity and the technology field. There's so many chances for advancement, and you can do that by going to our friends over at Centric.
It's time for you to meet with our friend Russ to shift to those new opportunities. Just go to Centric.com.
Fill out a form and tell him that Gold and I sent you, and Russ will talk you through everything.
It's Wrangler season out there. Warmer days, cooler nights, open roads, endless horizons. And you need to be ready in jeans made for the unpredictable. Wrangler, for the ride of life. Shop our newest styles today at Wrangler.com.
Whether you're tinkering in your garage or tackling big projects, if you know the value of working with your hands, you know Harbor Freight. And you can be confident knowing that at Harbor Freight, you can get quality tools at prices that work just as hard as you do. Because the only thing more satisfying than a job well done is a job well done, well under budget. Whatever you do it for less at Harbor Freight.
It's Wrangler season out there. Warmer days, cooler nights. Open roads, endless horizons. And you need to be ready in jeans made for the unpredictable. Wrangler, for the ride of life. Shop our newest styles today at Wrangler.com.
When people have a craving to explore new and traditional Asian cuisines, they head to P.F. Chang's, where scratch-made dishes come from the 2,000-year-old tradition of wok cooking. P.F. Chang's wanted to explore new possibilities for their website. They turned to AmericanEagle.com. AmericanEagle.com re-architected P.F. Chang's website, integrating multiple third-party systems to create a unified digital experience. The results? Improved page speed and performance, personalized content based on users' location, intuitive online ordering, an increase in organic search visibility, and a 40% increase in new users. For scratch-made Asian cuisine, visit your local P.F. Chang's or go to pfchangs.com for website design, development, digital marketing, and hosting that produce efficiency, revenue, and results. Visit AmericanEagle.com. P.F. Chang's and AmericanEagle.com. Another example of the best businesses in the world, turning to the best in the business for websites. Go to AmericanEagle.com or call 877-WEB-NOW1. That's 877-WEB-NOW1.
Tommy! I can't wait for golf this weekend, huh, buddy? Time flies. Love you, man. Oh, don't forget your knee brace again. We aren't in college anymore.
Moments together matter, so help protect yourself from RSV. If you're 75 or older or 60 plus with a chronic condition like asthma, COPD, heart disease, or severe diabetes, you're at higher risk of landing in the hospital from RSV, and there are no prescription RSV treatments. Check eligibility and schedule your RSV vaccine at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Chiefs coverage is brought to you by Dury Vision. Schedule your free consultation today. DuryVision.com.
Imagine seeing better than you ever have, maybe without contacts or glasses. That's what I do now, thanks to Dury Vision. And right now is a great time to call them up with their Friends and Family Savings event where you can save up to $1,000 on LASIK. DuryVision.com or 913-491-3330.
Welcome in to the Chiefs Red Half Hour. Every day at 11:30 with Cody and Gold on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5, The Fan.
Coming up in about 12 minutes, we're expected to head out to Arrowhead here on your home of the Chiefs, 96.5 The Fan. We're going to hear from Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, and Xavier Worthy as it's midweek. Update on some of the status for Hollywood Brown injury-wise and heading into a big game against Cincy. We did see during the break, though, I have said this, you have said this, Cody, and I'm not saying that
Drew's going to have to admit it for Cincinnati fans.
I have to bring this up because we have said jokingly, but also I think there was truth to it, that this is like the Super Bowl on Sunday for Cincinnati. It's a huge game for both, but they treat it like a Super Bowl. And we saw during the break that the Cincinnati Bengals are holding a watch party at their stadium for people to go to their stadium,
What's wrong with
watch
that?
the Chiefs.
Good for them.
Tickets are $99.
Little expensive.
And they're going, before the game starts, to replay at the stadium the AFC title game from multiple years ago.
That's where they messed up.
Against the Chiefs.
That's the loser behavior.
True.
You didn't even win the Super Bowl that year.
It is week 2 of the season.
Yep.
We know they're not the first team to ever do a watch party. The Eagles did it because their team in week 1, it was a game in Brazil. The Chiefs have done watch parties before. Playoff games, sure. This is a week 2 game, and Cincinnati's holding a celebration in a Super Bowl-esque watch party at the stadium. $100, too.
Look, the only chart, it's a little bit too much money. You do get field access, and you get a $25 gift card. So it is kind of...
So I can touch some grass.
Hold on. Let me finish. It's cool. It's a cool thing. You're still charging too much money. It's not. It shouldn't be $99. The only way I can think it's $99 is jokingly, tongue-in-cheek. As a Bengals fan, I probably shouldn't be saying this, but
probably holding a parade on Monday if they win.
Is this to? No, it's not. It's not even that. Is this to raise money for the GoFundMe to pay Jamar Chase? Is that?
Yeah.
Is that where
your
we're going
owner's
with this?
cheap. You guys saw that today.
Drew, you can no longer nobody can see this and not think that Cincinnati.
You're correct.
Fan base, their organization, whoever is planning these events, isn't obsessed with Kansas City and their rival, and we're just as good as them. Replaying a championship game win against the Chiefs, in which we all know that the following week is you losing in the Super Bowl and not accomplishing said championship. The only thing sadder than this would be if they replayed Jamar Chase's game when he torch the Chiefs secondary in the regular season. That would be the only thing more sad than re-airing a single game.
There's going to be a parade on Monday. Their mayor in Cincinnati will put out another video as well while they're at it ahead of this game on Sunday. I have not kept up with Cincinnati's local government.
I haven't either.
I'm not sure. I am not sure if he's still the mayor or not. But saw that. That's just more of an example of this game means so much to Cincy, and for their season this year, it should mean, I guess, a lot because they're about to start 0-2.
I'll be totally honest with you. It does not. So the Chiefs do not live rent-free in my head. However, they do live rent-free in the organization's head, evidently, because you having the watch party is really cool. I think it's awesome. I think it's fun. It's a way to get people out to the field to hang out and watch the Bengals play. And you get field access, the gift card, the whole thing. But to charge as much money as they're doing and to replay the game, the AFC title game, you don't have to go out bad like that. You don't have to do it to yourself, please. I can tell you that if I were a Cincinnati resident, there's no way in hell, even if it was free. If it was free, I'm not going. I'm not going. It's not. I don't need to see a replay of the game that I can go and watch I can watch highlights of again. I don't. It's not that big of a deal. If they'd have won the Super Bowl, maybe. But replay the Super Bowl. Don't replay the AFC title game unless you care too much about the team that you're playing, which evidently they love themselves some Chiefs football.
Text line confirms Burrowhead Mayor is still the mayor of Cincinnati.
This is two things you've had to admit. The first one today. The first one is that it lives rent free in their head, not in Kansas City. They're not hosting. If this was a game in Cincinnati, I can promise you, assure you, that there's not going to be a watch party at Arrowhead signifying a single win against Cincinnati across the board. They're not even doing that for Super Bowl wins right now.
Yeah,
but also, Mike Brown is the cheapest owner in the league. And you better accept the fact that when the news came out today that the reports say that the guaranteed money at signing that they offered Jamar Chase was $30 million when CeeDee Lamb's was $90 and Justin Jefferson's was $100, certainly means that Jamar Chase may never sign with Cincinnati. They're like, hey, it was on the 1 yard line, except for this one little hiccup. That hiccup being we wanted to guarantee $60 less million at signing than the two guys who signed before him. That doesn't feel like a hiccup. That feels like you're on the opposite 1 yard line. That feels like a massive problem.
No wonder Jamar Chase has been whining a lot. I get it.
I'd be upset too.
Again, ever since Jamar talked, whatever it was, a week ago, a week and a half ago, and said, they told me they would give me a new contract. I've been on, Jamar has been 95% in the right and 5% to blame for this situation. Because if you tell the player you're going to get the money and then you try to cheapskate them like this, because to me, I thought it was, maybe it's $5 or $10 million, Cody, off of what CeeDee got and guaranteed money. It's not too much. It is $50 million less guaranteed at signing. 50 for a top 3 wide receiver in the league. It's
not insignificant.
To me, it's. I mean, I think Jamar's going to sign, but looking ahead,
look, the NFL.
Any player that is a star, Trey Hendrickson had requested a trade or whatever the hell it was before the draft. If you're a star player,
he doesn't want to give the guaranteed up front.
Do you what does this mean for you going forward with this organization? Like they've done a great job in modernizing the way that they think and a lot of different things. They paid Joe Burrow. They've rethought a lot of things on how they cover the team, social media, all that stuff, the stadium, the orange out, the stripes, and all that. But you have to pay. You cannot deny paying a top 3 wide receiver in the game, in the league, top tier money. You just can't do it.
Look, the Bengals just finally got an indoor practice facility. You know what I mean? Like,
having a downtown stadium is really. They have no separate practice facility.
This has been a problem for them, and it does matter when we see those lists come out every year, not only on team values, but like, hey, the wealthiest owners in the NFL. Look, Mike Brown's not hurting, but when it comes to stuff like this, he is other than the Packers, who are obviously their structure is way different, right? It's not a traditional owner. Mike Brown is worth the least of any owner in football.
Yes.
31st out of 32.
Yep.
And it's still $925 million. But when you're talking about NFL owners,
$90 million in
escrow, it's a problem
because they're the family, like the Lambeau, like the Packers family,
like
sort
the Hunts.
of, or the Bengals. Paul Brown passed on to Mike Brown, like that. The family aspect of it. It's not like they didn't come from a lot of money and just straight up
So,
buy the team, you know. So
we
yeah,
are going
it's
to hear
tough.
from Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes here in about 5 minutes or so on 96.5 The Fan. But we can talk Cincy during Chiefs Red Half Hour because really they're playing in week 1, okay? That's our week 2, then right now, this week. So that's why we're able to talk
And we're
about
talking
them.
about what sad thing they're doing in order to highlight their playing of the Chiefs in this upcoming week.
If they do win the game, they don't need to say anything. I don't need to hear from
They
them.
should keep. They should keep quiet.
I don't need to hear
They
from
should
the
just
mayor.
take the win and be like, "Good win. See you next week."
I don't need to hear anything.
You guys know as much as I do. There is zero chance if Cincy wins that Jamar Chase doesn't say a damn thing. Are you kidding me?
But if they somehow throw a celebration, like they replay the game, or the mayor talks,
I hope. I mean, look, I don't think they're
cannot.
winning. I really
You
don't. I
cannot.
think their secondary sucks, and I think the Chiefs will win this game on Sunday. But if Cincinnati strikes me as a team that in week 2 would go Raiders Christmas Day in terms of they're going to light cigars in the locker room for a week 2 win, that would be the only way this gets funnier.
The only way that I'll light a cigar is because I know that you guys have to go to McDonald's, and I don't have to go to McDonald's.
You got a
and I
lot
don't
on
have
the
to worry
line,
about the
man.
tattoo.
How are you feeling, by the way? Tattoo, blonde hair, all that's happening next week.
Is Brie okay? Have you told her everything you might have to do if
she
if
knows
the
everything.
Bengals lose this game?
She's like, as
Okay.
long as you don't have to pay for the bleach or anything like that. And I said, no, I'm good.
We will work that out. We will make sure someone comes in studio and gives you a nice
Again,
bleach
And that's
blonde.
I don't need bleach
I have
stinking
enough-
of this room.
there-
Do
I can't smell anyways. We can do it in here.
There's enough tattoo stuff that I have in terms of creativity and thinking of what I want.
There has to be a timeline on this
the
too.
fif-
You said you need to have somebody in Indy do it. We can't wait a year for this tattoo.
When are you going back
the
to Indy?
tattoo has to happen the next month or
Christmas
two.
time.
Oh, okay.
It's not going to be in
We
the
need
next
to
month or
have
two.
the tattoo in person on air.
That's not
You
going
want
to happen.
someone to bring in a tattoo gun in here?
That's not going to happen.
On the radio, have Drew get a tattoo versus
I
all
will
of a
do
sudden
a
he just
social
shows
media
up
video.
and has a tattoo. That's not any fun.
I will do a social media video and it'll go out as I'm getting the tattoo. But okay, it's a tattoo. It's not like
I
I'm
think
getting.
even Sean Barber has a number 59 tattoo.
No, hold on. There's no way. Look, if I played in the league, I would not get anything associated with me playing, like my number. No, that's not. I guarantee you, he doesn't. I don't think
People
any
get their
athlete-
last names tattooed
I don't
on
think any,
themselves.
yeah, sometimes. I don't think any athlete should have a tattoo of themselves or like the number they wore. You just don't need to do that.
Good times, man.
And Jamar Chase's situation is a lot worse than the Chris Jones situation, I would say.
Yeah, the text line's right on that.
Because Chris Jones was not. Andy Reid was not saying Chris Jones is showing up to practice, and then Chris Jones is not showing or is not practice. That
there's
whole
a
thing-
better relationship with
Chris Jones is
ownership
not
and
showing
front
up the
office.
coach. Correct.
There's a much better relationship there. Someone brought up a good point though, and this is to Drew's defense, Cody. You can't put a timeline on Drew's tattoo. This is the problem with you waiting to pay off your bet. Now Drew thinks he can wait months and months and years
I mean,
to
I'm
actually
just
get the
saying,
tattoo.
like when he goes back to, when he goes back to Indy,
And someone says, "What's the tattoo have to say?" It's the number 59.
It literally is the
I don't know.
number 59.
Again, it is very random why you agreed to number 59. I understand Sean Barber, but still a
he
little
said
random.
one of those is his lucky number. He said
5 is my favorite number.
Okay.
9 is the number of Joe Burrow, where theoretically speaking, there's a lot of intricacies within the numbers 5 and 9 that I don't mind.
You
getting
can
a tattoo of
justify
it.
the reason behind it.
And also, I'm not going to do this, but theoretically speaking, if you get a 59, you can have something tattooed around it where you literally don't even see the 59 anymore, and it's fine.
He gets to
can
design
get
it,
blended.
however. We gave him freedom of design.
This is going on your
choice.
wrist. Is that what you said?
I
Or
think
He
no?
decided ass cheek. Changed his mind.
I thought it was left ass cheek.
Sorry, no. It's not going to be a 5 on one and 9 on the other. That's not going to happen. Sorry. That's not going to happen.
9 to 5, and then you could just say you're a big Dolly Parton fan.
9.
Have you considered that? Depending on
but I'm
which
not.
wrist you
I
put it
mean,
on,
your
she's
wife-
fine. You
but
could just be a big Dolly Parton fan.
I mean,
She's all right.
You should prank your wife though. Get the tattoo, not there, but you should freak her out and be like, "Hey, they talked me into it," and have like a temporary somehow 5 and 9 on your ass cheeks, just to get her reaction and let us know how that conversation goes for a second.
That would be hilarious. And yeah, the Bengals. Paul Brown Stadium is going to have a bit of a vibe while they're replaying the game. All right, it's not. Hold on, it's not going to be.
Not gonna be that good of a vibe.
It's not going to be as good as a
They
college
don't even have
football
that good
game
of a
vibe.
jumbotron. It's not even like Jerry World's jumbotron.
It's not going to be as good as a college football game vibe. I can tell you that. Paycor Stadium is not going to be that. as it shouldn't be. Nobody should be getting amped up to go watch a game on a screen. I'm anti-watch party. I don't know if you can tell. It doesn't matter if the Bengals were in the Super Bowl. If the Chiefs were in the Super Bowl and you could watch at Arrowhead, would you go? I don't think I would.
Yeah, I'm not a big.
I wouldn't want to go.
I'm with you. And in the stadium thing, I'm not a huge fan of that.
Let me stay home.
Someone brought up a great point though about the number 59, and this is the secondary benefit to all of us listeners, everybody in Kansas City. If you get that tattooed, number 59, and the Chiefs win on Sunday, this year's Super Bowl is 59.
No,
right?
I thought it was 58. Is it 59?
2025, which will be February 2025. Isn't that Super Bowl 59? LIX. I'm terrible at numerals.
It's 59.
So
IV.
LIX.
That's this year's Super Bowl. LIX.
IV's 4.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
LIX.
Yeah, but
that's 59.
LIX. So Super Bowl 59. You could have the number 59 to commemorate the Chiefs three-peat. Drew, that is a great idea.
Or
That really backfires.
Or fingers crossed in another universe, the Bengals win Super Bowl 59.
If you want to just get the tattoo and put LIX, which is also a 59 tattoo, you could just get ahead of it now.
I will not get the Roman numerals of 59. That's not happening. Sorry. That is not happening. I will get the number 5 and the number 9.
We're expected to head out to Arrowhead here in just a few minutes. Hear from Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes as they're set, and I think Xavier Worthy, as they're set to address the media, like you said, hoping Hollywood's back. I do want Hollywood to come back this week because I want to see the. I want to see the full complement. I understand it won't be the full version because Nate Taylor told us yesterday.
Close, if that
if
happens.
Hollywood comes back, it might be a 20 to 25 snap situation, which means take away all of Sky Moore snaps, take a handful away from Xavier Worthy and kind of spread it, and take a handful away from Justin Watson to get there. But I still want to see it because I want to know what a route where Hollywood Brown and Xavier Worthy, I want to see 4 wide. I want to see a route where Rashee Rice, Hollywood Brown, Xavier Worthy, and then just whichever guy is causing problems. Juju.
Let's have Travis in the slot or something.
Travis in the slot. Yeah. And then Pacheco, 5 wide. Pacheco out. I don't care. I want to see the full complement.
Go empty. And
they went empty 3 different times in that game.
They did.
Last Thursday, so it's not another question. I can't believe it's already been a week. This is the only problem with them playing early.
Almost a week, yeah.
This is the problem with them playing early, is now I'm like, can I get another Chiefs game, please? I feel like I've watched 17,000 NFL games. Be another one tomorrow.
Yeah.
I still got to wait 3 more days. It feels like a long time after tomorrow.
Long
time to wait for a second game.
I'm with you, but I enjoyed the fact that you had the win in your back pocket, and it was a really strong performance against a good team, and then you got to sit and watch everybody else play and fans sweat and teams lose to teams they shouldn't lose to, at least we think, Cincinnati. And so it made the weekend very enjoyable.
Yeah. I mean, it did make
this
the
Thursday night game is pretty good, too. Buffalo,
and relatively
Miami.
important for, like, I chose Miami to win the division. You chose Buffalo, kind of that first early sign of it. Now, there came down to the final game of the season last year, but. What?
I want to address. Somebody said, what's the difference between a watch party and you replaying the 2014 World Series again?
That's different. That's a radio thing.
Correct. I don't want to see it's not even like they played the Super Bowl again, obviously because they lost. But it's better knowing that you have one in your pocket than knowing you have nothing, as you've said, which is what the Bengals are doing.
I don't know. Everybody, and people like different things. Just because Drew or Alex don't like going to a watch party doesn't mean people don't like watch parties. People do them for all kinds of sporting events all the time. I would say that's
I
just
like
a personal preference.
I like going to watch parties. I don't think the whole go to a 70,000 seat stadium when there's only going to be 10,000 of us sitting there watching. That's not fun to me.
That seems,
for instance,
yes,
when the Royals are in the playoffs, if they're in a series, would you go to the K to watch a game on
If I thought 35,000 people were going to be there, sure.
If it's going to be a full house.
If I thought 8,000 people were going to be hanging out spending $99 for expensive concessions, no. The
vibes.
Honest to God, yeah. That's the whole point behind a watch party. We can fill up a bar with 200 people.
All right, let's go out to Arrowhead right here on your home for the Chiefs, 96.5 The Fan, and hear from Chiefs head coach Andy Reid.
The 23rd year to the victims of 9/11 and the first responders for sure. So our hats go off to those that sacrifice so we can do what we do here, The Bengals, we look forward to the challenge of playing the Bengals. They're a heck of a football team. And, we know we have got to have a good week of preparation. As far as the injuries go, really, the only person is Hollywood is the only one that's, banged up there, so he's continuing to rehab and get himself out, but he won't be out there today. Other than that, time's yours.
Is there an indication, Coach, that he would not play Sunday, or is it still to be determined?
Yeah, not necessarily. Yeah, I wouldn't say that.
As you look at the Bengals, they had a rough start. There's some numbers out there with Zach Taylor. They just don't do well early in the year. Can you put your finger on any reason why that would be? I know you guys generally played them later in the year.
Yeah, listen, they're a good football team. I mean, they're very well coached. I mean, Zach does a great job. They do a great job on the defensive side and special teams. So right now they're just trying to get their guys back together that aren't able to play. But we know they're going to come in here and be ready to go. I don't know what's going on in the past or anything else, but I know every time we play each other, it's a heck of a football game.
Andy, you talk frequently about that, about getting the other team's best shots and stuff. And in what ways do you notice that materialize during the game?
Yeah, execution is the biggest one. That's normally what you get, and good aggressive play. I tell you guys that tempos are different when you take each level in the playoffs. It's kind of a crazy deal. When teams like this play each other, it's just it's a different tempo, for whatever reason. I mean, I don't know why, but that's how it goes.
Coach, you guys got the contract done with Noah. Right now, what does he mean for both your present and then in the future, and wanting to get that done?
Yeah, well, he's a good football player, and he does a lot for us. He's one of those guys that doesn't get a whole lot of credit for all that he does, but big-time special teams player, great tight end. We do a bunch of double tight stuff, plus he's able to go in and spot Kels. And he comes out of games with quite a few snaps because of the special teams. He's a four-phase guy there, can do anything Dave needs him to do there, and is willing. And he loves being here. So, and a great guy on top of all that.
Andy, what stood out about Rashee Rice when we watched this game?
Yeah, he was more comfortable than he was last year, which makes sense, just having had the reps and the experience. But the one thing that he does well is he catches it and he gets himself upfield. And he's a good, consistent catcher, works himself upfield, is tough, plays physical. At the same time, he's a willing blocker, get in there and mix it up there. So he's really developing his whole game in all areas. And, he'll keep growing, but it's way smaller margin than he had to grow from the beginning of last year.
Last week, talking to Samaje, it seemed like he was a little wide-eyed, getting here so fast and having to ease in. You get the sense that comfort might be a little bit better this week.
Yeah, listen, he did a nice job for us, so I don't want to take anything away from him. He jumped in and had everything down and was able to play a few snaps for us. I mean, he's going to be familiar with half of the guys that are on this team, so he knows the routine there. So, and a lot of the players.
Coach, week one passing offense around the league was kind of a low standard for this current era, and you kind of had a unique perspective to be able to sit back and watch it this week. Is there anything you can kind of put your finger on why some teams in the passing game just seem to struggle in week one?
Yeah, it takes time for that to develop. I think that part of the game, a lot of variables will go into it just with execution, as opposed to handing the ball off to somebody. So between the timing and knowing your receivers and then all these secondaries that the defenses throw at you. So it takes a little bit of time. The time's been reduced in areas. So, and then, anyways, that's what I see.
Coach, with the kind of game that Xavier had this early in his season last week, what can that do for him, going on in the rest of the season?
Yeah, he did a nice job for us. Again, he even with his size, he was willing to get in and mix it up in the run game part of it. But having the success he had, I think, is a positive for a young guy to get going. Are you guaranteed 2 touchdowns every game? Well, that's not necessarily in the contract, but it was great for him to get started that way. He knows that he can play at this level now, and if he had any questions, I didn't sense he had any questions, but if he did, those are answered.
We'll ask a couple, Nate, and then Vi. Go ahead, Nate.
Andy, you've mentioned a couple times before that even though they're different players, it's a similar injury for Hollywood to what Tyreek experienced in 2019. He practiced that week, obviously, before playing. Just what did you need to see from him, and is there any way of using that experience if Hollywood is, on the field tomorrow or Friday?
Yeah, they all set a little different. So, I mean, it's something that has to move to get back into place. And they all set just a little different and heal different, from what I understand. I'm not a physician by any means. So, they're all just a bit different. I mean, you're talking just centimeters of it being off can be a problem. So you want to make sure those things are healed in and that they're actually in the right spot. So, we're having them see different people that are experts at that. There's not. I don't think there's a ton of data on it, especially in our field here, but football. But that's kind of what's going on. But as far as working hard and he feels good, he's he feels like.
Alexa. All right, we're having an issue there. Obviously, at the end of some of the media availability there, Andy Reid speaking to the media. The big news out of that is that Hollywood Brown is not practicing today.
Makes me feel like he's not going to play.
Yeah, Nate got me a little excited that he might be playing, but hearing that he's not practicing kind of worries me a little bit. Let's go back out there.
We got to trust the doctors here.
Andy, non-football, but just to circle back to where you started, how did you get the news of September 11th? And I just wonder what your, strongest recollections of the day were.
Well, I was back there. I mean, I was back in Philly at that time, and so it was a little crazy around that area. I mean, I remember talking to Mike Sherman, who was at Green Bay. He called and he was asking some questions about football, and he hadn't gotten the news out there. So I said, hey, you might want to turn the TV on. There's a little bit of craziness going on in this area here. So, but that's how I found out.
Were you able to process it in real time, or I mean,
I'm not sure. I'm not sure anybody could process it. I think everybody just reacted, and it really seemed to be in a positive way. I mean, from the stories that you hear on how people came to the rescue, that's the good of mankind. We see some negative things, and we have a tendency to harp on it, but that right there, man, that was our country pulling together and working together, and we can do some pretty magnificent things when that happens.
Okay, thanks, Coach.
That was Andy Reid, obviously some of his thoughts and comments on the anniversary of 9/11 today here in the United States. Coming up next, we are going to get to what's trending. We'll react a little bit more to what Andy had to say on the Hollywood Brown point, as we were alluding to a little bit. Plus, we're expected to hear from Patrick Mahomes right here on your home for the Chiefs, 96.5 The Fan.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com. 96.5 The Fan and Kansas Lottery are partnering to give you a chance to win big with Kansas Lottery's Chiefs World Champion Instant Ticket. Go to 965thefan.com for your chance to register to win a $30 prize pack and the $100,000 grand prize pack. It's all brought to you by 96.5 The Fan and Kansas Lottery.
I can't wait to watch the Chiefs go up and down the field and score a ton of points this year. And now I have even more reason to cheer on the Chiefs. I just head to Hy-Vee the day after any game and score savings at the pump with my Hy-Vee Perks card. Win or lose, I earn fuel saver discounts equal to the Chiefs score based on the amount I spend. If the Chiefs score 42 points, I save 42 cents a gallon when I spend $42. The more we score, the more I save. Only at Hy-Vee. Offer good in-store and online. Some restrictions apply. See store for details.
Flu season is here. Get your flu shot today at your local Hy-Vee pharmacy. It's easy, convenient, and no appointment is necessary. Plus, when you get your flu shot at Hy-Vee, earn a 20-cent fuel saver. That's right, a 20-cent fuel saver. Get your flu shot when it's convenient for you. Schedule online or just stop by your Hy-Vee pharmacy. No appointment necessary. Help your family stay healthy. Get your flu shot and get a 20-cent fuel saver only at Hy-Vee. See store for details. Some restrictions apply.
You're always better with a roof from JR.
We've had more than our fair share of hail and wind this year. Are you playing Roofer Roulette? That's when you bet your roof and your home on the first random roofer to ring your doorbell. Why do that when JR & Company offers a free hail and wind report online at jrstormcheck.com? Just plug in your address and we'll pull a multi-year storm report. You'll know exactly what your roof has been put through and if you even need an inspection. If you do, no one is more thorough and works better with your insurance than locally owned, veteran-owned JR & Company. And if you need a new roof, remember, a roof from JR comes with a lifetime warranty on workmanship. Don't play Roofer Roulette with your home. Visit jrstormcheck.com and remember,
You're always better with a roof from JR.
Visit jrstormcheck.com.
I'm Mitch Holtis, voice of the Kansas City Chiefs. Choosing the best doctor for your eyes is one of the most important medical decisions you'll ever make. Whether you're considering blade-free LASIK, all laser cataract surgery, and premium lens implants, or want a world-renowned doctor to help with your glaucoma, macular degeneration, dry eyes, or diabetes, trust my doctor, Dr. Steven Silverstein. Call Silverstein Eye Centers to make an appointment, 816-358-3600. Experience the best eye care in Kansas City.
Our goal is to provide patients with the strongest, most effective, and safest options in this exciting field of regenerative medicine.
Dr. Mitchell Scheinkup, National Medical Director at QC Kinetics.
The idea that you can avoid a joint replacement is very exciting.
And that's from a surgeon who's done thousands of joint replacements, but who now believes there's a better way.
Regenerative medicine, as we understand it today, gives lasting pain relief, improved function, without surgery, without drugs.
Under Dr. Scheinkup's leadership, QC Kinetics medical professionals treat patients every day with the most advanced protocols in natural biologics. Literally tens of thousands of people all over America.
I've been doing research on regenerative medicine for 2 decades. This is the future of medicine.
Call QC Kinetics for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. 816-412-6299.
Right now at Wendy's, you can get a small Frosty for $1. And literally everyone is going. The car behind you, going to get a $1 Frosty. The car ahead of you, already had one, going for a second. The person who cut you off earlier, you guessed it, $1 Frosty. Maybe it's all a sign for you to go get one. Just don't cut anyone off. No one likes that person. The iconic Frosty for $1, gotta be Wendy's.
Limited time only at participating U.S. Wendy's. Not valid in a combo. Prices may be higher in Alaska, Hawaii, California, and via third-party delivery.
Okay, everyone, what did you think of the chocolate bar?
It's too chewy.
Feels kind of chalky.
Too much nougat.
I need to go brush my teeth.
Business is booming for Steph's small marketing research firm.
After all these focus groups, there's only one conclusion. I need more researchers.
And she's way too busy researching.
Does this have peanuts?
To waste time researching resumes.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Put our matching platform to work so you can spend less time searching and more time connecting with talented candidates. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Hi, I'm Angie Hicks, co-founder of Angie. And one thing I've learned is that you buy a house, but you make it a home. Because with every fix, update, and renovation, it becomes a little more your own. So you need all your jobs done well. For nearly 30 years, Angie has helped millions of homeowners hire skilled pros for the projects that matter. From plumbing to electrical, roof repair to deck upgrades. So leave it to the pros who will get your jobs done well. Hire high-quality certified pros at Angie.com.
Guess what, people? Wendy's has new saucy nugs. You heard me. Wendy's nugs now come in 7 saucy flavors. Buffalo, honey barbecue, garlic parm, spicy ghost pepper. You can literally hear your taste buds after every bite. I'm serious. Listen to mine. Okay, that's just me playing with sound effects, but you got the idea. For a whole new way to nug, gotta be Wendy's.
At participating U.S. Wendy's.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. You're listening to the all-new 96.5 The Fan, your home for Kansas City sports. KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station. What's trending?
Well, number one, what's trending, it's something we just heard from Andy Reid, which is that Hollywood Brown will be the only Chiefs player not practicing today. That's, of course, significant as he's coming back from an injury suffered during that first preseason game. I think if we go back to our discussions right after the injury, a lot of us said, oh, he's probably not ready till week 3. Then got a little excited yesterday.
They made it sound like, ooh, maybe, and I thought, okay.
But not practicing on a Wednesday doesn't mean for sure he's not playing, but that's not a good sign, and why push it? I think now we'd have to go back to the opposite direction and lean towards him not playing, right?
Yes. I also think that part of it is, like, we talk about this all the time, but, like, why push it? And we should have known this going into it. The Chiefs have an incredibly long history of being like, just one more week.
Well, it's
Some
so
part
early
of
in
me
the
thinks
season,
that it's like
that's
week 4 before he's back. And after all this, where we think like, ooh, maybe he'll play week 2, he won't even play week 3 after all of this. But I'll tell you right now,
that's fine.
My thought
though.
about him playing is probably not now on Sunday, based on that answer from Andy Reid, even though he did not rule him out yet for Sunday. Next up on What's Trending, the Royals get the shutout of the Yankees 5-0 behind Seth Lugo's 7 innings, 3 single, 10 strikeout performance in which he was absolutely sensational. All the way back to his pre-All-Star ways, he's now started 3 straight games against 3 straight American League active playoff teams. The Red Sox, I think it was Twins, whatever, doesn't matter. 3 playoff teams in which he has allowed just 2 earned runs in his last 3 starts over 21 innings pitched. The Royals just sent out today their arguments for Lugo and Cole Reagans for Cy Young Award winners, and just sent out why JJ Picollo should be Executive of the Year and why Q should be Manager of the Year. Now, those other 2, those are your best cases. Q should be the Manager of the Year, in my opinion. I've already told you based on expectations. I still think Vote is his biggest competition.
Well,
Odds
for
market
sure. It's in
relate
it
to that. And JJ Picollo, what's the argument against?
He's going to win that.
He got the absolute best deals in all of free agency, and his team took a 40-game swing in the positive.
So he's going to win Executive of the Year. I don't think that's
a lock.
That's not a question. Manager of the Year is still going to be a tight one. Remember, these are also voted on before the playoffs, so that's something to keep in mind. But when the Manager of the Year competition is going down to the same 2 guys in their own divisional race, some voters are just going to take the easy path and say, well, this guy won the division. So whoever that is.
2 biggest favors are he won the division and he's a rookie manager.
Yeah.
But Q's is he took a 56-win team and made him 80+.
And some might say, well, that's why you have the Executive of the Year. I don't know. I'm just saying I get the argument on both sides for that one. Executive of the Year should not even be
that's a lot.
A question. Next up on What's Trending, Sports Business Daily just put this out today. The opening weekend of the NFL season across the traditional broadcast networks, right? 21 million was the average. That number doesn't include the 14 million that watched the game in Brazil, which was on Peacock only. That number nearly doubled last year's streaming only regular season game. But you take a look, up 13 or 12% on traditional TV networks week 1 of the NFL season. So NFL doing just fine.
Turns out people still like the NFL. Who knew? Next up on What's Trending, update for the game tomorrow, Miami and Buffalo. Earlier, Mike McDaniel spoke to the media, said Raheem Mostert out for their matchup against the Bills, and Devin Achane will be a, as he put it, game-time decision, which would leave him either the rookie, Jalen Wright, or Jeff Wilson. Jeff Wilson is good in a running offense. It used to be Kyle Shanahan, now it's in Miami. He's good for one stupid 120-yard, 2-touchdown game out of nowhere every year. Kind of feels like that's Thursday. Everyone thinks it's going to be the rookie, and it'll be Jeff Wilson who has a massive game one.
Well, we'll talk fantasy football tomorrow with our guy Paul Charchian. He joins us every Thursday from Guillotine Leagues. And today's a big waiver claim day for those of you out there playing fantasy football, whether you're in our Cody and Gold Guillotine League or your own. That's what's trending here on Cody and Gold. Don't forget, though, here in next month, we are going to be out in Las Vegas as the Chiefs take on the Raiders. We'll be hanging out with our friends at Circa. It is the best place to stay when you're in Las Vegas. And we're going to have a great time. We're going to be doing our show from Circa on Thursday and Friday right at Stadium Swim in one of their cabanas right there. Poolside. They got 6 pools. They have this 143-foot screen. It is sports heaven. Join us there. And on that party on Friday night, we'll be giving away tickets to the game as well. So we already know a couple of you have DM'd us that you're making the trip out there. You're staying at Circa or you already have a trip planned. We'll continue to tell you about this, but it is the place to be. Whether you're staying there or not, you should just stay there and make it easy. But if you already got other arrangements, I get it. Join us on that Friday and Thursday.
You can book your stay for the game at circalasvegas.com, of course. And yeah, as Alex mentioned, come hang out with us at a poolside cabana for Thursday and Friday. And then, yes, that party over at the Overhang Bar Friday night.
All right, let's go back out to Arrowhead and hear from Patrick Mahomes as he was addressing the media about this week and getting set to play Joe Burrow again.
I think you just see a raise in intensity just because you know that these games are going to matter at the end of the year. Obviously, it's early in the season. Everybody's working through stuff. Everybody's trying to get better and better. But you know that this could be a tiebreaker or whatever you want to call it at the end of the year that determines seeding on playoffs. And so it's definitely a rise in intensity, especially in these games against other contenders.
You get a little more talking, a little edge out there from the defense in these. Is that what you feel?
I wouldn't say usually not early in the season. It's because everybody's trying to figure stuff out with their teams and trying to do stuff and play fast. You get to playoffs, sometimes there's a little bit more talking here and there. But early in the season, you play these guys a lot. So even though there's trash talk maybe in the off season or whatever like that, you have respect for the guy on the other side of the field. And so it's going to be a great game, and I'm excited that we get to play at Arrowhead.
You guys play them a lot. It's almost always late in the year. This is a little bit weird to be playing in week 2.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I mean, usually it's like the NFL saves it for later in the season, knowing it's going to be kind of one of those seeding games. But our schedule is very different this year. We have a lot of great teams early, and obviously we play like every day of the week. So it's a different schedule. It's a great test for us to play 2 of the best teams in the league back to back to start off the season. But it's going to be about how we adjust and respond whenever adversity hits.
Looking back, what allowed Rashid to have the day that he did in the opener?
I think he's gotten better and better. I think throughout training camp, throughout into last year, he's gotten to be a more versatile receiver where he can do a lot of different things. We put him on some read routes. We put him on obviously a lot of slant routes, stuff like that, where he can win one-on-one, and he did that. And I think as the season goes on, you're going to see the full arsenal of routes that he can run. I mean, some where he can run deep routes, he can run intermediate routes, he can run those medium routes. I mean, he can do it all. And so just having all those other weapons around him as well, it takes off that focus on him that you kind of saw at some points last year. And I think that's what's going to make our offense so great.
You mentioned the other weapons. Xavier, heck of a day on Sunday. What can that success do for him going forward?
Yeah, I think it's just going to be a spark. You know, it shows that what he can do. Obviously, it showed his speed. It showed how he's able to run routes and find open spaces. But it just kind of gives him that confidence. I think he already had it anyways, but to show that he can do it on Sundays or whatever day of the week that we're playing, and it's just kind of a start for him. I mean, we want him to keep building. We want to get him more and more involved in the offense. But a great start.
Looks like Noah Gray is going to be around for a little while now. What have you seen? What do you feel like he brings?
Yeah, I mean, he's just a smart player, extremely smart player that does a lot of physical stuff that we need in this offense. He's able to get himself open. He makes the catches whenever he's asked to do it. But a guy that can just do it all. And you need those guys in order to win football games. And he's one of those guys that he can come in for Travis in spots. And I have full confidence that he can go out there and make plays happen as well. And so he's learned a ton behind Trav. And you can see him getting better and better each and every year. And I was happy for him because he's one of those guys that does it the right way and deserves the contract that he got.
Patrick, this is away from football, but former President Trump referenced you and your family again today on Fox News in relation to his campaign. I just wonder what your reaction is to seeing that.
Yeah, I think I've always said I don't want my place and my platform to be used to endorse a candidate or do whatever either way. I think my place is to inform people to get registered to vote. It's to inform people to do their own research and then make their best decision for them and their family. And so I think that's every time I'm on this stage and I get asked these questions, I'm going to refer back to that because I think that's what makes America so great.
I think it was important, though, I don't know if important is the right word, but when you were at the U.S. Open this past weekend and you guys were there with Taylor and Travis, I mean, is that an important image to show that, you know, people who may have different philosophies can
Yeah, I mean, I think I've always, even dating back, I think if you've seen my history, I've grown up with people from every aspect of life and every background. And I think the best thing about a football locker room and kind of how I've grown up in baseball locker rooms, everything about that is people can come together and achieve something and achieve a common goal. And I think if we can, I mean, we talked about it a while back, but I think if we can do that as a nation, I think we can get the best out of each other. And so I think that's something that I do every single day. And whenever I'm hanging out with whoever, I'm not thinking about their political views or anything like that. I'm thinking about the people and how they treat other people. And I was with a lot of great people this weekend.
Do you have a thought specifically about the idea of President Trump bringing up Brittany's name? Does that affect you one way or another?
No, I mean, I think at the end of the day, it's about me and my family and how we treat other people. And I think you see is that Brittany does a lot in the community. I do a lot in the community to help bring people up and give people other opportunities to use their voice. And so it's in the political times, people are going to use stuff here and there, but I can't let that affect how I go about my business every single day and live my life and try to live it to the best of my ability.
And another viral aspect, way less important, obviously, but what's your reaction to Nebraska quarterback Dylan Raiola just sort of mimicking every single aspect of your preparation and almost even the way he throws?
Yeah, I mean it's cool. Honestly, I mean I was that guy. I grew up watching players. I remember when I would grow up, I loved Alex Rodriguez, played shortstop, and would try to make plays just like him and do stuff like that. And it helped me become the athlete that I am. And so I've it's just telling me I'm getting a little old. I think that's the biggest thing is that you have these guys that are coming up and doing some of the sidearm stuff and everything like that. But I know Dylan. I train with him in the off seasons. Great kid, a great football player, and I think he's gonna make his own stamp on the game. And I think you've seen that early in his career.
Has he acknowledged that some of the stuff he's doing is mimicking you? It seems like publicly he's been hesitant to say that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if whenever you come in as a freshman, you want to be on Twitter and be the part of the team. I think he wants it to be about his team, and I think that's the right way to play the quarterback position. Is that it's not about you. It's about going out there and having success as a team, and they've done that so far this year. So even though I think he just kind of wants to push us out and play football and go out there and win football games, and I think that's the right way to play the position.
Have you had any contact with Tyreek since what happened the other day, and do you have any particular thoughts about that?
No, I mean, I haven't had any contact with them, but obviously an unfortunate situation. And you're glad that people are bringing light to it and there's an investigation being done to make sure everything was done the right way. But until that investigation's done, I won't have any comment on it.
Patrick, you spent a lot of time in the Super Bowl these past few years. It's in New Orleans this year. Kendrick Lamar was announced as the halftime performer. Any thoughts on whether it should have been him or Wayne or you?
I mean, two guys that I've always loved to listen to their music. I mean, I grew up on Lil Wayne, and then obviously Kendrick has been an icon for a long time. And so I don't think you could have made a wrong decision. I think both those guys are great. And I'm hopefully in the game where I won't get to hear either one of them or whatever it is. But I'm excited for Kendrick to have that platform and show the artist that he is and show the world how hip-hop has really made a movement within our culture.
Thanks, Patrick. All right, so that was Patrick Mahomes. We got everything covered today from one Patrick Mahomes. Thank you very much.
Football,
here
non-football,
on 96.5.
Whether Raiola's trying to steal his identity.
Yeah, we hit on everything. Definitely hit on everything. And I hope as well that he has no idea who's performing at halftime because he's getting ready for the second half to go for the three-peat down in New Orleans. That's
you
what's
don't get
happening.
to watch it when you're in the Super Bowl.
For fans, I'm curious who's performing at halftime of the Chiefs game. That's how I view it these days.
Yeah. I bet Bengals fans are really worried about who's performing.
Well, they'll get to watch it.
Party
They'll get
on
they can do a watch party for that too. Yeah, they can do a watch party for that one as well. He was asked about Dylan Raiola. We talked about that a couple days ago. A very talented quarterback in Nebraska, and as I said, I think mimicking a great player is normal and common. Wearing the same clothes, the haircut, every little thing, that's where it's a little weird. But
that's where
obviously,
it starts.
Patrick Mahomes is not going to throw the guy under the bus. He's going to support
he trains with him in the offseason.
And he trains with him, and he won't probably be the last person to mimic their game. That's fine. That's cool. It's more of the, wearing the same sunglasses and same T-shirt and same shoes and same pregame routine and same headband and all of it coming together.
It does go back to the same stand-up comedian routine where it's it just means I'm getting a little bit older. He's 28. They talk, the Olympics are always a perfect example of look at this man competing for a gold, a true miracle. He's 27. And you're getting old, you're 28 years old. You haven't, the problem is if he had just been in the league and was just a dude, there wouldn't be people mimicking me. He's the single best quarterback in the league by a mile.
He's like
who's
Steph
winning all
Curry.
the titles. Yeah. I imagine every single kid in every like locally or even nationally, the most mimic quarterback's got to be.
You said it, kid though.
Yeah.
I think there's a difference if you have your 10-year-old son that wants the Mahomes haircut or the Bobby Wood Jr. haircut. I get that. Totally get that's way different to me than the 19-year-old
If the Royals win, will you get the
playing.
Bobby Wood Jr. haircut instead of shaving your head bald?
If they win the World Series?
Yeah.
Like the mullet?
I mean, fine.
You're gonna have to grow your hair out.
That's gonna take a while.
It's gonna take a long. That's the problem.
Yeah,
that's gonna take a minute.
It's gonna take too long. I feel like.
Are we sure though
Might
that
not be
Dylan
worth it.
didn't have this haircut like before this whole thing? I don't.
Somebody
I don't
said
know,
he
but
did, but I think the question was.
It is a popular
Remember,
haircut.
Mahomes been playing quarterback in the NFL for 7 years. So,
Yeah.
and Raiola is what 19. So yeah, he might have had the haircut for a while, but it's still mimicking off of.
Sure.
Anyway, I think he's really good at quarterback, though.
I do think he's really good at quarterback.
I think Nebraska.
He did look really
good.
Nebraska. We've had plenty of times to take shots at Nebraska over the last 10 years. They look to have a good team this year and a good quarterback, and they look pretty stable in that atmosphere. Yeah, it looks great. The atmosphere's always been good when they're good. That's like a lot of teams. That goes back to the
Have you
Royals.
been to a game in Lincoln?
The atmosphere's almost been good when they stink too.
I've been to two games there.
Two?
It
Wow.
is a great atmosphere. I haven't been. It's been a decade since I've been there, but I've been to 2 games up there. Oh.
It was a good time.
Had a great time in Lincoln.
Sold out both
Good
times.
little downtown scene too, right across the street from the stadium. It's a good area.
It
Never
seems,
been-
seems
I've
like
only
a
been to
proper
Lincoln
college
once.
town, like
It's-
proper.
yeah.
as a city.
No, I don't have anything bad to say about Lincoln. I've had good times when I've been there.
I see people sending in some pre-snitches. The snitch line will be coming
Tomorrow.
back. It's been a little while. Snitch line back tomorrow on a Thursday, which means we could take your calls, 913-586-7965 if you've witnessed something, but that's tomorrow. So don't try to snitch on me or what you may or may not have seen
1 o'clock out
on a
tomorrow.
security camera. I've been told I will
Man,
be
if someone
given
would
my-
send me the footage, please.
I've been told I will be given my own passcode for the alarm.
I need footage of you panicking with the alarm going off at UMKC.
and dipping.
Oh, it'd be
And
great.
leaving.
It'd be so good.
Just leaving. I just left. Look, what was I going to do? Solving the problem wasn't going to be standing there.
Well, yeah, you just stand and wait for them to show up. Instead, you just avoided the
I
problem
like standing
altogether.
by. Yeah, that's how I'd prefer to handle it.
just avoid it altogether, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I prefer that.
It sounded like you were trying to get help though. Like it wasn't.
No,
Like you were-
yeah, I was, but like I would have left if I didn't know where to get help.
All right, we got Vern coming up here in about 7 minutes or so, our Royals insider. We'll talk to him about Tommy Pham since we pushed things back a little bit. I want to talk to him about Tommy Pham leading off. But first, let's get to all 32 around the NFL. So we know Brazil hosted the Eagles and Packers last Friday.
Sure.
I just mentioned the ratings for it and everything. It was only on Peacock, and so the streaming numbers were actually higher than last year's regular season game. Makes sense. It's an opener. But Roger Goodell also gave an interview while that game was going on. He said he wants 16 international games. Right now, owners have already approved 8 for next season, I guess it would be. 16 is their goal. Look, this we know
So
they're
one
gonna
every
continue.
single week of the regular season
going to
except the
happen.
last week.
That
of
means
the
that
regular
every
season.
team
that's
has
what-
one too, correct?
If that's what he wants, that means that's what the owners want financially as well. That's going to happen. It will coincide, I believe, whenever they obviously add an additional week to the season or go to 20. Go to 20.
But it works now because the
and-
9-8 home game means 8 home, 8
It
on the
does.
road, and 1 international.
But, I don't think, do you guys think next year we're getting 16 international? I don't think they're doing it next year. I think this is a gradual buildup, and it might coincide with extending the regular season, getting rid of a preseason game, and that is where eventually we get to 16. My whole thing on this has always just been if you're a season ticket holder and you lose a game out of your package, that's who it stinks even more for. I'm sure some of the players probably don't like the travel aspect to it, but this is just the reality of where the league is. There's no stopping this. This is where it's headed.
They know how popular the league is in the United States. They want to take that worldwide. They are not the most popular sport worldwide, and they dominate the popularity here. That's what this is about. I've decided. I figured out the team. Took me 1 whole week.
All right.
I know where Bill Belichick is going to coach next season. He is going to coach the New York Giants. That's who he'll be in charge of. They'll go back to we're a defensive team. He'll find some random salty veteran to lead the
Yeah, who's
squad
his
for a
quarterback?
year,
Why
and
am
then
I
he'll
taking
take one
that
next
job?
year. He's going to, right now, I used to think Bill Belichick could get his pick of the litter. Didn't feel that way this last offseason, and a whole year off's not going to make me feel a lot different. I think Bill Belichick is the New York Giants head coach week 1 next season.
We already talked about the quarterback stuff earlier. Are you sure that he wants to go through the rookie quarterback thing again, though?
I mean, he was willing to do. I think if they would have let him do it in New England, he would have done it again. And in Atlanta, he might have done it. I mean, obviously they were going after Kirk Cousins, but I think he'd have done it there too.
You're saying he might have still drafted Penix.
I think Bill Belichick just likes to coach. I think if there was only one job available in the entire league, Andy Reid would take it. Now, he's choosing the better jobs, right? Same with Bill Belichick. But if there's only one job available to him, and I think that one will be the Giants, I think he's taking it.
For all I know, Sam Darnold might be the quarterback of the Giants because they might put JJ McCarthy in there next year, depending on how things go. But I think we learn a little bit.
Good?
I think we learned this weekend if he actually is good or not, Cody, because week 1, he looked really good. Who did they play? The New York Football Giants with those horrendous uniforms, by the way, those ugly throwbacks.
Yeah, those are bad.
But I think we learned a little bit about Sam Darnold this weekend. I know he's got Jordan Addison. I know he's got Aaron Jones. I know he's got Jordan Jefferson. But I think we learned how good the Vikings team could potentially be with Sam Darnold as quarterback this weekend because they're taking on the San Francisco 49ers in that defense.
Jimmy G, by the way, that'll be the starting quarterback for Giants.
He's currently suspended.
That's gross.
He's currently the backup in LA.
That's exactly
with
what
the
Belichick
Rams.
wants, I'm sure.
Coming up next, we will get to Royals baseball right here on your home for the Royals 96.5 The Fan. Our Royals insider, Josh Vernier, will join us as the Royals continue their series against the Yankees. I want to ask him about Seth Lugo, of course, and that unbelievable performance and what that could mean in a few weeks. That's next.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Inside the Huddle is brought to you by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City. Discover the benefit of blue.
At Main Street Credit Union, your success is our goal. Whether you're a financial rookie or a pro, we're here to help. If you're looking to pay down debt, improve your credit score, or buy a car, we'll be right there with you. We're dedicated to providing guidance, education, and essential resources to empower you on your journey toward financial success. We'll help you understand your financial options so even financial rookies will be on their way to reaching their goals. Go to mainstreetcu.org for more information.
Your attention is precious. Pulled in a million directions for a million different reasons. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City works hard to make sure your health insurance isn't one of the many things distracting you from what's important. By making healthcare easier to navigate, we help keep your focus on the moments that matter most. Like dinner with loved ones. Letting you focus on you. That's the benefit of Blue. Learn more at BlueKC.com.
What's up, Kansas City? It's Mitchell Schwartz. You know, there's nothing easier to enjoy than watching the Chiefs with some wings and an ice-cold Bud Light. And Buffalo Wild Wings is serving up both for every game, all season long. Join me at the Buffalo Wild Wings located at 152 Highway and North Flintlock Road in KZMO on Thursday, September 12th. I'll be there with the crew from 6 to 8 p.m. celebrating the back-to-back Super Bowl champs while eating some wings and drinking $5 Bud Lights. Nothing easier to enjoy than that. For more details, go to 965thefan.com. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
This year, FanDuel is giving you a chance to win big every Thursday night with FanDuel Squares. It's the same Super Bowl squares you've always known, but this time much better. That's because your numbers aren't randomly assigned. You get to pick them yourself. You can pick as many numbers as you like. You'll get to see the odds beforehand, and you can bet them live during the game. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com/CDOT. Use my promo code and bet on Squares. Plus, if you're new to FanDuel, you'll get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook app. Visit FanDuel.com/CDOT. Use my promo code, and if you're new to FanDuel, you'll get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. So what are you waiting for? 21 and present in Kansas. Full price of NFL Sunday ticket will automatically be charged seasonally after free trial. No refunds, terms, restrictions, and embargoes apply. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem. Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700. Visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
It's Wrangler season out there. Warmer days, cooler nights. Open roads, endless horizons. And you need to be ready in jeans made for the unpredictable. Wrangler, for the ride of life. Shop our newest styles today at Wrangler.com.
Whether you're tinkering in your garage,
or tackling big projects, if you know the value of working with your hands, you know Harbor Freight. And you can be confident knowing that at Harbor Freight, you can get quality tools at prices that work just as hard as you do. Because the only thing more satisfying than a job well done is a job well done, well under budget. Whatever you do it for less at Harbor Freight.
It's Wrangler season out there. Warmer days, cooler nights. Open roads, endless horizons. And you need to be ready in jeans made for the unpredictable. Wrangler, for the ride of life. Shop our newest styles today at Wrangler.com.
What's better than one win? 3 wins. With Straight Savings, you keep your own phone, get one line for only $25 a month with real unlimited data, and get rewarded with a $200 phone credit after 12 months. It's a win-win-win. Head to Walmart or visit straighttalk.com today. Switch to Straight Talk. Less dollars, more sense. Straight Savings Plan enrollment requires compatible unlocked device and new line of service. Bonus device credit requires 12 months of active service. Offer ends if eligibility requirements are no longer met. Taxes and fees apply. For network management practices, see Straight Talk's terms and conditions.
I'm at a smoothie bar asking people if they'd switch smoothies with me for $574.
Oh, I'll switch.
So what about $574 if you switch your home insurance to Allstate?
That's a headache.
Nope, it's painless.
Oh, so it's easy money.
Yep, check Allstate first and you could save hundreds on quality home insurance today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Not available in every state. Based on the national average annual savings for new home insurance customers surveyed in 2023 who switched to Allstate and reported savings. Savings vary.
The best things in life, they come in twos. 2 scoops of ice cream, 2 tacos. And now for a limited time, get our best deal of the year. Buy any phone when you switch to Consumer Cellular and get 2 months of service free. That's right, the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage as Big Wireless, now with 2 months free. Proof the best things in life really do come in twos. Visit consumercellular.com or call 1-888-FREEDOM. Second and third month of monthly base service fee waived for new customers with the purchase of a phone and activation by September 2nd, 2024. Taxes, fees, and third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer whenever I want? Can we sleep cooler? Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. 94% of Sleep Number smart sleepers report better sleep. And now, during our biggest sale of the year, save 50% on the Sleep Number limited edition smart bed. Plus free home delivery on select smart beds when you add any base. Ends Labor Day. To find a store near you, visit sleepnumber.com.
Welcome to Staples.
My son's teacher emailed his back-to-school list. He needs crayons and notebooks.
With Staples Hot Deals, you'll find low prices on tons of school supplies. And all in stock.
Oh, now they're saying he needs folders and glue.
You got it.
And markers?
Of course.
Oh, geez.
Might I suggest 2 carts?
Staples has everything for school in stock and priced low. Right now, 24-pack Crayola crayons and 2-pocket poly folders are only 50 cents each at Staples. Ends 9/14, in-store only, limit 10 while supplies last.
Chiefs coverage brought to you by Andy's Frozen Custard. Visit eatandys.com to find the location nearest you. Top your day with a smile.
Let me tell you about my good friend Andy from Andy's Frozen Custard. He's from Kansas City, never misses a game, and serves the world's finest frozen custard. Tailgate with a Pick 6, or grab a freshly made custom treat before or after a game. And tell him Mitch and Andy sent you.
Join 96.5 The Fan and Bud Light for the Fans Football Show with Mitchell Schwartz and Jay Binkley every Thursday in September starting at 6 at participating Buffalo Wild Wings locations. Enjoy $5 talls, prizes, and Chiefs gear. For a list of locations, go to 965thefan.com.
Coming up in about 12 minutes, we'll get to the random question of the day. We'll also hear from Xavier Worthy in about 25 minutes. Chiefs rookie wide receiver, obviously a great debut. Now it looks like with Hollywood Brown not practicing today, perhaps he could have a huge role again in terms of the snap count, at least. So we'll get back to the Chiefs in just a little bit. But the Royals continue their series in the Bronx tonight, taking on the Yankees. We know last night was perfection. If you could just dream up a scenario of how a baseball game can go in the playoffs, they got exactly that from Seth Lugo and, of course, ultimately from Lucas Urseg as well, as Josh Vernier, our Royals insider, joins us. He's got his On Deck show tonight at 5 o'clock here on 96.5 The Fan. Vern, I know there was still a lot of people, maybe they're still out there, that said, hey, what are they going to do against the upper echelon teams? We've added new qualifiers each week of this season, I feel like, to prove what the Royals may or may not be. Do you feel like last night what won some people over?
I don't know if there are those people remaining. I mean, they're 9-10 over the course of this riptide, this 20-game stretch, man. Going into it, I think we all I'll speak for I was hoping that they would go 10-10. I
Same.
said I would take 8-12 right now. So once they picked up that 8th win, with the help that Boston and Detroit and Seattle have lent over the past few weeks, knowing that postseason spot is basically wrapped up, man, this team has now entered house money stage for me. I mean, everything that I've asked of them from the offseason to maintain through May and don't drown and do this and outlast this, they've done it all. And if they don't win the division, too bad. Can I be upset that they're not a more well-rounded playoff team? I mean, for God's sakes, they're a playoff team. So, no, to get a performance like that last night where, base running is on display, you get the defense really never needed to make an extraordinary play because the Yankees never touched second base against Lugo, Bubic, and John Schreiber. So, listen, I think the tests are now done. The only test that, to me, remains is what do you do with the opportunity in October? I know what Salvi's going to do with it. I feel like I'm pretty sure what Bobby's going to do with it. I'm hoping this rotation can flourish because, man, they're the reason why this team's going there, and I'm excited for them to get their day in the spotlight coming up in a few weeks.
I think it's something maybe we're going to discuss more as a show tomorrow, Vern, but I think that's, or later in today, but I think it was part of the reason I told Gold that I viewed last night's game going into the series. I viewed last night's game and tonight's game more as a better litmus test of what the Royals are going to be up against a playoff team. I figured game one, if you told me they'd start in 3 games on the road against the New York Yankees, well, Brady Singer's not starting and James MacArthur's not coming in for the 7th. That doesn't tell me what playoff team the Royals are. When Lugo starts and the rest of the lineup are in, and tonight when Cole Reagan starts and the rest of the lineup is in, that tells me how they actually match up against the Yankees. And at the very least, I know they're not going to get their ass kicked like what happened in the earlier part of the season when the Royals were still trying to find their way against winning teams.
Yeah, but come October, it just matters. Who's hot? Who's playing well in 3 weeks from now? Certainly the bullpen, the pitching staff is going to look very different come the postseason. But again, man, we have 16 games remaining. We know who this team is, what this team is, who's capable of what the expectations are going to be in 3 weeks for Lugo, Reagans, Bobby, Salvi, what we're going to expect out of Massey, out of Melendez. Again, to me, the litmus test, the tests period are done because the postseason is such a very different game. And yet the Royals game can't change all that much. Lorenzen, Singer, Marsh, those guys being available in the bullpen, makes the team better. But still, I'm not in a rush to take Waka, Lugo, or Reagans out of the game. While a majority of Cleveland, San Diego, Milwaukee, maybe even New York outside of a Garrett Cole start. While a lot of teams might be quick to go to their bullpen and start throwing the big dogs at you, I think the big dogs are your starters in Kansas City. So that's why I feel like we know what this team is, and we have a peek of what it's going to look like in October. You need Lugo to face Aaron Judge 3 times. You need Reagans to face Aaron Judge 3 times because he's likely going to come to the dish 4 times. Lugo can handle, Urseg can handle one of them. But then you're going to want Waka, Lugo, Reagans. You're going to want them in the big spot. At least I do. For as good as Lorenzen and Marsh could be in that spot, for as clutch as maybe a Hunter Harvey, James McCarthy. No, there's no other option, right? You want it to be starter, handing it off to Lucas Urseg. That's going to be the recipe for this team.
When you look at what the starting rotation is, you can do the pretty simple math here now, Vern, which means if the rotation lined up the exact same it would the rest of the way, the last 3 games of the regular season would be Lugo, Reagans, and you would think, well, that's not what I want. I want to line that up differently if you're going into those final 3 games, and Waka, of course, for those final 3. Should they? I know they don't want to give up on the division, but what you're saying is they're 5.5 games up with 16 to play. At what point do they have to start thinking about how do we shift this rotation so that those guys are available in the playoff series and not the last 3 games against the Braves?
I think once a first-round bye is out of reach, I think then you start lining it up for the wild card series, because until the wild card series is the last option. I'm trying to earn that bye. So I don't know when that happens, but shoot, 16 games remaining. I would imagine it's going to be fairly clear by this time next week. Yeah, so a week, 7 games, 8 games from now, I think it'll be pretty clear of whether or not they should put the foot on the gas pedal and try and track down Cleveland over the course of those final 6 games on the road against Washington and Atlanta, or if that's all right, let's prepare for this postseason push, these 3 straight games starting up on Tuesday, October 1st.
We're talking to Josh Fernier, our Royals insider. At this point, there's no question about the leadoff spot anymore, right? That's all solidified.
No, that's Tommy Pham.
That is, It's nice not to have that worry anymore. We were talking about that 2 weeks ago, and now Tommy Pham has just completely grabbed onto that.
Yeah, look, he's not replacing Vinny, but what he is doing is giving you a quality at bat in the first inning, which is what Vinny brought this team. Pham, his OPS with the Royals, right around 800. Yeah, you'll take that, and he's consistently hitting bullets up there, giving you a quality plate appearance. He's terrific in the clubhouse. Michael Massey going on about the, example that he set. Yeah, the leadoff spot certainly has been checked moving forward. A corner outfield spot that, his ability to bounce between left and right, and I think we'll see him at DH possibly come the postseason.
I just really look at the lineup. It helped them so. Like, I thought the way that it worked was they were never as bad as they were going to lose every game just because they didn't have Vinny Pasquantino. But they needed, like, this short winning streak to remind themselves they can still win baseball games. You've seen this before. They started to reel. They had this massive injury, and then losing followed it, Vern, and then they had to find a way to kind of recalibrate, and now they're just back to winning the same way. Does it seem kind of silly now, like, that look, losing Vinny does matter, but that they were going to have no offense, I guess, in the absence of any?
No, because, again, that was prior to Tommy Pham arriving and producing. Yeah. Robbie Grossman, Yuli Gurriel, they've certainly brought something. You look at, Gurriel's come through with some big knocks. He drove in a run. He's scored a run in each of his first 3 starts since coming over, so I'm not trying to knock them, but that Tommy Pham, that's the Tommy Pham that we thought teams were going to line up for going into the trade deadline. Now, he went to St. Louis and laid an egg, never really got going there. But yeah, this is, again, exactly like Alex said. This is what this team has been missing all season. They're still missing Vinny Pasquantino. And to be honest with you, moving Salvi back up to the 3 spot, giving Bobby the proper protection, I think also played a factor into why the offense struggled so immediately in the absence of Vinny Pasquantino. But, let's not get this twisted. Come October, when you're facing a Garrett Cole in Game 1, a Corbin Burns in Game 1, you're going to be hard-pressed to allow Bobby or Salvi, even if they're batting back-to-back, to beat you. MJ, Renfroe, Massey, one of these guys, Paul DeJong, they're going to have to step up in a big way. So I still think the absence of Vinny is glaring. Thankfully, of late, your all-star pitchers have been extraordinary. Alec Marsh has been answering the bell. But, yeah, I think the postseason will shine a light on the whole of Vinny Pasquantino, certainly.
The Royals today, they sent out their Executive of the Year pitch, basically, and Manager of the Year pitch for both Matt Quatraro and JJ Picollo. I'll see if you agree with us that, Executive of the Year should be a no-brainer in baseball this year. That's done. What about Manager of the Year? It's been down to 2 guys all year anyway, I feel like, in Stephen Vogt and obviously Matt Quatraro. Do you think that the voters are just going to simplify it and be a little lazy and just say, whoever wins the division is who they're giving it to?
That's where I would go. And I am lazy, so I'm fine with that characteristic. But
oversimplifying it a little.
Well, I think winning the division, there is something to it, right? It almost slipped away from him. And the shoes that he's replacing, it's not as if he was the bench coach and he's just sliding over, taking over for Terry Francona. I was and still am amazed that team, that organization hasn't missed a beat while you lose one of the 3 best managers of the last quarter century. So I'm fine with Stephen Vogt. If they win the division, him walking away with the crown.
So if you voted across the board, let me see if you get this right. You'd vote as the AL Manager of the Year. You'd give JJ the Executive of the Year. That's a no.
No doubt.
Would you give Lugo or Reagans the time of day, or just give Scooble the Cy Young? And would you give Bobby the time of day, or would you just give it to Judge?
Listen, Bobby is the MVP. If the Yankees win their division, okay, I can understand him receiving the award. If the Royals don't win their division and the Yankees do, fine, Aaron Judge is the MVP. But if neither wins their respective division, Bobby, to me, is just so clearly the MVP. I mean, what he's doing is more rare than what Aaron Judge is doing. He's no longer on pace to hit 62 home runs. I think he's on pace for like 55, 56. You know how many times I've seen that in my life?
Plenty.
I've never seen a shortstop do what Bobby's doing this season because it's never been done. I mean, the numbers that Bobby's on pace to put up have really only been put up by Colorado Rockies when the building first opened. He's doing it in Kansas City at shortstop for a playoff team, hitting at the top of the lineup every single freaking day. Bobby's the American League MVP, and as far as the Cy Young is concerned, man, Tarek Skubal is pretty nasty. The fact that Detroit is still even in the race helps him. So, yeah, I'm fine with Skubal walking away with the award. But, you know, what Lugo and Reagans are doing right now is battling it out for the best season put forth by a Royal since Zach Greinke's 2009. These two, it's the best combo we've seen in Kansas City since Mark Gubicza and Brett Saberhagen back in 1989. These guys are putting together two of the finest seasons in franchise history, doing it together while Bobby's putting up an MVP season. Salvy's cementing his case for Cooperstown. Listen, we're never going to forget this season. No matter how it finishes, this is a unforgettable summer of baseball in Kansas City.
Did you see how Aaron Judge cursed himself, Vern? Did you see?
No, I didn't.
He does not have a home run since he appeared in a home run derby in a Paw Patrol episode. He won a home run derby in a Paw Patrol episode, and that's been it. Not a single home run since the date it aired.
Well, that's science.
That would never happen to Bobby, the true MVP. He could have been in Paw Patrol and still be
and if it did,
dingers.
you'd sing a song, fix the whole thing, and we'd be well on our way.
4-1, Vern. 4-1 since the September
I appreciate
anthem.
it. Thank you. Nobody benefits from it more than me, so I greatly appreciate it.
There you go. Josh Furnier's On Deck show tonight at 5 o'clock right here on your home for the Royals, 96.5 The Fan. He mentioned the home run seasons. I just was curious. It looks like there's like 48 players have hit 50-plus home runs before. So, like, to his point, like 50,
plenty of people have done that.
It's impressive, but it's not, it's not like there's only been 7 guys in baseball history.
I think the conversation was, I think the MVP conversation has continued to shift because the conversation was different when Aaron Judge was on pace to hit 65 homers. I understand he still has 50, but because he hasn't hit a homer in 2.5 weeks, the numbers have come more in line with the other parts of Bobby's season that I think favor him as the MVP. But I also factor in the things that I know. Like, I don't understand why we can't factor in every single thing in factoring in an MVP, but just ignore the ballpark he plays in. We seem to ignore that as a factor for his stats at all. As it sits right now, if Aaron Judge had to play 162 games at Kauffman Stadium, he'd have 36 home runs, and Bobby would have 29. So there's not some massive difference in their power numbers. One guy plays in a Cracker Jack box, and one guy plays in a real Major League Stadium.
No, it's a fair point. In this conversation, when we're talking about two specific players, I hear you. In general, nothing annoys me more than people complaining about dimensions of other ballparks.
Yeah, I know.
It drives me crazy.
But in this particular instance, I think it's worthy of a conversation.
In this one, it matters. Generally, I can't stand that. But in this head-to-head thing, sure. I think going back to what we said a couple months ago, I told you for Bobby Witt Jr. to win it, whether we think it's fair enough for him to win it, I think the Royals have to win the division. And
that doesn't seem like the same standards being set for Judge, which seems unfair.
Yeah, I mean, I think for a lot of members, these are baseball riders, 2 riders in every big league city for a respective league vote on this. And I think a lot of them have probably made up their mind, fair or not. And if we're factoring in who has been most valuable, I think we do know who that is. And, of course, that's Bobby Witt Jr. But New York market, New York Yankees, home runs, it's a lazy way of looking at it, and people are going to side that way.
I know, it frustrates me.
Random question.
For you, Gold. For you, Drew, over in the text line, 913-586-7965. Of course, you can hit us up. YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Facebook. We live stream the show. You might have seen The Drive was on all of those as well yesterday. Idea behind all 3 shows will soon be
I noticed he's on camera now. Carrington's on camera now, and you notice there's no pins, no shoot-up pins in our
cleaned up his
studio.
workspace,
Maybe
huh?
we should have done this a long time ago.
This is like an episode of MTV's Room Raiders. He decided to clean things up a little bit once he realized there's going to be people going through his stuff, seeing what they can see here on the other side. Changes the math a little bit. Okay, maybe that's what's going on. The question I have for you today comes via a survey I was sent, in which it says 1 in 4 U.S. sports fans lose sleep over their favorite team or athlete. According to the study, on average, U.S. sports fans lie awake for 62 minutes after a poor performance by their favorite team or athlete, with New Jersey leading the way in sleeplessness of an average of 92 minutes of what they call, quote, ceiling time. So the question I have for you today is, do you have a harder time falling asleep if your team performs poorly, as this survey would suggest?
So it's the opposite. If the
team does
opposite.
well, you have a hard time.
Yeah, well, it's the opposite. If things are going well, if there's a big game the next day, it's harder to sleep because you're like excited, right? You're like Sunday morning. You can't wait to get to the first Sunday of the NFL season, right? You're excited, things like that. If the team loses a game on a Thursday night game, like the Lions, like I'm ready to go to bed. Like, just go to bed, wake up, and get done with this thing.
Oh, you're just like depressing. Like, I'm going to bed. Forget this stupid game ever existed.
I'm not sitting up all night angry and like, oh my gosh, my team sucks, like Jets fans are doing. It sounds like a lot of New Jersey.
92 minutes. Every single person in New Jersey is.
But yeah,
in fairness, how much winning has New Jersey done in any sport lately?
We need to get Drew Samambi in, man. He's struggling after the Bengals. He's not sleeping at all right now with what's going on with Joe Burrow and the Bengals.
Again, as I've said before, my life, as I said this weekend as well, my day is not ruined if the Bengals lose. It's really not. I slept like a baby just as much as I normally do.
If the Chiefs win, you're amped up. You're watching highlights. You're enjoying Xavier Worthy running 100 miles an hour. That kind of stuff. Versus the losing,
Listen,
it's something that
they could lose 42-0 on Sunday, and I will not lose, and I will lose just as much sleep as I would if they won 42-0. I will sleep fine.
I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe that makes me a bad fan. Maybe it does. Maybe it doesn't. But it is nothing has ever in sports made me lose sleep over, and a long time, if ever, that I can remember.
Someone says it depends. So it depends on the game. Chiefs prime time? Yeah, I'm thinking about it for a bit, grinding it a bit. K-State, 11 a.m.? It's out of my system before I go to bed.
That's fair.
It probably didn't. Someone just says, I put sports in perspective about 10 years ago or so. Now, they said this is dumb. See, that's why I don't think it's dumb. I do think my perception, I think I used to let it affect my mood more. But now because of my chosen career path, you know what? I'm not grinding all night because the Royals lost 10-4 to the Yankees the other night.
Oh, well, definitely not a regular season
I just lay my head down and go to bed. Oh, whoopsie. I guess MacArthur gave up a homer. And same as if they won 5-0 the night before. Well, good night, everybody. Royals win. The other part about baseball that's changed is now those games end long before I go to sleep anyway. Because baseball games are 2.5 hours. They're ending at this time of year, 8:30. 9 o'clock at night. I'm not staying up late just because the Royals lost a regular season game. I think this applies more to playoff things. I think if the Chiefs lose in the AFC Championship game in a playoff round, you do kind of like, you think you might just go to bed right away, but I think you do have a little ceiling time where you're like, damn it. I can't believe they blew that game. Replaying that thing. You look up the play again. I do think you do some of that.
When the Bengals lost the Super Bowl to the Rams, I don't think I lost any sleep, but it was one of those things where it's like, dang, man, it sucks, but it's not.
But you just went right to bed? You didn't stay up later than normal?
No. What time would the game have ended at Central Time?
10:30, 11? I don't know.
9.
Oh no,
30.
Yeah, Super Bowl. Yeah, like 9.
I was up till probably 11:30.
Okay, so normal time.
I just think it's. Yeah, for me, it's like it's much easier. Like I'm just this sucks. They lost, so I'm going to bed. And it's like and it's
you're
just
excited
moving.
when
when you're excited, you got the adrenaline going. You're feeling good. You can't wait to get to the if it's the night before Super Bowl, obviously
Same way
you're
as a
definitely
bet
not
for
sleeping.
you. Like you win a good parlay that was worthy of let's say you had a 10-leg parlay and you were going to win $1,000. If you win it, you're staying you're up for a while. But if you lose it on the final leg, you just go to bed.
Yeah.
Like screw this parlay.
Yeah, I'm like fresh start the next day, please. That's kind of how. That's kind of
sounds
how
like you're
I
the
would
opposite
view it.
of this poll.
That's what I said right away. I think it's the other way around.
So somebody said the way that I act, I do is because I'm used to losing.
There is a certain
If
amount of
there
it
was-
washes
if-
over you a little bit
if there
depending
were-
on your fandom. I think that there's some truth to that.
I agree, but but I think like for Lions fans, probably really depressing for a lot of those fans last year, the way that the season ended. For the Bengals, I'm sure fans, it was like almost a magic carpet ride all the way up to the Super Bowl. They had a team. The team was almost had no business being where they were. They were in the Super Bowl against the Rams. They lost. You were so close. It sucked. That was the closest that I think I'll ever be to losing sleep, I guess. I promise that I will not lose sleep this weekend, regardless of the result.
It's just an adrenaline thing. I think, for if things are going
Someone
well.
said D Ford caused me some ceiling time. But that was before they had. I also think it's different, like what Drew's saying. I think you probably used to lose more sleep when it was your team hadn't accomplished the things it accomplished. The second the Chiefs started winning a bunch of Super Bowls, they lose some regular season game to the Raiders. I don't care if it's 11 o'clock at night. You're not stewing. Bedtime. Who cares?
Yeah.
I'll just sleep and deal with this thing tomorrow.
And on the flip side, if you're the Panthers, you're like, this sucks, and you're
they
just
knew their
going to
season.
apathy.
They knew their season was going to suck anyway, so I don't think they're feeling that.
But
way.
right.
For baseball though, regular season, there's no chance.
Don't lose sleep over regular
There's
season.
162 games. I mean, this is what we've tried to preach the entire season. Like, I mean, how many times in May, June, July did we come in after a loss or whatever, and you would have thought the text line the world was ending. I mean, and the season was over at that point. The season was over for the Royals about 15 times according to the text line during the season, and here we are.
It's not over?
It's not.
They got a
They're gonna
5.5
make the
game lead with
playoffs.
16 games to play. It would take an epic collapse for them to miss the playoffs at this point.
Well,
Like just the games.
Even when they were playing good, like early in May or whatever, and I would do an after-hours show, the text line would say, it doesn't matter, this is the same old Royals, just wait for it to happen. Like, that's the, I'm not losing any sleep over this because when it happens, it's going to happen. And
I'm used to it,
and it hasn't happened.
All right, coming up next, we're going to hear from Chiefs rookie wide receiver Xavier Worthy, plus the test of another rookie going up against Cincinnati.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for K-State Athletics. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
We're hiring residential garage door installers at Overhead Door Company of Kansas City. Join the team trusted here since 1927. Apply today, get a call today. No experience necessary. Paid training for motivated applicants to install garage doors. Hiring bonus up to $2,500. Mechanical, carpentry, or service industry experience is a plus. Good benefits include health, dental, vision, and pension. Earn as you learn to service the best garage door customers in KC. Apply today at overheaddoorkc.com.
Pulled in a million directions for a million different reasons. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City works hard to make sure your health insurance isn't one of the many things distracting you from what's important. By making healthcare easier to navigate, we help keep your focus on the moments that matter most. Like dinner with loved ones. Letting you focus on you. That's the benefit of Blue. Learn more at bluekc.com.
Truck drivers, you deserve to drive for a reliable carrier that has your back. At Schneider, drivers get what they need to have a successful and fulfilling career, including award-winning benefits, state-of-the-art equipment, and a pay package that rewards their hard work. With our variety of flexible driving options, you can find a job with the home time you want, whether that's daily, weekly, or something else. And if the job you choose isn't the right fit, our transfer team will help find one that is. Explore today at SchneiderJobs.com. That's SchneiderJobs.com.
It's Carrington Harrison from The Drive here now on 96.5 The Fan, telling you guys about my friends over at Window World. Window World is the official window of the Kansas City Chiefs. Pick up the phone right now and call Window World today at 816-799-0820 or check out the website, windowskansascity.com. And remember this, when you call Window World, be sure to mention that you heard this on The Drive with me, and you'll be entered into a drawing for 4 Chiefs tickets during the upcoming season. You know they got some big games, and you're going to want to be there. So call my friends over at Window World. They're offering right now 36 months, same as cash financing, with approved credit. In over 20 years of business, Window World has improved the look and thermal efficiency of over 54,000 homes right here in the Kansas City metro. Check out the website, windowskansascity.com. Pick up the phone today at 816-799-0820 for a free home estimate. Call to be entered into a drawing for 4 Chiefs tickets. Remember, Window World, simply the best for less. and the official window of your Kansas City Chiefs.
Did you know that you can now use your own body's healing properties to revitalize your achy joints and get you real lasting pain relief? Hey, it's Bob Fesco. And if you're waking up this morning and your knees hurt or your back hurts, I've got the solution for you. It's advanced regenerative medicine at QC Kinetics. So if you're tired of that arthritic pain in your knees, hips, back, or shoulder, this is something you need to check out. Everybody's talking about regenerative medicine, and the local medical professionals at QC Kinetics are experts in these amazing treatments. People here are raving about the results. You can enhance your joints, improve mobility, and get back to doing the stuff you love without pain, without drugs or surgery or downtime. They've got tens of thousands of satisfied patients, and the consultation is totally free. So call now, 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. QC Kinetics off 435 in State Line and in Gladstone. 816-412-6299.
La 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 la.
Oops. Ever had your singing lessons cut short by icy water?
Oh, I'm sorry, honey.
Say goodbye to those cold notes with Navien tankless water heaters. With Navien, you'll hit all the right notes without the surprise chill. So keep singing and let Navien keep the hot water flowing. And get ready for the encore when you get your utility bill.
La 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 la.
Navien tankless water heaters. Visit tanklessmadesimple.com.
Whether you own a local business or a global one, you're always looking for ways to position your operation to create opportunities and move on them faster. With Bank of America, you get access to experts, award-winning insights, and business solutions so powerful, you'll make every move matter, locally and globally. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Copyright 2024 Bank of America NA.
Right now at Wendy's, you can get a small Frosty for $1. And literally everyone is going. The car behind you, going to get a $1 Frosty. The car ahead of you, already had one, going for a second. The person who cut you off earlier, you guessed it, $1 Frosty. Maybe it's all a sign for you to go get one. Just don't cut anyone off. No one likes that person. The iconic Frosty for $1, gotta be Wendy's.
Limited time only at participating U.S. Wendy's. Not valid in a combo. Prices may be higher in Alaska, Hawaii, California, and via third-party delivery.
Every business faces challenges, but complicated, expensive, and uncertain shipping shouldn't be one of them.
With USPS Ground Advantage from the United States Postal Service, you can avoid all the noise.
No more unexpected surcharges, hidden fees, or complex rate structures.
It's just easy, cost-effective, and dependable shipping. Tune your business's frequency to success and turn shipping to your advantage. Learn how at USPS.com/advantage. USPS Ground Advantage. Simple, affordable, reliable.
Inside the Huddle is brought to you by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City. Discover the benefit of blue.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. This is the all-new 96.5 The Fan, your new home for Royals baseball. KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
One o'clock hour here on Cody and Gold. Alex Gold, Cody Tapter, Nixon with you on 96.5 The Fan. Home for the Chiefs, home for the Royals, home for Kansas City sports. Royals on Deck show with Vern coming up at 5. Royals baseball, 6:05 tonight as they continue their series in the Bronx against the Yankees. Coming up in about 8 minutes, we'll hear from Chiefs rookie wide receiver Xavier Worthy coming off a great debut. Now, how do you follow that up? The expectations are only higher for you. And based on Hollywood Brown not practicing, looks like he's going to continue to get a lot of snaps in this game on Sunday. But how about the other rookie that was, I think, a really strong performer for being a rookie in that spot on a Thursday night against a pretty good defensive front? I'm talking about Kingsley Suamataia, of course. You know, if you go on the PFF grades, as we talked about earlier.
Said he was horrid.
Yeah, they gave him the lowest offensive grade, 48.9, run block grade, 37.3. He gave up 1 sack. I think, though, if the baseline is what we saw, because watching the game, were you watching it and saying, oh, man, he's a liability. Oh, man, he can't hold his own. That's not how I took it. I don't think that's how you took it at all. And so
I didn't watch the game and be like, oh, God, they can't get their offense taken care of because Kingsley's getting beat like a drum.
Right. And so if that performance on Thursday is the start of his career, again, and it is the start of his career, but if that's what the baseline now is, Oh, you feel even better about the trajectory for this year for him, and of course, long term being a second-round pick.
Yeah, I think that it could have been so much worse than what it was for Kingsley. And because Mahomes will mitigate some of that, it didn't stop any of them. It stalled out one drive because he gave up a sack. Sometimes offensive players will give up sacks. And then other than that, they led the league in yards per play in week 1. They had one of the better scoring outputs. Their quarterback put up one of the better performances. Mahomes wasn't on his ass the entire game. I look at that performance and I tell myself, okay, if he can grow from this, if this is like you said, the basement, then we're fine. Now, I will say he is going to face tougher defensive lines. And I think he's going to face tougher competition this week in Trey Hendrickson, who they assume, similar to what Chris Jones did against the Ravens in week 1, they're going to put Trey Hendrickson on him a lot. They're going to test the rookie. They're going to find out if he can hang. But you know what they didn't do in week 1 that they would have the option to do this time? Chip. They put Kingsley Suamataia on an island, Gold. He was not helped by a tight end. He wasn't helped by a running back. They put him on his own. Go through. I encourage you. Mitchell Schwartz put out a YouTube breakdown of it where he, a person who probably knows a little bit of something about offensive line play, seeing how he was an all-pro offensive lineman, he broke down Kingsley's performance and talked about those things. They essentially just left him, hung him out to dry, right? Go do your thing. Good luck out there. And when you put him in that position, then this is the floor. Because there are always ways to help him if for some reason he's up against a more talented pass rusher. I don't think they've got the Steelers on the schedule, but a TJ Watt type is up against him. Well, yeah, he's probably going to need some help. Most players do.
They play the 49ers later this year. Of course, you'll have Bosa and Fred Warner and company. That'll be another test. But I just thought right out of the gate that was actually a really strong performance. I was surprised to see the grade come in where it did on PFF for Kingsley Suamataia based off of just the eye test, like as a very casual eye watching it, as you referenced what Mitchell Schwartz's thoughts were on the performance. So there were times last year with Donovan Smith and Wanye Morris where like you felt worse about some of those games. So if this is where it starts, the next big test, I understand this week, sure, but to me it's when he goes on the road for the first time and he's in Atlanta, he's in an indoor environment, so it's louder, it's Monday Night Football, like that. How does he handle that? Do you see an increase in penalties with the snap count, the silent count, things like that? I think will be the next big test for Kingsley. But I don't know how. I mean, nobody should be feeling bad at all about how he performed. I thought he was very good.
And even if he does struggle, I think against Trey Hendrickson, who are you going to go to Wanye? There's no point in going to Wanye at this point. Like, they made their bet.
Kingsley's the starter. If he's healthy, 17 plus games, whatever the number is at the end of the playoffs. Yeah, every single game this season.
They made their bed where he can have the growing pains, and Mahomes is one with worse. And if this is what he gives you, or he allows a sack here and there, it's not like it's the end of the world as long as he's not getting killed out there, which is not going to be the case based on what we saw on Thursday.
I didn't see it as any worse than what they got out of Donovan Smith every week. Is that pretty much what you saw? What I saw was an average Donovan Smith game from 2023 in that game in week 1. He got beat at least once. And by the way, Donovan Smith's, do you know what his PFF grade was last year? 55.4 for the 17-game season. What did you tell me Kingsley's was for game 1?
48.
Okay, so the same, practically.
Well, and it wasn't because of pass problems. It was his
run blocking. So, yeah, does he need to improve on that? Sure, they also didn't run to his side very often. Probably for a reason.
And they will see TJ Watt on Christmas Day. Who knows if he's healthy?
That's right.
Who knows if he's healthy by then? By December.
Though.
They were just referencing the comp we were talking about. Like, are they going to see anybody? And I didn't catch it either.
I forgot.
Like that. But who knows what the Steelers are by then and everybody's health.
I wonder, I don't know, is there anybody that sticks to their spot more that they're going to see other than, because Trey Hendrickson, for the most part, he is lined up over the left tackle he does not move around very often.
I feel like he's more of an old school.
He is.
That doesn't happen as often. People like flexibility in the line.
Yeah, so I think in terms of what he's going to face, and from an every single snap basis, this might be the most pressure in terms of top-tier defensive lineman that he sees every single time. I mean, maybe Myles Garrett. They play the Browns this year, right? Yes.
They play the AFC North. Yeah.
That one will be a.
That'll also that's a challenge for everybody, not just him.
What's good is that's also later in the year. You know, I mean, you would think typically that he's going to get more comfortable as the season progresses. So whatever issues there were, and I'm not by no means by saying he played a perfect game, not at all. I mean, he acknowledged it in the locker room after the game. Andy Reid was asked about. I mean, it was not a perfect performance, but if that's what it's starting out as, from Kingsley, I think you're feeling really, really good about where things are at. One of the other rookies, of course, the star of that Thursday night game was Xavier Worthy. And with the Hollywood Brown situation not practicing today, as I said, I think right now you would have to suspect that Worthy's going to get a high volume of snaps again because he has that role to stretch the field. They're obviously going to have some design stuff for him. Here is what Xavier Worthy had to say to the media a little while ago.
Oh, man, it's been cool just to have that, do what I did on Thursday. But I have like this 24-hour rule. You do it, you live it out, and then you forget about it. It's on to the next. So I'm on to the next.
Xavier, within the 24-hour rule, how many texts and messages and people reaching out to you based on the game?
Couldn't even tell you.
What stands out to you on the film for yourself other than the 2 touchdowns? Like, what are the things from your standpoint?
I feel like a lot of things that I kind of focused on was understanding the defense, and I feel like I did that. So I just want to carry that over to this week and every other week, just understand the defenses, knowing what they're going to do before and pre-snap.
Could you sense that Baltimore was really trying to take away some of the deeper routes that you were attempting to run there over the course of the game?
Yeah, they ran a lot of cloud to kind of take away the deep shots, but that opened up everything underneath. So that was a good thing.
Xavier, Rashid was talking about after the game how when you guys were running those bunch formations that they were saying, hey, watch out. Ravens were saying, watch out for number 1 here. He can run. Did you hear that? And what's your reaction to that?
I'd be so locked in, I can't even hear nothing. If it's not Pat talking, I will hear it.
Speaking of reading the defense, what did you see from Rashid rewatching the film in his game?
Right. Like I said, with me taking the top off, that opens up everything underneath for him and Trav. So he took advantage of every opportunity he got.
As you look back at the game and just kind of gauging your performance and understanding, how would you say your playbook understanding was? Like, how many times were you a little confused or things like that, as far as just the entire comprehensive game goes?
Right. I feel like the offseason with the injury kind of helped me in a way just to understand the playbook a little more, the nicks of it. So I feel like coming into the game, I feel like I already had the playbook a long time ago. So I feel like I was already out there understanding, knowing the defense. So that was really the main thing from me.
The Chiefs and Bengals have played a lot, playoff games and stuff like that. You're new to it. How long does it take you to kind of get into a rivalry?
Oh, man, I don't know nothing about a rivalry, but, I mean, shoot, it's football at the end of the day. It's competition. It's friendly rivalry at the end of the day. Everybody wants to do what they do, so it's going to be a fun one.
You're a guy that watches other wide receivers and maybe Jamar Chase being one of them, and what do you think about him?
No, man, Jamar Chase is an excellent receiver. Just watching him at LSU with Justin Jefferson, they obviously made a lot of plays, and him coming in his rookie year, he made a lot of plays. So it's big ups to Jamar.
You guys spend a lot of time in the wide receiver room together. I know Hollywood's working his way back. How are his spirits right now, just as he's going through this process of trying to return?
Man, Hollywood, he's doing good in his recovery. But he's also like a guy, hurt or not, he's gonna look out for you. He's gonna make sure you're all right at the game. He's looking out for guys. Here, you need water, you need the gun. So it's just good just to have a vet like that. Just look out for the guys.
Xavier, what did it mean to you for Patrick to make sure he got your first touchdown in football, and what do you plan to do with it?
Yeah, Pat. I see Pat do it before, so I knew Pat was gonna get it for me. But man, it's amazing just to be able to have that. Just cherish it. I'll probably give it to my mom so she can put it up.
Xavier, you seem like a confident guy. Does the game that you had, the success you had in game 1, does that give you confirmation that you're able to play this way?
I feel like in a way it does, but I feel like just me as a person. I feel like once I have a good game, it happened. It's on to the next. And the next game could be bad, so you never know. Just be confident, just be humble at the end of the day.
Couple more.
We asked after the game, it was pretty fresh, the reverse where you scored. When you guys went back and watched the film study of that, it looked like it was blocked about perfectly. I mean, what was it like going back and watching that in the room with the guys?
Yeah, like I said after the game, all I seen was nothing but red. Everybody was pushing everybody out, and I just had an easy way to the end zone.
Last one, anyone? Great.
Did you actually get touched on it? It looked like you maybe weren't touched at all.
Yeah, I don't think I was touched.
There's Xavier Worthy.
You didn't notice it.
I mean, if somebody touched him, I mean, they grazed a finger, grazed the side of his jersey or something. It was an easy, run to the end zone with his speed and great blocking down the field. And I do think he was asked about the confidence. I mean, how can it not give you confidence? Yes, you were drafted where you were drafted, and the team believes in you and all of that. You've got the skill set, but Still, I'm sure there's a little until you go out and against a really good opponent and to know that
do it.
Oh, you're on that level and you're a massive asset to your team and to have success right away. You only touched the ball 3 times, but you had 2 touchdowns. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. I guess 3 touchdowns, 3 touches would have been the only way that's better.
Yeah.
You know, like
damn it, I didn't go touchdown for every touch of the football.
I thought it was interesting that he said the injury almost helped him. It was like a blessing in disguise where he could just focus solely on, I'm going to learn this playbook, so I'm good to go. I mean, maybe, and that might just help the fact that even when Hollywood comes back, he's going to be ready because of him not only playing now, but having learned the playbook and really being ingrained in trying to get it memorized and all the stuff as soon as he can.
I also just think that we always forget, like, we talk about timing, or you're like, oh, it was a COVID year, they didn't get on the field. You know, for Nick Bolton's year, some people just have a better aptitude for it. Some people get to walk in and play 68% of the snaps because they know the offense better. They pick it up faster. The playbook comes easier to them than others. And that might have been also part of what got Xavier Worthy there. But yes, if you get to sit there and study and you make the use of the time where you can't be on the field to dig into the playbook, yeah, that could help you get there. I also, if Hollywood's not going to play this Sunday, which I am leaning towards is going to be the case because he did not practice today, well, then I think Xavier Worthy's in for another important game on the field because they're gonna, if they relied on him 68% of the time in game 1, I don't think that number dramatically shifts if again Hollywood Brown is not available. I don't think it goes down to Hollywood Brown's on the field, right?
there's no reason for it to. I mean, why? I mean, who do we feel like else should be getting more time if Hollywood's not available? No, I don't think it changes.
I mean, how much more does
Hollywood's.
it go down if when Hollywood's back too?
It'll go down a little bit. It's going to. I mean,
does it go down to 50
we're talking about
45?
the snaps were there, but in this past game without him, he had. I mean, we were joking because he got touchdowns, but he had 3 touches. He had a ton of snaps, but he touched the ball 3 times. Like I don't think Xavier Worthy's ever going to be this season a guy that has 9 receptions or 8 receptions in a game. That's not who he's going to be.
I don't think that's how they'll utilize him now. You hope he turns into that.
Yeah, I'm saying this year.
Yeah. What you hope is he turns into a 7-catch guy, and he's Tyreek. 7 catches a game, and then one of those catches might also be for 60 yards.
Yeah, I think maybe next year, or if all of a sudden there were other injuries. But when you have Rashee Rice and Travis Kelce on
you
your
don't
team,
have to do that,
the volume catchers are still those 2, Rice and Kelce.
Yes.
And I guess Noah Gray, for that matter, even more than we realized.
We'll
I mean,
see. At least
we'll
for game 1,
Yeah.
I'd like to see the rest of the season, but he signed that contract, and then that man just started to show up.
Well, and that's what makes the defense or the offense so dangerous is that if they decide to focus on Rashee and Kelce more, then Xavier's going to get a shot. If they focus more on Xavier because he wants to take the top off, then the underneath is there because they have reliable guys.
Yeah, Worthy's going to, I mean, like he's going to be a fan favorite if he's not already, and he's going to be a stud for this team for a while. It sure looks like. But I don't think after the one game we now should just say, oh, he's going to have 1,000 yards and he's going to have 12 touchdowns. Like,
no,
we can let this thing play out. But obviously,
what was
very
it,
excited.
750 was that his over
under 750.
And I would have taken. I definitely thought it was going to be under that. But I would have taken 5 touchdowns for the year going in. Now he's already got 2.
Yeah, he's going to
If he had finished with 550 and 5 touchdowns, I'd be like, fine rookie year, Xavier Worthy.
Yeah.
And he's already at 60 yards and 2 touchdowns. So that didn't take
the
long.
touchdown numbers are going to be higher than people thought maybe. Yardage, let's just see how this plays out. And it depends on how long Hollywood Brown is not available.
Turns out Cincinnati is not the only fan base currently angry at the Chiefs.
Well, aren't 31 others?
So Kyle Van Noy, you might remember he got hurt in the most recent Chiefs game. Did you see? So he got hurt. He injured his orbital bone in the middle of the middle of the game. You might remember there was a
terrible
injury timeout. He had to go down there. He hosts his own podcast. He buried the Chiefs training staff for taking care of his injury. Do you think he was fair in this?
Yeah, let's hear this.
I was disappointed in the way the training staff of the Chiefs handled the situation. When things like that you get hurt, especially something that could be serious like mine was, you're supposed to rely on the team's training staff or, their doctors. And I was supposed to see a ophthalmologist, which is somebody who checks out eye, performs eye surgery, and they took an entire quarter to get down to talk to me in the locker room, which to me is unacceptable. Because then you start thinking, what if I was trying to go back in the game? What if I was, really, really hurt. I know mine happened to be moderate, but it still was serious because it's an eye, and your expectation of someone to be down there as the training staff asked him to be down there would have had a little bit more urgency, and just the way it took time was super unprofessional to me. Especially there's people that were in there too. One of the doctors or the friend of the doctor was in there, double cup fisted, styrofoam cups, like everything was good. And I just felt like that was unprofessional. I understand how Kansas City, the players, have given that training room an F because with my experience, I would have probably after that gave him an F too.
So that was Kyle Van Noy. Now, let me just say this at the front. Kyle Van Noy's been in this league for a very long time. He's been in a lot of training rooms. He's had a lot of injuries, I'm sure, and dealt with doctors. So I have no idea what the normal protocol is.
But it sounds like his personal experience is typically more.
Yeah, so let me be clear. We were obviously not there. I don't know what normal protocol is. On the surface, it sounds like you can understand some of what he said. Now, the whole thing about the styrofoam cups, you're just being a whiny little bitch at that point. I mean, you are.
I don't know. Who can't? Cups? We're complaining about cups?
Yeah, we're complaining about styrofoam cups being held or whatever. Now, the other thing, the timeliness, I don't know. Is that longer than normally is? Maybe it is. I will have to we need to talk to Sean Barber, a former player.
I dare you to call Kyle Van Noy a bitch to his face, though.
I was going to say, the way that you just said that.
Someone of my
He was whining.
I dare you to call Kyle Van Noy whiny bitch to his face.
He was, and the training,
it comes off as sour grapes. I don't know how fast they're supposed to get an ophthalmologist down to see you.
I don't know.
Are those dead serious? I'm asking a very real question.
It sounds like they have one there.
Are ophthalmologists just on site? And in his defense, if they are, well then what else is the ophthalmologist doing right now? Nothing. He might as well go down and look at someone's eye.
Yeah, I'm sure he was in a ton of pain and all of that. So that's what I'm saying. I don't know what the normal protocol is. I think the throwing in hey, he was holding some styrofoam cups.
I see why they got an F for their training staff. Which they did. How the hell do you know about the report card? He looked that up while he was sitting there?
They all know. The training room thing is weird to me because the team doctors, I can, at least locally on the more magnified situations have only been praised. Whether
Mahomes with his ankle,
Mahomes with the ankle, and how the training staff got him ready to play. It's been documented. Rex Burkholder and the training staff, how they dealt with the scary situation with B.J. Thompson at the facility. They've been praised. Hell, even Hollywood Brown, it could have been a more for them to recognize. I know they're doctors; they're trained to do this, but still, you applaud them for holding that. That title and living up to what they're supposed to do, and in some cases saving somebody's life. And with Hollywood Brown, that injury in particular, to be aware of exactly how to go about that and make sure it's not anything that's going to get worse or cause more serious problems. So that's where I'm like, I don't know. Most things we've actually heard have been pretty damn good with the training staff. I understand the training room grades. My thoughts on the NFLPA grades in general. I think it's one of those things that is fun to talk about. I think ultimately, when Chris Jones sent out a tweet jokingly after he got his contract, and all of a sudden he said that Clark Hunt, A+ owner, ultimately are the players getting paid. That's what they care about. And there's nobody's complaining that someone thought their actual care level was bad. Right, they're not saying that. I guess. As far as we know, Hollywood Brown, Patrick Mahomes, any of these players that had more serious injuries have not claimed they thought they weren't getting proper care. So he just seemed. I think he was in a bad mood too.
In his defense, in doing some research, every NFL team is required to have an ophthalmologist at the game in case there's an injury to your eye. So what was that dude doing?
Yeah, he was at the game.
What was he doing for a quarter? His job was to look at eye injuries. Someone's eye got hurt, and Kyle Van Noy said it took him a quarter to get it. By the way, they also have to have dentists and chiropractors and neurologists and neurotrauma. They got all kinds of different doctors.
This is why everybody said if you were to ever have
a dentist just kicking around there in case someone loses a tooth.
Well, this is why they've said if you're ever to have a medical emergency, one of the safest places other than at the hospital is a football field at an NFL game. Going back to the Damar Hamlin thing, nowhere else. Are you surrounded by
you here, Gold? You're done.
Yeah, we've got a
AED machine?
Yeah,
I missed the training on that.
Do you know how to use it?
I got trained on it when I was 19 years old. So if you trust 21 years of absentee knowledge,
what do I have to lose to that point?
Honest to God, to my understanding, it pretty much just explains it. It's got written instructions. Yeah. Now, in that moment, I cannot promise you that I would be doing a good job of saying, okay, step 1, it says, take off Alex's shirt. Step 2, attach the leads. But I've probably figured it out.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's it's audible. Like I believe the one we have, like it gives you
audio instructions.
Audio
Nice.
instructions. I'm not sure.
Somebody said that.
I'm not AED certified.
In all seriousness, we probably all should get some training on how to use that. Might be.
They did that.
Probably,
they did that right after.
When?
Right after the DeMar Hamlin
It
situation.
was during our show, though.
No, but they had two. I'm just telling
During
you.
our show, I didn't have an opportunity for
right
that.
after what happened to DeMar Hamlin, they had a building-wide AED training with a trained professional and taught everyone how to use that
think
machine.
it was 10 a.m.
But
to
it
2.
was like 10:30 a.m. So you and I did. So everyone else in the building knows how to use it, but you and I.
Somebody said they're glad an opposing player wasn't given the.
I think they're joking.
Are we really doing this?
I think they're joking. I think there's a little sarcasm in that.
Maybe.
I mean, the text ends with F the other teams. I'm pretty sure there's a little sarcasm there. No, I mean, I'm sure he's in a lot of pain. I also think, without knowing exactly what the time was and why there was a reason for that, was that doctor checking out somebody else? I have no idea. So
Somebody else get an eye injury?
In the article, the Chiefs did not comment.
Well, of course not.
Maybe had a tummy ache.
They probably shouldn't unless they gave proper care.
The Styrofoam cup thing, that's just whiny stuff.
That's why I said what I said.
The Styrofoam cup thing, just let that one go.
So you're calling him that. Are you willing to fight him like Cody is Bill Romanowski?
No, it has nothing to do with wanting to fight him. I said he sounded like a whiny bitch. I stand by that. Cody wants to fight Romanowski, which is a terrible decision.
He's a coward.
Yeah.
Not only whatever I said about him before, but he's also a coward in addition to it. He had a chance to be there. He had a chance to, face me. He did not show up. So, maybe next time, Bill. Maybe next time. Someone said, trust us, Kyle. We wanted you back on the field. Is what the text line said. Also, I'll just give you a suggestion. If you got a broken orbital bone, don't get back on the football field.
Oh, yeah.
Your day's done. That's a wrap.
He was down on the field for a little, so much so they took a break.
They
commercial
went to
break.
a commercial break. Hope he's okay. Hope your eye's okay, Kyle.
I'm sure it's okay now. He's doing a podcast.
That's the lowest version of being okay. I could be Hugh Freeze.
If you
full body cast, I could still do a podcast.
You can do a podcast if you somehow didn't have even your vision properly. Like,
yeah, but why would you feel like you wanted to do it if you can't see or if you're bedridden? I don't think that'd be the last thing on my mind. I got to do this podcast.
Yeah, that's fair.
Seems like a good time for a live Derivision read at some point. Do we have one scheduled? This would have been a great time.
You should probably just do one now as a bonus one anyway.
They're the best in Kansas City. Just trust me on that one. Up next, we will get to what's trending, then right back into the Royals that laid out a perfect playoff-type performance next.
This is Cody and Gold on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Speaking of eyes, do you know what your eyes can't see? Your failing roof. Nailed it. No problem there. Century Roofing, over 30 years of experience in the Kansas City area. Look, they've handled so many roofs in the area. That's why they've been voted Best of Johnson County for 3 years in a row, 2022, 2023, 2024. They will take care of your needs because they've handled over 30,000 roofs in the greater Kansas City area, cycling all the way back to 1990, 34 years. Doesn't matter which style of roof, asphalt, concrete, tile, standing seam, metal roofing, traditional. They can take care of those things because they continue to handle those types of projects all over the area. Free roof replacement and repair estimates so that you can at least get an idea of what that might cost. And they're happy to work with your insurance company if one of those big storms came through. Look, the hail happened a couple of times this summer. You're getting ready to have the winter weather wreak havoc on it. You know if you've already had a problem. You've been hearing that drip and you're not sure. Don't let someone just knock on your door and be like, I'll take care of it. They could be fly-by-night, out of business next day. How about someone in business since 1990, making sure that they have a warranty that they will stand behind? That is, my friends, over at Century Roofing. You can schedule your estimate today from KC-based and female-owned Century Roofing. You can trust the pillars of strength. CenturyRoofingKC.com and tell them that Cody sent you.
Intimacy. Those special moments when we're together and deeply connected to the one we love. Truly, there are few times in life as wonderful as these. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and it's the restoration of intimacy that makes me most proud of the work we do in treating erectile dysfunction for our patients. ED is an intimacy destroyer. Research shows that men can draw apart from their partners when ED affects their sex life. The condition causes stress, anxiety, and depression. Even worse, a man's partner can even blame themselves when ED becomes a problem. For us at Heartland Men's Health, this is unacceptable because ED is simply a medical condition like any other, and we have many treatment options and treatment combinations that can stop ED in its tracks. In fact, we have treatments that are effective in well over 90% of cases. So call us and get back those intimate moments. Your initial visit is just $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com. We have 3 offices: Overland Park, Independence, and now North Kansas City.
Baseball fans, BetMGM is giving you the chance to win a prize every day during the baseball season. Step into the batter's box for BetMGM Swing for the Fences free-to-play game. Pick an area of the strike zone and take your best swing. If you get a single, double, triple, or home run, you'll receive a prize. Smash a home run to collect a bonus bet on us. Just log into your BetMGM Sports account to get started. Then visit your promotion section to access the Swing for the Fences free-to-play game. There's nothing more exciting than going yard. So swing for the fences with the king of sportsbooks. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only. Kansas only. Existing customer offer. Subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards vary depending on market and expire 24 days from issuance. Please gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
When it comes to financial goals, everyone has that one thing you want to accomplish. Raise your credit score, give your kitchen a well-deserved glow-up, or eliminate credit card debt. At Main Street Credit Union, your main thing, well, that's our thing. It's what we're passionate about, helping you achieve your main thing. So bring us your wants, your needs, and your goals. We'll provide you with the tools to achieve them. Go to mainstreetcu.org for more information.
What's up, Kansas City? It's Mitchell Schwartz. You know, there's nothing easier to enjoy than watching the Chiefs with some wings and an ice-cold Bud Light. And Buffalo Wild Wings is serving up both for every game, all season long. Join me at the Buffalo Wild Wings located at 152 Highway and North Flintlock Road in KC-Mo on Thursday, September 12th. I'll be there with the crew from 6 to 8 p.m. celebrating the back-to-back Super Bowl champs while eating some wings and drinking $5 Bud Lights. Nothing easier to enjoy than that. For more details, go to 965thefan.com. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Guess what, people? Wendy's has new saucy nugs. You heard me. Wendy's nugs now come in 7 saucy flavors. Buffalo, honey barbecue, garlic parm, spicy ghost pepper. You can literally hear your taste buds after every bite. I'm serious. Listen to mine. Okay, that's just me playing with sound effects, but you got the idea. For a whole new way to nug, gotta be Wendy's.
At participating U.S. Wendy's.
All right, when it comes to getting life insurance for your family, a lot of excuses can get in the way. But ask yourself this: if something were to happen to me, who would pay the mortgage, the kids' education, and the other bills? Then forget the excuses and check out Ethos Life, the online, easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes. Ethos has rates that you can afford, like a $500,000 policy for a 40-year-old male starting at $1 a day or $30 a month, with a few health questions and no medical exam. Get your free quote right now at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com. Not available in all states. Rates do vary.
This is the story of the one. As a facility technician installing a new welding station, he knows getting the ventilation right is critical for safety. That's why when questions arise, there's Grainger. Grainger offers detailed technical product information online at his fingertips, so it's easy to find what he needs. Because when it comes to safety, having answers means he and his people can breathe a little easier. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Now your ideas don't have to wait. Now they have everything they need to come to life. Dell Technologies and Intel are creating technology that loves ideas, loves expanding your business, evolving your passions. We push what technology can do, so great ideas can happen right now. Find out how to bring your ideas to life at Dell.com. Welcome to Now.
Every business faces challenges, but complicated, expensive, and uncertain shipping shouldn't be one of them.
With USPS Ground Advantage from the United States Postal Service, you can avoid all the noise.
No more unexpected surcharges, hidden fees, or complex rate structures.
It's just easy, cost-effective, and dependable shipping. Tune your business's frequency to success and turn shipping to your advantage. Learn how at USPS.com/advantage. USPS Ground Advantage. Simple, affordable, reliable.
What's trending?
Number one on what's trending, the Royals in action tonight. Of course, they got the 5-0 shutout yesterday against the Yankees. Seth Lugo was incredible. We're going to talk more about that performance in a bit. 6:05 first pitch tonight. Cole Reagan's on the mound. Vern's on deck show right here on 96.5 The Fan at 5 o'clock. I need like 10-plus strikeouts tonight, Cole.
If you're going to win that bet, you're going to need some Ks.
Yeah, I'm not talking about tonight's bet. We are talking about a season-long lead the big leagues in strikeout bet. He is 9 off, I think, to the pace. He is in 4th. Cease and Sale and Skubal are all right there.
I think Skubal pitches tomorrow. I did, by the way, look. I think originally Skeens was scheduled to pitch against the Royals this weekend. I don't think they're going to get Skeens.
He's out.
Which is great news, I think, if you're the Royals fan across the board. Next up on What's Trending, Andy Reid gave us an injury update on Hollywood Brown. He is not at practice today, and he would not rule him out for Sunday just yet. But I'll just be honest with you. Typically, if you are going to play for Andy Reid, you start practicing on Wednesday. You, at the latest, almost start practicing on Thursday. And if you don't show up by Friday, you're done. Two guys in the history of Andy Reid's entire tenure as an NFL head coach have not practiced on a Friday and been in the game. I read that as Andy doesn't want to tell him he's not going to play. But at this point, I think I'd be surprised if Hollywood Brown does play. But he wasn't at practice today.
Next on What's Trending, just with week 1 in the rearview mirror. How did the NFL ratings go? Up 12%, turns out, from Sports Daily. On the traditional broadcast networks, an average of 21 million people watched on NBC, CBS, Fox, ABC, ESPN, ESPN2. That also does not include 14 million who watched the Packers-Eagles game, which was, remember, only on Peacock. That number nearly doubled the last streaming-only regular season game from December.
Yeah, turns out the NFL is still very popular.
Yeah, a lot of people like the old football in America.
Yeah, I do. I mean, I can speak for myself. I do enjoy football. Next up on What's Trending, the Miami Dolphins, a couple of injury updates across the league. Tomorrow night, they take on the Buffalo Bills. No Raheem Mostert. He's already being ruled out, according to head coach Mike McDaniel. Devin Achane is a game-time decision by him. And on the other injury front for Cincinnati and this Sunday, no T. Higgins at practice today. He was in street clothes. Now, you remember Adam Schefter, I think, on Pat McAfee's show on Monday, said he would be surprised if T. Higgins played this week. That would be backed up a little bit by the facts today that he was not on the practice field.
That is What's Trending here on Cody and Gold.
Did you like my ad read for Century Roofing? I made it about eyes, even though Dury Vision is about eyes. See?
Dury Vision is the best in Kansas City.
As is Century Roofing for other things, not LASIK surgery. But for roofing, as you can imagine, the best in Kansas City, according to me.
So, 913-586-7965. You mentioned something like 10 seconds before we were coming back from break. And I don't know if you remember what you mentioned. You were asking about sending a text to our boss.
Oh, yeah, I did ask you that.
Not our direct boss, our boss.
Main boss in the building.
And my
Big
question,
boss.
and this is not I guess it's a random question of the day now, is how many of you send a text to for happy birthday, by the way, for not your direct boss, but your boss, how many of you send a text to that person, happy birthday? I'm just curious.
Okay, so how many people do you think work in this building? 50?
I think technically in part-timers is probably a little more than that.
Like 80?
Maybe, something like that.
Okay, so small-ish group. Not the world's biggest office, not the smallest office. I did send our boss a happy birthday text.
Not an email?
Because I wanted her to have I have her cell phone number. If I have their cell phone number, it's like saying happy birthday on Facebook. You should just say it to me. If you have my phone number, text me happy birthday. We all understand that the social media birthday greeting is the most impersonal. Email's maybe a half a step above that. Text is like, I'm saying happy birthday.
I think
not
it
enough
depends.
to call or find you in person, but enough to say it.
It depends. Did she text you personally on your cell happy birthday when it was your birthday?
Great question. No, I do not.
Then I wouldn't have texted personally. I would have just done the email.
So someone did say I'm a kiss ass and a brown noser.
A
They
little
said,
bit.
absolutely not.
You
I would not do that.
texting the boss directly.
But I
happy
would
birthday.
send. Do you inspect one?
No.
Oh, I sent him a birthday text too.
Did I? I got to look.
I mean, why wouldn't I? We get these emails that say today's this person's birthday.
Right,
So
and
usually I'm just like, hey, happy birthday.
If it's a coworker that I work on a regular basis with, like when it was Rob's birthday, I texted him happy birthday. Like for you, I didn't need to text you because I
No, you were here physically in front of me. It's a little different.
Tim, if we saw, I'm kind of jumping in mid conversation in this, but if we saw her, then I would say happy birthday.
Okay.
Well,
if you ran into her in the hallway, you'd be like, oh, and by the way,
of course,
happy birthday.
Yes.
Well, 1,000%.
Did you send an email saying happy birthday?
No.
Maybe. Maybe I'm.
I did not either.
Maybe I'm in the wrong here.
I mean, there's no.
I
You
don't
can't
think
be in the wrong because it's not a negative thing.
Should I not be sending our boss a happy birthday?
It's not a negative thing.
Yeah.
It's more like, how many people do that? It's like there's no like downside to it. It's just, is it like the text line said? Is it just a complete kiss ass move or what? That's
I'm
the
not usually
question.
a big. You know this. I'm not typically like a big kiss ass.
Yeah.
I don't think that's not normally been my MO. But guess you never know, huh? Someone says, I have a hard enough time remembering my own friends' birthdays. They send us an email. We get an email every day that there's a birthday in the building.
Yeah.
So there's no missing it. Like if Carrington's birthday, it was like last month, but when Carrington's birthday comes around, they send a little email and says, happy birthday today to Carrington Harrison. So all I got to do is be like, oh, sweet, perfect timing.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, C-Dot. And then he says thanks, and we all move on with our lives, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Someone says, this is the same boss you were drunk in front of in Vegas.
And I was at the Luke Combs concert when we were out there.
That is
yes.
correct, yes. Same boss.
The same boss that at the concert came up to me and
said,
said,
"Is
hey,
Cody
is Cody drunk? And I said, yeah, he is.
You could have said no.
Dude,
I
it
was drunk.
obvious.
Oh, God,
Cody,
I
there was
definitely
no. He's.
I was definitely drunk. You should have
Why
said
would
yes.
he?
In
Why would
fairness-
Gold? Why would
She
Gold
said
have
good.
to lie?
I'm glad he's having a nice
in
time.
fairness, she said good. She was happy. We had worked all week. It was a long week, and it was.
She was appreciative that I was- I
At this
let
point,
loose.
This was a Saturday night. At this point, I think.
And that's the only. Someone says, do they send birthday emails? No, we don't have 365. I told you, there's like maybe 70 people who work in the building.
Well, and just because you have 365 employees doesn't mean that all their birthdays are on different days.
Someone
Well,
says, if you like your boss, you're just being nice.
Sorry to say.
If you
Sorry to be
don't
obvious.
like your boss, it's being a kiss ass.
Look, Gold could have ratted
So
you out.
which one are you?
I like my boss. You know?
Gold had
what?
You had nothing to lose. It's not like you were not going to pull a Kyle Shanahan and lie.
No.
and
Oh,
lie
by
to
saying
the
I was
boss.
drunk.
Oh,
no,
oh.
Yeah.
Gold made the right choice.
Well, it also was such a
And
laid back atmosphere. It was like we were not at a work
was at a
function.
Luke
per se.
Combs concert in Vegas on a Friday night.
Her family was
Not
there
a
too.
crazy place to be
Yes.
drunk.
Yeah.
You know? It'd have been a little bit different if I was like
Now, what about siblings? Like, so today's not my twin sister. Duh, it'd be my birthday too. It's my other sister's birthday today.
You guys could have been born at 11:58 and 12:01.
I'm glad I made that distinction. And so I just sent a text this morning. That's typically what we do. I don't need to call her. She doesn't call. Like,
No, we're a texting group.
Yeah.
And I've got 6 brothers and sisters to send happy birthday text to. One was yesterday, same day as our bosses. So yeah, send a text, chat a little bit, then moved on. And I got another sister's birthday in like 4 days.
There you go.
Siblings' birthdays really line
Yeah, like
up in
100
September.
siblings. You got 100 siblings.
4
so.
of the 7 birthdays are in September for us. So like
Dang.
mine and all 3 of my sisters are all in September. So
Well, anyway, if it's anybody's birthday listening out there, you know what? Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
happy
to you.
birthday to you too.
Let's get back to the Royals, though, because we know tonight what they got. They got Cole Reagans on the bump. We just told you that. But yesterday's game, I know Vern said, hey, there shouldn't be anybody left out there that is questioning whether they can beat upper echelon teams. But I've told you, I still, as of 2 days ago, was getting texts or tweets from people saying,
Can't beat
see,
good
they
teams."
still can't beat the Yankees and all that. That's why I thought yesterday was so important. Yeah, Lugo was great. Phenomenal. He did something that just has not happened very often.
It's never happened against the Yankees in their entire history.
At that,
And that is an old franchise.
In that building, he is the 4th pitcher, though, ever, Cody, with at least 7 innings, no runs, no walks, no more than 3 hits, 10 strikeouts, or at least 10 strikeouts. So he was great. It all laid out perfectly. But to do that against the Yankees, I think there were still people out there listening to us right now, entering last night, that wanted to see them do it against the big, bad Yankees, even though I feel like we've added new qualifiers throughout the season.
So I'm a little bit with Vern in the sense that I know this is a playoff team. They're 5.5
Sure,
games up with
of
16
course.
to go. I don't have those questions. Now it's just, hey, can the Guardians lose enough random games and you win enough random games to give yourself a shot at the division and therefore give yourself a shot at the bye? But like, I'm not even like, even that hasn't become my main priority. But I'll be honest, unlike Vern, I looked at last night and again tonight as a nice little preview for how you do still stack up with now just a month to play before you would face one of these teams in the postseason, less than actually, and where you stack up. Seth Lugo and Cole Reagans would start Game 1 and Game 2 against the New York Yankees, who they would currently face, by the way, in a 3-game series. That's who they'd face. So, yeah, I kind of want to see how Seth Lugo and Cole Reagans would do against their lineup. And when Seth Lugo shoved two middle fingers back-to-back at Judge and Soto in a key moment early in the game and then held them to 3 hits and struck out 10, yeah, I got excited about the possibility of them winning a series even just a little bit more, because the Yankees were the only team at any point this year in the entire American League that I said, boy, they made the Royals look outclassed. They made it look like they had no business being on the field. Twins haven't done that. The games have been closer. Guardians haven't done that. The Orioles didn't do that. They lost games against them, but they didn't look outclassed like they did in that first series against the Yankees. So, yeah, kicking their ass for a night. Where Seth Lugo shoved and shut down the league's best offense, yeah, I felt pretty good.
Well, and it's great, too, because we're no longer having conversations. Oh, my gosh, he's 7 innings away from 200, and he's way past his career total, and he's going to hit a wall. I mean, that was my biggest question of the second half for Reagans, for Lugo, multiple guys in the bullpen. Career high in innings. How does that impact their performance? And
Yeah,
there was about like a 14-day stretch where does he need an extra day off? Whatever, just a couple rougher outings. And it was, by the way, he was not like awful in those outings.
He was
just
3 or 4 earned runs in 6 innings. He wasn't 7 shutout with 10 strikeouts.
He wasn't all-star, guy could have been an all-star starter type of guy. Now he's back to that. Now he's back to pitching like the all-star. That was an incredible performance last night. And as Vern said, they didn't even get to second base. I mean, it was singles.
Yeah, 3 singles. Nobody went past second base. It was one of the most dominating performances. And by the way, I looked it up because it's changed hands recently because the Yankees and the Orioles have been kind of like switching back and forth between who's in first place and who's not. Actually, if the playoffs started today, the Royals would face the Orioles in round 1 of the postseason.
We can bring back all the
Dunce versus the chess master stuff.
That'd be fun.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and you think Baltimore hates us in football? Oh, wait till we get to beat them again in the playoffs in baseball.
And then if they won that series, they would face the Yankees in round 2. Actually, pretty good time to remind you. Starting, what is it?
September 30th.
September 30th. Listen to the entire wild card game from 1 a.m. to 6 a.m. right here on your home for the Royals, 96.5 The Fan. Then we'll get special content and guests kind of throughout the day talking about that great wild card game that took place, and then listen to the bottom of the 8th through the bottom of the 12th that night, Monday on September 30th from 7 to 9 p.m. The best part of the game, obviously, when all of the wildness was going back and forth in that incredible wild card game. So, yeah, starting on September 30th, I get a chance to relive that wild card game. Obviously, I can say this confidently. Doesn't matter if I live to be 100 years old. I will never go to a better game than that game in my life. And you and I have now officially been at a overtime Super Bowl that fit. It wasn't a better game. It was a great game. It's one of the coolest games I've ever been to, no doubt. But that wild card game was the best game I remember ever being in person at.
It's not just the game itself. It's knowing that at that time in 14, in our lifetimes at least, I had never seen a team that I grew up in Kansas City rooting for achieve anything like that. And so that's
the
why.
Energy, the
atmosphere. Like when the Chiefs were in
AFC
title, AFC title game in the 90s or whatever, right? Like I was 4 years old and so for me, that's why 14 was so unexpected. I mean, at the All-Star break, people wanted Ned Yost fired, and so,
they did.
And understandably so, frankly, the way things were trending, I get why people did. And to his credit, they obviously changed everything. And now he's a legend in this city forever. But when you look at that double overtime NFL game in the Super Bowl, that was incredible, but let's be honest, we got a little spoiled. That one might be a little more special because I know how lucky we were to be at the game. Very few people can say they've ever gone to a Super Bowl. That one carries a little more water for me, just personally.
The overtime Super Bowl last year's?
Yeah, I would never get to go. If it wasn't for what we do for a living, there's no way I would never get to go to a Super Bowl, let alone 3 of them. Okay, so
what's your favorite Super Bowl that you attended? Rank them out.
This one. this past one. Absolutely.
I mean, it was over.
Look,
Overtime.
Miami was
Final seconds
Miami,
of
I'll be
overtime.
honest. So Miami, the weather was incredible. It was Miami, which was great. We were sharing an Airbnb with 8 people. I had just moved back to Kansas City, just started doing a show. I'll be honest, my mind was racing. There are a lot of things going on in my mind at that time.
Sure.
So this one, I got to sit back
We
and
had to
enjoy a little bit
sneak
more.
into seats in the stadium because we didn't have an actual spot on press
This
row.
one, we have been doing the show for 4 years at that time, for this last one, etc. So things were a little more stable. We kind of knew what we were doing more. And so I got to enjoy this one in Vegas more for that reason. But, I don't know. If the Chiefs are fortunate enough to get to a Super Bowl, I'll be honest, we don't know. I mean, we never thought we were going to 3, so I don't know. Maybe they'll have the morning show since they got Dusty and a newer show now. Maybe they'll go to
I'd like to request to go to 4. I like going.
Well, if the Chiefs lose, just know you can blame the morning show.
Yeah.
If the Chiefs
in
go to the
attendance
Super
are
Bowl-
4 now.
If the
or
Chiefs
3
go
now.
to the Super Bowl and we're not the ones that go, you can blame the morning show.
I mean, you can make the case that all of the shows go again because it's a 3-peat and all that other stuff. But yeah.
Drew's funding the whole trip.
Yeah, right.
Drew said, just send all the shows. No big deal.
No,
Did that in Miami? It's getting hard when
that's
they
what I'm saying.
keep going to Super Bowls. It becomes hard to justify. I think the company line item on
I
let's
understand.
send the world because Chiefs are in these things every year. They're in this 60% of the time.
Yeah.
Kind of hard to.
Yeah.
Kind of hard to justify.
That's the one thing. Look, Drew, if the Chiefs make it and not your Bengals, then you might have a chance to go to another Super Bowl.
That was the
if
case
Cincy
last
makes
year.
it, there's no way in hell you're going. So you decide. I mean, it's up to you.
That was the case a lot last year where I called as soon as the AFC Championship game was over, my mom called and she goes, "You're going to Vegas?" And I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "This is great."
At least they didn't lose 2. It wasn't like your team lost to the Chiefs to make that happen. It's a little different.
Very excited. I wouldn't take any. I don't think anything could take that week back. It was a lot of fun, obviously.
And again, we'll be back in Vegas in October, out at Circa, our favorite spot to be in Vegas.
Evidently
Stadium
so.
Swim. It really is. 4th time this year. Circa.
18 days for you? Or
We can't
19
be at
days?
Circa enough.
Yeah, we'll be out
3
at
times
Circa.
for me, 4 times for Gold.
We'll be out
Crazy.
there ahead of the Chiefs-Raiders game, and we're hosting a happy hour and party on that Friday night right before the weekend, and it's going to be great. We have tickets for the game to give away at that party. Some of you have already messaged us wondering when we're flying in. We're going to be there Wednesday through Saturday. We'll be doing our show Thursday and Friday, but we'll be out by the pool, Stadium Swim. They've got a bunch of cabanas, 143-foot screen. We'll be doing our show from one of the cabanas there. We're going to have a live Club Fantastic, or fan club, I'm sorry.
The fan club. It got changed.
Yeah. Have we got the sign yet? Have we
No,
settled?
because I wanted to wait a few
the fan
shows
club, yeah.
to make sure that the
set on
fan
this
club.
name.
We're gonna have
stuck.
we're gonna have a live in person. Like if you're out there, I'll promise you this: if you come to Vegas on that Friday and we're doing the fan club,
You get to be a part of it.
poolside. We will rotate in a bunch of different listeners that can hop on air for a little bit.
Give
of
a 30-second take.
Mm-hmm.
Be a part of the fan club in person. All of us drinking a cocktail in Vegas on a Friday night before the Chiefs play against the Raiders on Sunday. Perfection.
Some
And
of
then
those
I
takes will
told
be
you,
fun.
after our party at Overhang Bar on Friday night, we're all going to craps table together. Whole group of us.
I told you the terms.
Yeah, you did tell me the terms. Because I had to do them like a Thursday the
Told
night
you
we're
the
there.
terms.
Mm-hmm. You did. You clearly set your terms.
You have to pay off your bet first.
Yes, that's correct.
You've had 3
hold on.
opportunities.
Hold on. So
to
you're
do this.
saying that listeners join Cody and Gold at the strip club?
I've
Is
committed-
that what we're saying?
Oh, I was talking about the.
Oh.
I mean, sure, but I was talking about the fan. I was talking about the fan club.
He was talking about more of the fan club.
The
and
fan
then-
club poolside. If you come to Vegas,
Well, yes.
we'll find a way for you to join us during the fan club.
I'm just saying in terms of paying off the bet for Cody, then
Yeah.
that might make it less awkward for
Yeah,
you.
maybe. Maybe.
Although-
Less, maybe. We'll see.
I think we do it that Thursday night, so that way on Friday, those same people that went with us come on the show the next day and talk about it as well. Anyway,
yeah.
we are back at it tomorrow. We do have a full show ahead on a Thursday edition of Cody and Gold. We'll have Paul Charchin, Danon Hughes, Ross Tucker, and the Snitch Line returns tomorrow here on Cody and Gold.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5, The Fan, brought to you by